What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 7 Co Chapter 176 Stussy, chest tightness, so it needs to be unblocked. When Whitebeard's words reached Will's ears, he was sitting opposite Lu Ju. Looking at the opposite Lu Ju who has become plump and full of motherhood, S**X, light and brilliance because of being pregnant with Ace. He chuckled softly. It seems that you have a lot of weight with Whitebeard. As for Whitebeard's threatening words, he only regarded it as the last bark of a prodigal dog. For Will's words, Lu Ju could only say nothing. As a prisoner, what can she say? Moreover, the other party is his own enemy, and the two sides have nothing to talk about. See, Lu did not speak for a long time. Will was not annoyed either. Tell me, what should I do with you? And what about your children? This time, she was no longer silent. Staring at Will warily. What do you want to do? Don't forget, Newgate's words. She is not afraid of death, but the child in her belly must live. Will showed a sarcastic smile. I never pay attention to the wailing of the defeated dog. If he dares to set foot in New World, I will let him experience the pain of losing his son again. Lu Ju felt a chill in his heart. I didn't expect Will's attitude to be so strong and tough. How dare you ignore the consequences of Whitebeard and Marine joining forces? Crazy dragon, really too crazy. Biting his mouth and lips, trembling, he said, what do you want? A playful smile played on Will's face. Although I killed you, it was just a snap of my fingers. But if this is the case, it would be too boring. I thought of a good idea. After hearing the words for a long time, Lu felt tense in his heart. 31 A bad premonition came to mind. Tell me, how about I take the little guy in your stomach as my adopted son? Lu Ju's face suddenly lost all color. Acknowledge a thief as a father. The word popped out of her mind all of a sudden, if so. Might as well be dead. See her face so ugly. Will smiled and said, if you don't want to, I won't stop you either. Despair. We'll put Tianyuyu on the table. If you die, it's all over. Lu Ju's breathing stagnates, looking at Tianyuyu on the table. He stretched out his trembling hand, and when he was about to touch Tianyuyu, he retracted it again. Then stick out again. Just go back and forth a few times. Will watched quietly from the sidelines. He wanted to see how Lu Ju would choose. In the end, she still didn't pick up the skyfeather slash. Slumped back on the chair, Will chuckled and cut Tianyuyu away. Wise choice. It's better to die than to live. The Thunder Dragon slowly sailed into the port of Dominica. Its appearance caused a huge sensation, like Will said when he got it from Ted. As long as it goes out to sea, it is the most beautiful thing. Especially after Will kicks the Whitebeard Pirates out of New World. No one will ever question his title of head of the 4 emperors. Advertisement under the spotlight. Will took the group off the boat. Miss Guion, let's go shopping. Kelly pulled Guion and Hina away as soon as they got off the boat. Before leaving, he did not forget to wink at Will. Will praised in his heart, this little girl is sensible. Then he looked at the little girl at his feet. Why don't you follow? Oroja put his arms around his chest and looked at him with deep meaning. Are you going to find that fox, raccoon, or elf? She looked like she was asking for hush money. Will rubbed her lil head vigorously. Sighing. Tell me, what do you want? This girl is still so ghostly. Oroja immediately smiled and said, in the future, whenever you set sail, you will take me with you. Okay, then you have fun, I'll go find them. After getting the guarantee, she ran away without looking back. Will shook his head helplessly. Take Helen to Happy Street. Same room, same decor, same people. When Will stood in front of the veil. Stussy chuckled and said, oh, our Lord 4 Emperors finally remembered him. She knew Will would have a shot at the Whitebeard Pirates. But unexpectedly, this time it was even more ruthless than she expected. Let alone destroying the Whitebeard Pirates, also drove the other party out of New World. This man is really becoming more and more fascinating. I heard that your chest tightness can't be cured for a long time. No, I just finished my work, so I came here in a hurry to ventilate you. Giggle. Stussy smiled coquettishly. She gave Will a charming look. Boss, your mouth. You came here after you smeared it with honey? Will smiled and said, it's very sweet, do you want to try it? Stussy reached out and tugged. Will didn't resist, just fell down. After a taste of Stussy, it's not as sweet as I imagined. She grabs Will's hand and pulls. Lead somewhere. I'm very bored here, you can help others to see if you are sick? Will's hand is down. I see, it's boring here, come on, the boss will give you some air. The two of them were right in front of Helen. Start treating chest tightness. Helen watched as Will unblocked Stussy. Then, in the astonished eyes of the two, Helen used the fruit ability, turned into Lu Ju's appearance. Still looks like a big belly. Hiss. Will bared his teeth, only feeling like he was bound by an iron hoop. As for Stussy, I feel a little overwhelmed. You two masters, your chest is a bit bored, what should I do? Gulu. Then, GG too. With Whitebeard's withdrawal from New World, there was quite a stir. From then on, the New World 4 Emperors became the 3 Emperors. Who will sit in this vacant seat? Or, everyone thought of the Mad Dragon. Advertisement also thought of a terrible possibility. If it is what they think, it would be too scary, inside the Naval Headquarters building. In the Marshal's office, the atmosphere was eerily quiet. This time Marine attacked the Whitebeard Pirates. It can be said that it was a loss to Grandma's house. Vegapunk's death is the greatest loss. Later, he cooperated with the Mad Dragon to weaken the strength of the Whitebeard Pirate group, and this purpose was indeed accomplished. But it's too high, still seriously overrated. I was expecting the Whitebeard Pirates to fight to the death with the Rocks Pirate in New World. But I didn't want to. The Whitebeard Pirates were crippled, and even withdrew from New World directly. This time, it was their Marines who had a headache. The Whitebeard Pirates returned to the first half. How should they get along with Marine? Tell me, what should I do now for the Whitebeard Pirates? Kong broke the silence of the conference room. Following his words, everyone's mood eased a lot. It's just that this question is not easy to answer. Once again dispatch top combat forces to encircle and suppress the Whitebeard Pirates? Stop it. If it wasn't for special reasons this time, the Whitebeard Pirates might not have fought them hard. Now the Whitebeard Pirates, who are alone, have no scruples. I really want to annoy the other party. It's not yet known what Whitebeard will do. Perhaps this is why the Mad Dragon drove the Whitebeard Pirates back to the first half instead of siege. So what if you can't see it? This is possible, but Marine's reputation will definitely be damaged. 600. And the longer the Whitebeard Pirates stay in the first half, the more damaged they are. People will also question Marine. How about recruiting? Everyone looked at the general in unison. The man's attire seemed a bit out of place with everyone. Kong recognized him. Kong Ming joined Marine very early, but compared to strength, he is more outstanding in resourcefulness. He is a rare talent in Marine. Kong Ming was a little nervous being watched by so many people. After calming down, he opened the mouth and said, Whitebeard and the Mad Dragon have a lot of hatred, everyone knows it. Why don't we invite him to be 7 warlords of the sea? If we were going to do something to Rock's pirate, he would be willing to participate. Many people are pondering the possibility of this matter. There was only one person with an ugly face. After Zephyr heard the title 7 warlords of the sea, he felt very uncomfortable. He does not agree with Shichibukai's plan. But the arms can't be twisted too much, and the legs are too big. I can't do anything other than sulking, Sengoku said, don't think about it. Whitebeard will not agree to become a Shichibukai. As a longtime enemy, he knew Whitebeard all too well. Even now, like a bereaved dog escaping from New World. His pride would not allow him to make such a choice. Kong Ming still insisted. Kong waved his hand. We'll discuss this later. However, if we make a move on the Rocks Pirate, consider working with Whitebeard. As soon as these words came out, many people felt a little uncomfortable. Although I know this is the best option, but, if it's Shichibukai, it's fine and acceptable. After all, they are nominally under the jurisdiction of the world government and belong to the people of the world government. Advertisement Chapter 177 Rihei. And Luju, do you want ice cream too? The Endless Sea. The sky is covered with dark clouds, as if to cover this piece of sky, and never see the sun. From time to time, flashes of thunder pass through the clouds and strike somewhere below. What followed was that deafening bang. The pouring rain poured down. In the howling wind, the sea became turbulent and surging, setting off waves of turmoil, and the sound of the waves shook the sky. It seems to be angry today, in this bad weather. A silver-white 3-masted sailing ship cuts through the waves and heads towards Wanokuni. Ah! Heart-piercing screams sounded on the boat. Even the thunder and the sound of the waves cannot stop its spread. Hina steered and controlled the rudder in the wind and rain. The cold rain hit her face, and the little girl shivered in the strong wind. However, he stubbornly did not return to the cabin. He just glanced at the captain's room behind him from time to time. The cry of pain just now came from inside. Ah! There was another mournful cry of pain. The little girl's heart tensed up, and she quickly calmed down again. Because a huge wave rolled from the side. If it is normal, Yifu Longmu is not afraid. But now is a special time. Shout to the bullet below. Bullet, left full sail. The bullet below jumps up, jumps on the mast and pulls the sail. His gaze always looked at the captain's room inadvertently. At this time, in the captain's room, Will directed everyone to get busy. No one expected that on the way to meet Wanokuni, Luju gave birth. There is no midwife on this ship. Gion, Helen, and Guy have no experience in this area. Not to mention Oroka and Hina. Will can only go to battle in person, and he knows a little bit after being influenced by his ears and eyes. Helen, relieve Luju's pain with the Phoenix Flame. $7. Helen stretched out her fingers, and a blue flame jumped on her fingertips. It was during her time with the Whitebeard Pirates, simulating Marco's Phoenix abilities. It took her a long time to simulate this ability. Ah! Luju screamed shrilly. 1. Gion, who had been paying attention there, said in surprise, it's out. Out. Go harder. Gion's words made everyone in the room look happy. Luju firmly grasped the thing in his hand, bit and clenched his teeth. Ah! Ah! There was an extremely brutal cry that almost broke his throat. What followed was a cry. Evil blood, born. Will didn't have time to take another look, and hurriedly said, do. Helen's fetus and disc, following Will's instructions one after another. Everyone got busy again. Wait until everything returns to calm. Everyone looked around the little guy. He's so cute. Let me give you a hug. Can he talk? When will he open his eyes? Advertisement, what's his name? Several women and the little girl were chatting and discussing. Will looked at it and shook his head. People in One Piece world are very strong in physique. Even babies. As the child of One Piece Roger, Ace's physique is better. It doesn't need to be as carefully cared for as Will's original world. Lu Ju took the child with gentle eyes. The maternity, brilliance in her body became more intense. Only, looking at Lu Ju like this, do not know why. The image of Lu Ju and Stussy playing games with him always flashed in my mind. Obviously it was Helen, because of the birth of Ace. Thunder Dragon's speed slowed down when they get back to Wanokuni. It has been nearly half a month. As the head of the 4 emperors, the boss of the Rocks Pirate. After adopting an adopted son, of course there is a big celebration. For a time, the whole Wanokuni was decorated with lights and festoons, singing and dancing, and various banquet activities continued one after another. In the general's mansion. 1. Lucy, who has been studying the historical text in the house. It's also a rare trip out. Hug, hold Ace and never let go. In the backyard. Tianue and Lu Ju sat together. Watching Lucy and the others tease Ace. The two can be said to be sympathetic to each other. Their husbands all died at Will's hands. During his lifetime, he was still a partner on the same boat. They should have something in common. It's just that both of them were silent and didn't speak. Say what? The two were both prisoners of the same class, thinking, how difficult is it to escape from here? Tianueshi is working hard, just the price to pay for it. But she didn't have the face to say it to Lu Ju. After a long time, Tianue held Lu Ju's hand and said softly, Lu Ju, we will escape from here. Lu Ju was slightly taken aback. Seeing the firm look on Tianueshi's face, he nodded slightly. The excitement lasted for more than 10 days, and finally subsided gradually. Others are busy celebrating. Will is too busy to touch the ground. The sea area where the Whitebeard Pirates used to belong is now owned by the Rocks Pirate. Team 1 and Team 2, led by Kaido and Jin, are stationed. But many follow-up matters. Both need to be arranged by Will. After the materials purchased by the Whitebeard Pirates for the construction of the experimental base are shipped back, he also needs to arrange them. During the period, I also went to Vermeu and the moon with Golden Lion. Moved that island and ruins to the edge of Wanokuni. One is to have plants that can make beasts go berserk, increase in size, and grow. One is a processing factory that can manufacture mechanical core. It made the Golden Lion feel envious, and his teeth itch. If he can beat it, he will definitely snatch it back. I swear that after a while, I will also return the marine and the new experimental base of the world ZF to Nong. Wait until you're done with this. Tiger found Will again and expressed Neptune's willingness to invite him to the Fishman Island as a guest. Go back to the backyard of the general's mansion. Advertisement because of the addition of a little guy. The little girls didn't go back to Fujiyama in the back, and lived with Gion Gaili and the others. Will originally wanted to see Aces. When passing Tianueshi's courtyard, a ghost walked in. Squeak. In the room, Tianueshi was embroidering a handkerchief. And Rihei Ben fell asleep in her arms. After all, he is only 3 years old, which is the age for snoozing. Hearing the sound of the door opening, Tianueshi was startled for a moment, and seeing that it was Will, he exhaled. Uncle, you are back. Kior was still awakened, rubbing his sleepy eyes and looking towards Will. Will walked over and took Rihei from Tianu's arms. And Tianueshi first took a towel to help Will wipe and then went to prepare meals for him. With this appearance, if she didn't know it, she would think Will was her husband. While eating, Will fed Hiyori. Uncle, Hiyori blinked her eyes wide. Naively said, I want to eat ice cream. Will laughed, not yet. Hiyori pointed at Will. Isn't this okay too? Will was taken aback. Only your mother can eat this? Then I want to watch mom eat. During the day and the moon, the body becomes one and stiff. Hiyori looked at Hiyori in disbelief. I've heard of cheating, but I haven't heard of cheating. Okay, then watch mom eat ice cream. Then he looked at Tianue with a smile. Bite the lower mouth and lips in Tianueshi. Silently, he got under the table. Hiss. At that moment, Will took a breath. He looked at Tianueshi in surprise. Your technology is improving a bit fast? Steel, Li Jiao, steel practice? When Tianue heard the words, his movements paused. Didn't respond to Will's words, then continued. Tianue is eating ice cream hard. A viewing. Will eats, enjoys, and eats. The family is happy and harmonious. Sister Shi. A voice came from outside, because the door was only ajar. The man walked right in. His face was full of disbelief. The door was under her gaze. It's just that when she saw the scene in front of her, she froze in place. Could it be that I have some special body, or quality? Will was a little confused. His eyes widened, can't move. Suddenly, a ball of cream squeezed out from the ice cream. Only, you. Lu Ju covered his mouth, so instigated that he couldn't speak. Always at this time, a woman breaks, enters. Lu Ju immediately turned around. Will and Tianue were also taken aback. Cough, cough, cough. Rihei looked at Lu Ju innocently. And Lu Ju, do you want ice cream too? I'm going to run away from here. Closed by itself. Chapter 178 Ride on the Road, of Bandit Sao. The atmosphere in the room was a bit weird. Tianue covered her face in embarrassment and dared not see anyone. Hiyori opened his eyes wide and looked left and right. Lu Ju was terrified, and his body was trembling and trembling. And Will. Some helpless. It's a little bit exciting. So, it was all Helen's fault. Why don't you turn into Luju and play games with yourself? He pulled up the time of Tianyue under the table. Whispered a few words in her ear. Tianyushi's eyes gradually widened. He looked at Will like he was looking at the devil. Then shook his head quickly. How can she do this kind of thing? Will said softly. It's better to have fun alone than to have fun with everyone. It's all like this anyway, do you think she can escape? Hey, if it satisfies me. He reached out and stroked the seastone collar on Tianyu's neck. I might pick this thing off for you ahead of time. Breathing stagnated during the day and the moon. To be honest, she was heart moved at this moment. Just take this ghost and thing off. You can escape with Hiyori, and even Luku and Ace by yourself. Will didn't speak anymore, picked up vegetables and fed them to Hiyori. Hihei, will uncle be your father from now on? Okay, okay. Hiyori clapped her little hands and smiled happily. Call dad, father, Rihei called out childishly. Tien Yushi's face suddenly became ugly. If it really makes will become Hiyori's father. She took a deep breath and her eyes became firm. Walked towards Luju slowly. 860 will glance back. The corner of the mouth curled up. Stupid woman, play tricks with me? Don't even think about escaping from my palm in this life. Tianyue came to Lujia's side. Even though he had made up his mind, his face was still a little tangled. She leaned close to Luju's ear and whispered something. Not for a while. Luju's eyes gradually widened. The horror on her face also turned into shock, then he became hesitant again. Finally, Tianyue sighed softly. Sister Luju, sister, this is our last hope. You don't want to live in that person's shadow in the future, do you? You don't want Ace to live here, do you? Every word of Tianyue she. They all hit Luju's heart and atrium, it made her hesitate. After a long time, there was a look of sadness in her eyes. Nodded. Seeing this, Tianyue breathed a sigh of relief. Nod to Will. Moment. Luju felt his body, and lightness. The invisible bondage is gone, but she didn't choose to run away. Grit your teeth. Turning around slowly, walking towards Will step by step. Every step is extremely slow and extremely difficult. Come to Will. 1, 2, 3. Hiyori's eyes widened. Advertisement, Aunt Luju, are you going to play games with Dad too? Exposed for a long time, body trembling. She was so shy that she wanted to find a hole to drill, enter, and go. She didn't even dare to meet Will's eyes, he tightly shut his mouth and lips. Difficult to move 1 foot, step over, then there is no action. Hiyori bit Jay's finger. Aunt Luju, what's wrong with you? Are you sick? Red, Tianyue came over. He glared at Hiyori. This daughter is really, she didn't know what to say. Anyway, it's on your own body, falling meat, Gulu. Looking at the scene in front of him, Will swallowed. Luju just gave birth to Sha Ace. It is the time when rain is abundant. Helen's transformation is completely incomparable. Seeing that Luju did not move for a long time, see what Will looks like. Tianyu's heart was hardened. Stretch out and search. Then he patted Luju, indicating that she could do it. Showing teeth for a long time, the teeth almost bite and break the mouth and lips. Finally sat down slowly. Rihei asked curiously, Aunt Luju, are you full too? Mom did the same thing last time, she said she was full. Just take it easy. But why are you crying? Luju smiled a little forcedly. Auntie is a bit full. Will looked at what was in front of him. Suddenly said, I'm thirsty, exposed for a long time, body stiff. It seems to have seen Luju's embarrassment. Tianyueshi is very sensible and walks from behind and behind Luju. Hands outstretched. A grip. Luju almost stood up, but he still endured it. The sky and the moon are slightly exerting force. Rainwater. Enters Will's mouth and mouth. The scene where he almost died from lack of water was alleviated. A long time, Will finally came back to life with full blood. Looking at Luju with a smile, can you ride a horse? It's all come to this point. Luju simply went all out. Meeting. Then find a support point with your hands. Started the horse training trip. Hiyori is like a curious baby at this time. But she is indeed a baby, DBAC, watch mom and aunt play horse rides with new dad. I thought about it. When I grow up, I want to play too. Boss Will, in the hall of the general's mansion. Parasparrow bowed awkwardly to Will. Even if it's just being looked at by Will's plain eyes and demeanor. He also felt a lot of pressure, especially more than a month ago, when the other party fought the Whitebeard Pirates. Advertisement their big mom pirates stood on the opposite side of Will. When evacuating, the other party was moving and murderous towards him. Tell me, that fat woman called you here, what's the matter? Shua. Parasparrow's cold sweat came out all of a sudden. A heart is beating and moving violently, different. Call it different. The other party will not kill himself, will he? Gulu. He swallowed. He said with difficulty. Mom said before that she invited you to her tea party. I came here this time to send you an invitation specially. When Will heard this, his eyes narrowed. What is Charlotte Linland's idea? Why was she so obsessed with inviting herself to her tea session? How dare she invite me to the tea party? Aren't you afraid that I will sell accounts with her? Parasparrow twitched. How did he know why? He didn't dare to answer Will's question either. I respectfully present the invitation. The time is half a month later. Mom said, when the time comes, Gong Zuo's master. The invitation has been delivered. If you don't have any orders, I'll go back and tell my mother. He really didn't dare to wait for a moment. I was afraid that Will would suddenly turn his back on him. Even Charlotte Linland's eldest son would be directly promoted. Will waved. Perospero left in a hurry as if he had been pardoned. Looking at the bronzing invitation in his hand, Will's expression was inexplicable. Mom, what do you want to do? Porp porp. The phone bug in my pocket rang. Will took it out, and when it was connected, Stussy's sweet, greasy voice came from the opposite side. Big boss. The corners of the mouth are slightly raised. What's the matter? Chest tightness again. Do you need me to go over and clear it up for you? Yes, the traffic jam has been severe recently. If no one can clear it up for me, then people can only do it themselves. It's just, this effect is not as effective as your technique, boss. Who is Stussy? How is it possible to lose to Will in this conversation? Will smacks his lips, worthy of Stussy. Okay, I just happen to be going to the Fishman Island, and I'll stop by and treat you when the time comes. Giggle. That family is waiting for you. The two fought, flirted, scolded, and made fun of each other for a long time before they got to the point. So brave? So some thoughts on that road sign for the fur tribe? Or, Will raised his eyebrows. What do they want to do? Fur family, signpost. Then shook his head. Will frowned, and then his heart skipped a beat. Marco and the furs? Stussy explained. Marco and two furs, doing it very secretly. And to determine if that road sign is safe. Will was a little surprised. What are they trying to do? They think they're good again, and they want to come back and start a war with me. The biggest and most likely still needs to supplement the crew. Not all go back. Whitebeard has no interest in the big secret, that's for sure. Is it going to invite people from the Fur Clan to join the Whitebeard Pirates? Because Whitebeard lost the signpost. Stussy was a little uncertain. It seems to be going back to the New World. Recently, the Whitebeard Pirates have changed, moved. Chapter 179 Hawkeye. Doing chores is also very fragrant. On the martial arts arena, Hawkeye is competing with Leopard Guro. The sword in his hand is just an ordinary samurai sword. Compared to before, his breath is more restrained now. Swordsmanship is also more subtle. In terms of swordsmanship alone, Leopard Guro is not Hawkeye's opponent at all. But the competition is not just about swordsmanship. In hockey, in terms of combat experience, Hawkeye is still far inferior to Leopard Guro. His 1,000-game winning streak has not been smooth. As long as those cadres are interested, they will come to a game with him. There are winners and losers. Seeing Will's arrival, Hawkeye's introverted breath became fierce again. Compete with me again. Ever since I experienced the swordsmanship above the great swordsman. He could never forget that feeling, would love to experience it again. Will shook his head and refused. There's no need to compete. I'm going out for a while. I need a handyman. If you want, come to the general's mansion tomorrow. Hawkeye's eagle-like pupils became sharper. Doing chores? Will smiled and nodded. Handsome, after a long time. Hawkeye said in a deep voice, okay. Will raised his hand, inserted it, and the knight on the archway flew over in an instant and landed on his hand. Hawkeye's breath faltered. I haven't touched his knife for a long time. This kind of discomfort that can be seen but not touched makes him suffer a lot. Even if you are a handyman, you can't lose your face. Will throws the knife to Hawkeye. He hastily caught it. Tears almost couldn't help falling down. Finally. Back on hand again. Will laughed. Don't be too happy. When I come back, this 1,000-game winning streak must continue. Hawkeye. The next day, with the Brontosaurus leaving Wanokuni. Moment. Countless forces are tense. They really have a psychological shadow. To be more precise, I was afraid. Who knows what that Quanlong guy is going to do again? Every time the other party appears on the sea, there must be no good things. Right among their concerns, the Thunder Dragon quickly disappeared from their field of vision. No one knows where the Mad Dragon went. On the sea between all nations and Dressrosa. Hina is steering and controlling the Thunder Dragon sailing slowly. On the boat, Will is lying under the sakura flower tree in the flower garden at the stern. Enjoy, enjoy. Advertisement: today's weather is good, the sun is warm and the sea breeze is gentle. The sea is also very calm. Helen tenderly fed him grapes. Need for him during Tianue. Guy is practicing observation hockey. Robin is reading a book. Orojawa flies in the sky for a little dragon. Spit out a few mouthfuls of flames from time to time. Spit and spit, it turned into thick smoke. Choking made her cough and cough again and again. Guion is developing the ability of Aurora Fruit and constantly creating illusions. And Bullet and Hawkeye are in the practice room of the cabin. Will brought these people with him on this voyage. Mox and the others stayed at Wanokuni. Oroka, who was hovering in the sky, froze suddenly. The big dragon eyes looked ahead, a look of being frightened and stupid. Ah! Then let out a scream. He flew back to the Thunder Dragon as if fleeing for his life. Big guy, big guy appeared. As she flew, she roared anxiously. Will they came to the bow, looking at the sea ahead. There, an incomparably huge figure appeared, reaching high into the sky. This is a giant elephant walking aimlessly on the sea. So big! Hina exclaimed. I didn't expect that besides the big turtle, there is such a big creature. Her eyes sparkled. Aren't there many treasures on it? Everyone looked at the elephant master in front of them in amazement. One of its elephant legs is much larger than that of the Thunder Dragon. Master, that's Zoe. Helen pointed at the elephant and said excitedly, her complexion turned red because of the excitement. Left Zoe that year. She has suffered a lot, he almost became a slave. She thought that in this lifetime, it would be impossible to return to Zoe again. Will patted her shoulder lightly, looking at the elephant owner in front of him. It is also very amazing. There are many kinds of creatures and things in the pirate world. Each one made him feel extremely magical. However, what shocked him the most was the huge individual creatures like the elephant master and the giant tortoise. It's really shocking, but, Will sighed, for it's cruel. Yes, cruel. I don't know how long this elephant owner has existed. He was punished for making a mistake and could only walk. About 800 years. There is no companion, no purpose, and no end. Advertisement. He felt loneliness and silence on the body of the elephant master. 14 years of Will's time at Impel down, he's almost gone crazy. And this elephant owner can walk freely on the sea. But it's just being in a bigger cage, asking for flowers. Helen froze for a moment when she heard Will's words. Their fur clan has lived on top of the elephant master for generations. It's like living in a paradise. Invincible. The elephant master will protect them like their patron saint. But I never thought about it like the master's situation. When she looked at the oncoming elephant master again. When he saw its dark Uzumaki eyes, he froze, dead silence. Not angry at all, Will comforted. If you count the time, the giant tortoise will almost reach New World. Maybe seeing it, the elephant owner will be happy. Really? Helen asked in surprise. Of course she knew about the giant tortoise in Gabi Sea area. Will nodded. Of course it is true. Let's go see what your hometown is like. By the way, let's see if those thieves and immigrants have come. I hope they don't be too surprised to see me. Under the guidance of Will, the crowd soared into the air and flew towards Zoe on the back of the elephant master. The higher you go, the more you can feel the size of the elephant master. Finally, after reaching a certain height, they saw Zoe on the back of the elephant master. Also saw a few small spots on the edge of the main elephant's back. Pedro? Helen groaned in surprise. Elder sister? One of the fur boys was first surprised, then surprised. Sister, you deserve to come. Will led the crowd and landed in front of those little guys. Pedro rushed straight up. Will looked at the fur boy in front of him, not even 10 years old. Helen smiled apologetically at Will and explained. My father is from the leopard family, and my mother is from the fox family. He looked at Helen and Pedro strangely. Woo woo woo. The opponent looks like a jaguar. Sister, I thought I would never see you again. How did you bring humans back? Are you sisters and brothers? Helen comforted softly. Okay, don't cry, I'm here now. Only, sister, who is he? Pedro stared at Will warily. Pedro has his father, and I have my mother, because of those little guys in the back. He also saw Pokmas. It seemed to be the Pedro he knew. Pedro pushed Helen away and wiped away his tears. Will knows people. I'm not crying, I'm already a man. Chapter 180. The fur family will cease to exist. Sister, you haven't said who they are yet. Pedro was very unhappy with Will. It's like being robbed of your heart, your love. Especially the way my sister looks at each other. Like a mother looks at a father. Helen rubbed Pedro's head and said softly, this is Will, my sister's captain, and also my sister's man. Although behind the words, Helen's voice was very small. But Pedro still heard, seeing my sister's ashamed and red face. Pedro instantly petrified. It's over. My sister went out for a trip and brought the man back. Ah. Pedro couldn't take it. With a cry of surprise, he pointed at Will and roared, I want to fight you. Will. He first looked at Pedro, shaking his head uninterestedly. I have a handyman. If you can defeat him, I will agree to a duel with you. Hawkeye, 23. Do odd jobs, F*K. Send trash fish? Although I am very resistant to this title, but he still stood up very cooperatively. Pedro saw Hawkeye standing up. When meeting the opponent's eagle-like pupils, his body trembled. Terrible eyes, God, and the knife on the opponent's back. Can you cut yourself in half with one knife, Shua? A cold light suddenly appeared. By the time Pedro saw it clearly, Hawkeye had turned around and walked back to the back of the team, and the knife was slowly retracting back and forth. Clatter. Pedro and the few fur guys behind him turned their heads and saw a big tree slowly falling down. A flat and smooth cut appeared in the tree trunk, which several of them could not hold together. Cold sweat came out suddenly. When he looked at Will again, there was nothing but horror in his eyes. A handyman? Is it that scary? How strong is this man in front of him? Will looked at Pedro and the others with a smile. How about you, do you still want to duel with me? Gulu. Pedro and the others felt that the other party's smile was so terrifying. A little guy who looked like a polar bear but with a tuft of black hair on top of his head approached Pedro and muttered a few words. He should be Japo, Beppo's older brother, about the same age as Pedro. In the original book, Charlotte Linlin extracted 30 years of life and GG directly on the spot. Pedro's face was tangled, and his face changed. Boom. Helen angrily gave him a blowout. Advertisement, I'm not good at my skills, but there are quite a lot of dramas. Pedro feels a little wronged, his sister has changed her mind. It used to be very gentle, but who is the captain of my sister? Even the handyman is so powerful, are the others not bad? His gaze began to measure. Hina, Oroja, Robin. He shook his head from time to time, when seeing Bullet. All of a sudden, I became numb, stiff, and stopped. At that moment, he felt as if he was being targeted by a terrifying monster. Very scary. It's 100 times more terrifying than the handyman just now. Sister, I'll go back and tell everyone the news of your return. Without waiting for Helen to speak, they dragged Pokmas and they ran away. Helen felt a little helpless. Master, Pedro is a bit naughty, but he's actually pretty good. Will laughed, I see. Led by Helen, Will and the others walked towards the Fur Tribe's residence. At this time, Zoe was not damaged. All buildings are complete. It's just weird. 1. Along the way, I did not meet other Fur Tribes. Helen was also a little puzzled. Strange, everyone usually comes here, why didn't I see anyone today? When they came to the settlement of the Fur Tribe, immediately, countless Fur Tribes rushed out from the surroundings. Helen's face showed joy. Just go up and say hello. Will grabbed her tightly, because the attitude of these Fur Tribes seems to be unfriendly. This is interesting. According to Will, Fur people don't hate humans as much as they say. In their eyes, humans are nothing but Fur Tribes with thin body and hair. Well, the same as the monkey fur family. Humans may not be particularly welcome into Zoo, but they won't be as hostile as they are now. Helen also noticed everyone's attitude, immediately anxious. It's me, Helen, I'm back. It's just that these Fur Tribes still looked at them with hostility. At this time, the crowd of Fur Tribes separated. A few figures walked out of it. The leader is the boss of the Fur Clan, Lawrence of Tiger Fur. Behind him are Neko Mamushi and Inuarashi of the Whitebeard Pirates, and Marco. After that, there's a leopard and a fox, and Pedro and those little guys. At this moment, Pedro and the others looked angry. Not to will them. Instead, he glared angrily at the cat viper, Yin Lan and Marco. Advertisement Helen immediately understood what had happened. It must be what the 3 of the Whitebeard Pirates told everyone. Hence the attitude. My heart tightened, and panic appeared on my face. She was afraid that everyone in the Fur Tribe would attack Will because of this. If offend the master. With the strength of the master, even if the entire Fur Tribe is added together, it is not enough to kill. She looked at Will beggingly. Will rubbed Helen's head and comforted him. Don't worry, I have it. Take a few steps forward. With every step, Momomushi, Inuarashi and Marco became tense. They watched Will's every move warily, as the distance gets closer. Cold sweat had already appeared on the foreheads of the 3 of them. Only then did Will stop. He looked at the 3 of them jokingly. Are you afraid of me? Can you not be afraid? Even Daddy can't take Will down, let alone them? Will chuckled and said, since you're so afraid of me, why don't you run away? Are you waiting to die? His words are like throwing firewood into the fire and oil. Suddenly ignited the anger of the entire Fur Clan. This is Zoo, not a place for you to run wild. Get out of Zoo. Kill them. Catch them. The entire Fur Clan was furious and glared at Will. Lawrence, the boss of the Fur family, waved his hand to signal everyone to stop. He stared at Will with a frown, endless misery in his eyes. You killed the Kazuki family and took Wanokuni? The Wanokuni Kazuki clan have been brothers to the Fur Clan since long ago in 2.7. The person in front of them can be said to be their enemy. Provoking a conflict between the Fur Clan and the Mad Dragon may make the other party unpopular with the Fur Clan. Suddenly they realized. My power, especially Neko Mamushi and Inuarashi, will cease to exist. Will didn't answer Lawrence's words. Meaningfully said. Why, you only said that I killed Kazuki Oden and occupied Wanokuni, but didn't say anything else? My identity. Instead, he looked at the 3 Marcos behind him. They didn't act at the first time, they were already very restrained. The 3 of them felt a chill in their hearts, but I never thought that once the situation deteriorated. Will's words changed the faces of Marco and the others drastically. But because of Helen. My strength, for example. Fur Family. Chapter 181 When the Fur Tribe meets the scumbag. Lawrence saw the expressions of Marco and the others. Suddenly there was a thump in my heart. It wasn't that he was angry at deceiving the 3 of them. As long as Will does kill the Kazukas and take Wanokuni. That is the enemy of the Fur Tribe, but if the opponent is so strong that the Fur Clan can hardly resist. As the boss of the Fur Family, he has to think about the Fur Tribe. If you have that strength, of course he didn't mind avenging the other party. If the odds are slim, he won't gamble with the Fur Clan. Will saw Lawrence's expression changing, although I don't know what the other party is thinking. But he knew that the other party had scruples. In this world, there is no love for no reason, and there is no hate for no reason. Reality is reality. The friendship between the Kazuki family and the Fur Tribe is limited to the phrase, love as brothers. The 2 sides have not communicated for hundreds of years, and Kazuki Oden only visited once in that year. How can we be sympathetic? How can we be siblings? In the original book, if it weren't for the influence of Mobamushi 31 and Inuarashi, the Fur Tribe may not be so interested in the Kazuki family. His gaze first glanced at Mamushi and Inuarashi. Slightly sarcastic. Why, didn't you tell them what happened to you at Wanokuni? Lawrence frowned upon hearing this, looking at Mamushi and Inuarashi. What happened? Cat Viper and Inuarashi are also a little confused. What happened? With their brain circuits, they couldn't understand the meaning of Will's words at all. But Marco had a bad feeling. Will chuckled lightly and said, You Fur clan regard Wanokuni and Kazuki clan as brothers and sisters who are like brothers and sisters, and you will remember the covenant from generation to generation. Right? Lawrence nodded. The Fur people will never forget. Will laughed. That's weird, why doesn't anyone in Wanokuni remember having such an ally? At the beginning, Neko Mamushi and Inuarashi went to Wanokuni, but they were almost killed as monsters. Also, when Kazuki Oden came to Zou, you are not surprised by his performance? Ah, Will sneered. You regard him as a family friend, and he doesn't remember having such an ally like you. His words are a bit provocative, Lawrence knew it too. But his complexion is still not very good, look. There is a sense of déjà vu that I think about you all the time, but you forget me in a blink of an eye. Advertisement, it's not an exaggeration to say a scumbag. The same goes for the surrounding fur tribes. I would have set my heart to the bright moon, but the bright moon shines on the ditch. Will's words made them feel like they were constipated. By the way, I don't know a secret. Seeing the smile on Will's face, Marco's heart skipped a beat. I became more uneasy. It's not the first time he's seen Will look like this. Gabi Sea area, Morgard Glacier, and the war not long ago. Every time the other party does this, bad things always happen. Lawrence frowned. What secret? 800 years ago, there was a huge kingdom. Pedal. He stepped on the ground under his feet. Back then, the owner of the elephant owner was that huge kingdom. And you fur people. Will's expression was a little strange, which made Lawrence's heart tighten. It is to help its owner take care of it, that is. Keeper. Wow. Fur tribe instant fried pot. No one thought that their identity would suddenly become the breeder of the elephant owner? How can it be? And isn't the elephant master unconscious? Yeah, we don't need to feed the elephant master for so many years. Is that the point? The noisy discussion made Lawrence feel a little restless. Quiet. As he shouted, the fur tribe stopped talking. He looked at Will. What proof do you have? Will said softly. 6 months ago, I met a giant tortoise in West Blue. It is like the elephant owner. It also has a kingdom on its back. That's a branch of the Great Kingdom. There, I brought back a lot of documents. After translating, I discovered something about Shangzhang. Including you fur people, none of these matters. Will smiled and looked around at the fur tribe present. Lawrence hurriedly asked, what else? It is recorded above that the Zaipi tribe can communicate with the Lord. Impossible. Will's words made Lawrence's reaction a little big. For so many years, none of us has communicated with the elephant owner. Advertisement. Not only that, they even think that the elephant master is unconscious. Will said, of course not now, because only the Kazuki family can communicate with the elephant owner now. Lawrence and the fur tribe were all stunned. Could it be that the people of the Kazuki family also belong to their fur clan? Want to hear my guess? Everyone looked at Will, waiting for his next words. 800 years ago, when the Great Kingdom fell, people from the Kazuki clan built historical stels, 4 of which were road signs that recorded a certain island. The people of the Kazuki family put one of them on the back of the elephant owner, and let the fur tribe guard it on their behalf, so they made a covenant. However, the Kazuki family doesn't trust you, or the elephant owner, just in case. He took the method of communicating with the elephant owner from the fur tribe. And tell the elephant owner that it has committed a crime, and it is not allowed to do anything except walk. As for why you can no longer communicate with the elephant master. That's all Will said. For the latter, let the fur tribe guess for themselves. But, the fur tribe was able to communicate with the elephant owner, and Will didn't lie. At the beginning of the trip to Gabi Sea area, Hina 1, I took a lot of photos on the road. Among them is recorded the likeness of the Lord. The elephants belong to the giant kingdom, not the Kazuki family. The fur folks are indeed the ones who look after it. The method of communication is also unclear, as for the subsequent guesses. It is indeed guesswork, but with the previous words, this guess is the closest to the truth. The fur tribe fell silent. First, it was sacked by the Kazuki family of Wanokuni. Then his own identity, inexplicably, became the breeder of the elephant owner. In the end, I was told that the fur clan could communicate with the elephant owner. And they can't communicate with the elephant owner, it is probably the pit dug by the Kazuki family? If all this is true, then this ally, there's a chicken alley. Fur tribes have no allies, the Kazuki family? Pooh. A scumbag, not worthy of being an ally, for a while. All the fur tribes looked at Lawrence in unison, as the boss of the fur family. In the end, it was up to him to make the decision. Chapter 182. The Vice Emperor who fell early. Lawrence was in a tangle. The covenant that the fur tribe has guarded for generations should be obeyed logically. Even if the Kazuki family really forgot about them. Even if the other party may have done something bad. Or if what the man in front of me said is true. Could it be that their fur family is going to be a dog? Just when he didn't know how to choose, Helen steps out from behind Will. Come before him. Lawrence was of course happy to see his niece and daughter. Helen disappeared because of an accident. They all thought they would never see Helen again. Did not expect to be able to meet again, and people seem to be different. Lawrence sighed in his heart. From Pedro, I already know the relationship between Helen and Will. There is a kind of discomfort that my own cabbage is arched. Helen first glanced at Mamushi, Inuarashi and Marco. Then he whispered in Lawrence's ear, Uncle, no matter whether these things are true or not, there is one thing I must tell you. Lawrence restrained his thoughts, say, my captain is New World. Following Helen's narration, Lawrence's expression gradually became shocked. He looked at the young man opposite him in disbelief. The other party is actually one of the emperors of the New World today. Still the most powerful one, as long as the other party is willing. Exterminating the Fur Clan is just a matter of convenience. It's not that fur tribes don't know the outside world. But knowledge is limited. If you're lucky, there will be news about bird passing and passing. Unlucky time. It may be a year or so, and you will not meet them. The last time the Roger Pirates landed on Zou, they learned a lot about the outside world. But what happened after that, I don't know. After learning from Helen about the grievances between Wool and Whitebeard, Rock's pirate and the Whitebeard Pirates. The balance of the scale in my heart has tilted, mad, to his allies. One scumbag. But fur people are loyal. Then guard the road signs according to the agreement. Others, the fur tribe doesn't bother to care about it. Lawrence waved, then backed away. The Fur Clan also retreated. The changes in the situation caught Marco and the others a little off guard. Even if there is a conflict between the Fur Tribe and the Mad Dragon, they can accept it if the two sides fight and fight. But how did things become like this? They obviously haven't spoken yet. Did the Fur Tribe abandon them, regardless of the Kazuki family? Marco broke out in cold sweat instantly. Just the three of them, how could they be the opponent of the Mad Dragon? This visit to New World was originally done secretly. They didn't expect that they had just arrived. The Mad Dragon came on the back foot. They don't even have time to react, Inulin said in a low voice. Marco, let's restrain him, you go first. Cat Viper urged. Hurry up, or it will be too late. Don't worry, we belong to the Fur Clan anyway, the other party won't kill us here. Marco hesitated no longer. Tang! Both arms instantly turned into wings of a phoenix, flapping the wings and flying into the sky. Advertisement. He knew that this was the best choice at the moment. One more second of hesitation, none of the three of them could leave. Want to go? Ask me. Will glanced lightly at Marco, who was fleeing quickly. Don't try to shoot Marco. Nekomamushi and Inuarashi roared, and rushed towards Wool with their respective weapons. That look. It really looks like death. Pity. Will didn't even bother to look at them. Call out. Call out. Two figures flashed in front of Will. It's Gion and Hawkeye. Clang, clang. Two soft moans sounded. Clang, clang. Nekomamushi and Inuarashi had to block. Just letting you escape like this, boss will lose face. Guy Lee chuckled. The sniper rifles on the back and back were in his hand in an instant. Kneel down on one knee, raise the gun, and aim. A series of data was reported in the mouth. Wind speed. Humidity. Her expression became more and more focused when the last data was reported. Boom. A pitch-black bullet shot out from the muzzle of the gun. Then fill quickly. Boom, boom. Marco, who was fleeing, was covered with chills, and a strong sense of crisis enveloped him. Without hesitation, he immediately frantically fanned the wings of the phoenix. The figure just shifted. The next moment, a bullet flew past his face. Before he could breathe a sigh of relief, there are bullets and bullets coming. He hastily forced, twisted, turned around, and body. Passing by, there was a sound of breaking through the air. Laugh. Marco flickered, but it was Guy's third bullet that hit his phoenix wings. The bullet with hockey ripped through his flesh and blood. Bring up a bunch of blood flowers. The severe pain caused his figure to lose his stability all of a sudden, and he began to fall. Hey hey. Bullet walked out and came with a low smile, looking at the falling Marco. A playful look appeared in his eyes. Call out. The next moment, he appeared in midair, stepping on the air under his feet and quickly approaching Marco. Marco had just stabilized his figure, before he could make the next move. A black shadow appeared above him, covering the sunlight, and a dangerous aura enveloped him. He raised his head with difficulty, just met Bullet's cracked smile. The exposed big white fang looks a bit pervasive. Hey hey, let me play, go. Bullet clenched his hands into fists and slammed down on Marco's face. Boom. The punch landed firmly on his face. Advertisement. The huge force directly deformed his face. Call. Marco maintained his stature and hit the ground like a cannonball. Boom. The ground shook, and a cloud of smoke and dust was splashed. Cough cough cough. Marco struggled to get up, and his heart sank to the bottom. Are you really going to stay here today? However, Bullet didn't give him a chance to think. As early as the moment he fell, Bullet followed. Hee hee hee. Bullet's voice rang in Marco's ear. During the battle, what are you in a daze for? Really p****** d me off last time, this time, I'll get it back on you. Marco's eyes widened. Tang. A mass of phoenix flames enveloped and engulfed him. In the next moment, a distance bombarded the phoenix flame. Boom. The flames of the phoenix exploded, and Bullet's fist landed on Marco. Boom. Marco, who flew upside down, was full of horror in his eyes. Too strong. Moreover, Bullet's progress is too fast. I still remember that in Wanokuni, the first time they played against each other, the difference in strength between them was not so big. The Fur Tribe watched the battle on the field, and they were too shocked to speak. Especially the scene where Marco is being brutalized by Bullet. Bullet's berserk figure was deeply, deeply imprinted in their minds. If you can, never offend that person. As for their fellow clansmen, Nekomamushi and Inuarashi. He was beaten too weak to fight back. When their gazes inadvertently fell on the body that was always indifferent. There was a little more awe in his eyes. Will Red and Marco's fight, eh? Speaking of Qian Dejao, Marco is still a little short of the Vice Emperor. Not on the same level as Bullet, who can compete with Rayleigh. And the talents of the two are not at the same level at all. About 2 hours later, boom, Bullet dropped Marco at Will's feet like he was dragging a dead dog. At this moment, his appearance was extremely miserable. His arms were broken, his chest and mouth collapsed, and his entire face was covered with bloodlines and bruises. His expression was extremely complicated. Perhaps I shouldn't venture back to the New World. The right foot was lightly lifted and then landed on the dog's head. Whitebeard Pirates, boom, because he has reached his limit. Unexpected death Zoe. Even if he wanted to heal his injuries, he didn't have any extra energy left. Looking down at Will looking down at him. Cough, cough, cough. In your next life, don't be a pirate, mad dragon. Death. Team Captain. It is estimated that no one would have thought that Marco would be there after the Whitebeard Pirates evacuated New World. Marco. Will looked at Marco indifferently. Marco was lying on the ground, raising his head with difficulty. Chapter 183 Confinement, and Thirst, Desire. Chapter 183 Imprisonment and Thirst, Desire. Marco's death made the fur tribe feel cold. They have a little more understanding of that young man's ruthlessness. Neko Mamushi and Inuarashi were subdued, before Will spoke. Gion and Hawkeye didn't kill them. Helen, it's rare for you to come back, and you haven't invited guests to the house. Lawrence winked at Helen. No matter how you say it, Mamushiro and Inuarashi belong to the Fur Clan. Even if they go to sea and become pirates, it is also impossible to watch them die in front of your eyes. Helen Liu frowned slightly, and first glanced at Cat Viper and Inulin. Because of Marco's death, the two were devastated at this moment. Look again at Will. He hesitated to speak, then let's go. Will is also not in a hurry to deal with Nekomachiru and Inuarashi. To him, these are just two small characters, came to Helen's house. Helen introduces Will to her father and mother. Maybe because of the previous incident, the two still have a little awe and restraint towards Will. Lawrence looked relaxed. It's just that there is always an inexplicable meaning in the eyes and eyes looking at Will. Just like a father-in-law looks at his son-in-law. No matter how you look at it, you are not happy. Will pouted, just an uncle. But Helen is his woman after all, let's show some face. Pedro brought Pokmas, Giebo and others around Orojaw and they asked about the outside world. Curious about everything outside, their eyes lit up. Crying to go to sea. When the gossip was almost over, Lawrence coughed lightly. First, he took a look at Helen. Then he said to Will. Well, Captain Will, can you let the Cat Viper and Inuarashi go for the sake of the Fur Clan? He still has his own thoughts. Both Cat Viper and Inuarashi are the most powerful in this generation of Fur Clan. Of course, now my niece has more potential, but it would be a good thing for the Fur Tribe if they could keep the two of them. Will said softly. Lawrence, you should know the grievances between me and the Whitebeard Pirates. Lawrence's heart tightened. Listening to Will, are you planning to let Neko Mamushi and Inuarashi go? Well, I'll let them quit the Whitebeard Pirates, is that okay? Will spread his hands. If you can persuade them, I don't care. He wouldn't believe that Lawrence could persuade Mamushi and Inuarashi. Lawrence had a happy face. Then I'll try it, up to you. Lawrence went at once. Helen came over and rubbed and squeezed Will's shoulders and shoulders. Master, what are you going to do with them? Now she is caught in the middle in a dilemma. No matter what choice Will makes, she will accept it. Advertisement it's just that, from now on, there will be a gap between the fur family and the owner and her. This is not what she wants to see. Will looked at the fur tribe outside the door. Many people were surrounding Bullet and others outside. They also looked at him secretly. I don't mind what to do with Cat Viper and Inuarashi. What I, DBAE, want is to put forward conditions to the fur tribe through them. Helen wondered, Master, do you want to? Will squeezed her hand. Are you interested in being the captain of Team 7? Helen was taken aback when she heard this, immediately reacted. Eyes lit up. You want to set up the 7th team, and the players will be selected from the fur tribe? If it was in the past, she didn't think it was a good thing. Because the fur tribe has nothing to do with the world and no ambitions. But since following Will, she has seen a different world. Also understand that as long as the fur doesn't protect the international block signposts, one day in the future, disaster will befall them sooner or later. Therefore, it is better to find a backer in advance. In Helen's opinion, there is no more reliable backer than Will in this world. Then the eyes dimmed. A little distressed. But, uncle, will they really agree? Will pointed at the fur tribe outside, look at their eyes. Helen looked in the direction, wondering, what? Eager. They're eager. Eager to understand the outside world, eager to see the outside world. It's just that there is a cage imprisoning them. This so-called cage is the mission of the Fur Clan. For a long time, this kind of thing has been deep into the bone, marrow, and deeply rooted. This can be seen from the original book. Among the fur tribes who go to sea, all are very young, and there are even more children. Such as Cat Viper and Dog Arashi, Pedro, Jebo, Pokmas, Beppo and others. Because they are still young, so no scruples, and those adults, under the suppression of reason and nature, hide their desire to go to sea inside and deep in their hearts. After a while, Lawrence came back a little distraught. Those two brats really d me off. I don't know what kind of MI drug I was given, and I have to go back to the Whitebeard Pirates to protect that fart, young master. I'll break their legs to see how they go out to sea and guard their farts. The Kazuki clan is king, 8, and egg. His impression of the Kazuki clan is getting worse and worse. Will laughed. Why, they didn't agree. Lawrence stopped cursing. After a light cough, he said with a smile. Well, Captain Will, do you want to give me a little more time? Will nodded indifferently. I will stay in Zou for 3 days. After 3 days, if you still can't persuade them, then don't blame killing. Lawrence hesitated for a moment, but nodded. Okay. Led by Helen, Will and his group visited Zou. I also saw the road sign. Speaking up, he has little interest in Raftel advertisement. Instead, before he knew it, 3 road signs had already passed his hand. Now, all that's left is the piece in Charlotte Linland's hand. This is really. See what? Seeing Robin fascinated by this road sign, Will her little head. Robin said solemnly. I just memorized the content above. For specific information, you need to collect all 4 road signs to arrange it, come. But, her little face was filled with a happy smile. Mama Lucy will be very happy. Suddenly, the smile disappeared, and the mood became depressed. I don't know where Mother Orovia is now. Will froze. Suddenly he slapped his head. How could I forget this one? It seems that in the original book, Orovia was arrested next year, right? However, the giant Saul should be brought back by Elbaf, right? I changed so many things, I don't know what will happen. After thinking about it, I took out the phone bug. Tell Stussy to keep an eye out for news from Orovia. The disappointment on Robin's face instantly disappeared, and a happy smile appeared on his face again. Little girl, this mood is like changing face. Robin spat out, tongue, and head in embarrassment. 2 days later, Lawrence appeared in front of Will dejectedly. This is what Will expected. Captain Will, can't you spare the 2 of them? Will didn't speak, and Helen walked out from the side. Pulling Lawrence's coquettish voice, Uncle, I want to recruit some partners. Lawrence was stunned. However, he is the boss of the Fur Clan anyway, so he quickly realized it. First, he looked at Will, and saw that Will was just looking at himself with a smile. Immediately, he said in a bad mood, You girl, it hurts you in vain. The arms are all turned out. Will laughed. Lawrence, don't say that, we are family. He emphasized the accent on the word, family. Lawrence took a deep breath. This is your condition? Will nodded. That's right, but I don't want to see the 2 of them in the Whitebeard Pirates again. If you go back to the Whitebeard Pirates again, you should understand what will happen. Lawrence was silent for a while, and finally said helplessly, I will watch them. However, if you want to recruit fur tribes, it depends on whether they are willing. Will laughed, of course. What happened next caught Lawrence a little off guard. Helen just opened her mouth. Immediately, countless fur tribes clamored to join. It gave Lawrence a headache. He didn't expect that these guys, who looked normal in the past, were so eager for the outside world in their hearts. In the end, under the circumstances of Helen's careful selection and Lawrence's dissuasion, for the time being, only 300 fur tribes have been recruited as members of the 7th team. And next, Will is about to meet Charlotte Linland. Chapter 184 Stussy. I'm the best at interrogation or something. Way, the first half of the Great Route, the Moby D*K was sailing towards Food City. After exiting New World, they sailed aimlessly through the first half. Nor can it be said to be aimless. They are waiting for news from Marco. If the fur tribe can be recruited to join the Whitebeard Pirates, it will be a great joy for the current Whitebeard Pirates. Suddenly, Whitebeard, who was drinking, froze, clang. The wine jug in his hand fell and hit the deck, shattering directly. Drinks were spilled everywhere, but Whitebeard didn't seem to notice. The people around looked over one after another. What's the matter, father? Whitebeard's body trembled, and his eyes were full of panic. This is his rare demeanor. Rayleigh and the others were startled. Newgate, are you all right? Father, what happened? Tears streamed from Whitebeard's eyes, and he spread his hands slowly. There is a piece of paper that is slowly burning. That is. Everyone's pupils shrank. Whitebeard looked pained and murmured, Marco's lifecard. Everyone's eyes widened instantly, looking at the lifecard that was about to burn out. No, stop, don't want, please, don't burn it out. However, no matter how they begged, the lifecard was still burned out. Even the ashes were blown away by a gust of sea breeze. Everyone just felt dizzy. Marco, died? Die like this? The sudden death left them without any psychological defenses. Whitebeard's eyes were red. Since the war with the Mad Dragon, he has sent away one son after another. Today, it will be Marco. However, he didn't even know who to pour out his minimum anger on. Marco and the others met in New World. Charlotte Linland's tea party was prepared more than 2 months ago. It was in the Morgan's paper a month ago. Almost anyone who has something to do with the Big Mom Pirates was invited. As the queen of the Fun Street, of course Stussy is also invited. After Will left Zou, he went straight to Dominique. He is ready to travel to the nations with Stussy. By the way, help her treat her chest tightness. Of course, there is one more important purpose. It's time for the moon. This woman is really a bit difficult to do. Will doesn't have time to spend much time at Wanokuni. If you want to quickly develop your power, you still have to draw, come and go. Just like Zou's trip, he has one more fan team, 300 fur tribes. These are natural fighters. No matter male, female, old or young, they are all good at using electricity. Ordinary pirates are no match for them at all. What's more, it can also transform into a moon lion state. After the matter of Wang Guo is over, go to the Fishmen Island again, recruit Murlocs, and replenish the 6th team. Advertisement back to the point. He didn't have time to adjust and teach Tianyu time, but this matter was very important to Will. It is no smaller than the task of developing power. So, I took her with me on this trip. Give Stussy a try. Approaching Dominica, a boat dressed up with flowers, branches, strokes, and exhibitions is slowly approaching. The words, flowers, branches, strokes, and exhibitions, can be used to describe the boat. It can be seen how attractive this ship is, people, eyes, and balls. Because this is a flower, a boat, a vehicle belonging to the Queen of the Pleasure District. Before they got close, the voices of a group of Ying Ying and Yan Yan came. There are no men on this ship, only women. Don't underestimate them, these women's fighting power is not inferior to ordinary pirates. A few people, such as the charming woman who greets Will personally every time, are not inferior to the ordinary cadres of the 4 Emperors Regiment. Ouch, my lord, we meet again. Some people knew Will very well and greeted him one after another. Moment. Will felt 2 sharp eyes sweeping towards him. Needless to say, it must be Guion, Guy Li. Touch la touch, knows. I don't know if Stussy did this on purpose, planning to give other women a bad blow? Surrounded by a group of women, Stussy walked out of the flower boat. Master 4 Emperors, we meet again. Stussy was clever, smiling, and natural, but he didn't look at him. Instead, it fell on Guion and the others. Seeing them staring at him vigilantly, he couldn't help but smile. I have some tightness in my chest, I need to clear it. Cough cough cough. Rao was Will, who was also a little hesitant, coughing and coughing hurriedly, interrupting Stussy's words. However, Stussy is a confidant after all, he restrained his smile. He solemnly said to those women, I haven't seen your big boss yet. The women were stunned for a moment, instantly restrained his smile. Chi-Chi shouted to Will, big boss. Forehead, not only Will, even the people behind him were stunned. Stussy, what are you? Stussy jumped lightly and landed in front of Will. They are the backbone of our intelligence network, absolutely loyal. Will looked carefully again, and there were about 20 people. Some wondered. Are there no men? Stussy explained. Of course there are, but they are all sent out. That's right. If there are only women, those who don't know about it might think that I have some special hobbies. The Thunder Dragon and the flower boat turned their directions at the same time and sailed towards Wang Guo. But on the Thunder Dragon, there was a war without gunpowder. Here we go, sisters, it's the first time we meet. I'm Stussy, the boss's personal secretary. As you have seen just now, I am in charge of intelligence. Stussy puts emphasis on sticking in body. Guy Li sneered. Guy Li, the boss, your personal sniper. Will. What's wrong with Stussy? With her wrist, she can't put herself on the opposite side of Guy Li and the others, right? Asking for flowers. Stussy just smiled, then looked at Guion. Eyes and eyes are full of fun. Advertisement, who is this? Of course she knew Guion's identity, but she pretended not to know. Guion pursed his lips and lips. Guion. Before she finished speaking, Guy hurriedly grabbed her. Boss, your personal swordsman. Guion was stunned for a moment, and then his face started to red. Guy Li whispered. You are stupid, she is obviously here to show off. If you lose your momentum, how can you raise your head in front of her in the future? Guion is still a little confused. What are these things? Is it necessary to be so complicated? But I don't have that kind of relationship with Will. Not now, but not in the future. Guion. The 3 little girls watched with gusto. Bullet and Hawkeye are women, what a troublesome creature. Then he drilled directly into the training room at the bottom of the bilge. 0. How can a woman practice so well? In the captain's cabin. Will looked at Stussy speechlessly. That's not your style. With Stussy's smooth and slick way of doing things, such low-level mistakes would never be made. Even in this matter, Stussy gave him a blank look. It's cheap and good-looking, the Guion just now, but acquiesced. You will not forget the reason why she left Marine and stayed by your side? Of course Will hadn't. Stussy laughed and said, no matter what she thought at the beginning, as long as she has you in her heart and becomes your woman, she will put you first in everything in the future. Stretch out the green onion and point to Will's forehead. Say, shall I help you again? Besides, I am on good terms with them, which may not be a good thing for you. Hiss. Will bared his teeth. Are there so many twists and turns? But, pull Stussy over. Whispered in her ear. You are really my virtuous in-law and helper. Stuba clasps her hands. You know what's going on with the family, right? Good. You're the best. That person is feeling a bit tight in the chest right now, and needs to be cleared up. Will. Isn't that good? There was such a commotion just now, so let's unblock it now. Stamped his feet. I'm so mad, hair. Will is treating Stussy for chest tightness. Look at my short temper. Big. Stussy looked at him with a smile. Why, your unblocking tool is not working. Outside. Guy Li and Guion looked a little bad, no? Hey, Tube. I let you. Helen came in with Tianyu. Helen brought Tianyu into the captain's room. Fighting, fire, chaos, and flying in the captain's room. Road. It's no wonder Guy Li and the others don't blow their hair. Water. Then, in the shocked eyes of the two, Chapter 185 Gathering All Nations, Charlotte Linland's Conspiracy. Tianyu felt like a flat boat in the sea, and Will, Stussy, and Helen are the raging waves. Wave after wave caused her small boat to be overturned several times. I don't know when my mind started to go hazy. She felt like she was about to lose her ability to think. Who are you? Where are you? What do you think? Do, what? EA. No, I don't have a master. Tianue is sometimes sober and sometimes confused. She looked at the three of them. Think they are the devil. Do your best not to sink into it. But she felt as if her body was fighting against her will. I started to panic in my heart. Will looks at Stussy in admiration. Looking at Tianue she, whose mind and ambition are a little blurred. At this time, under the command of Stussy, she is doing various things that break through the limit. The beneficiary should be 857, of course Will. Stussy, you don't know what demon fruit power is, do you? Stussy gave Will a blank look. Don't you know if he is a person with abilities? That's too powerful. He looked at Helen again. That's how Helen came here. The mentioned wave face, color, Hong. Stussy rubbed Helen's face and cheeks with a smile. Helen is different, isn't it? Well, Helen volunteered to serve her master. Will. And, how long will it take? Stussy pondered. If it lasts, it can be as little as half a year, as long as 1 or 2 years. So long? Will was a little surprised. Helen is not. Helen's situation is different from that of Tianue. Stussy said seriously. You should be clear that Tianue must be completely remodeled. Once there is a slight mistake, she will use the fruit ability. If she runs away by herself, that's all right. What if she pulls you through hundreds of years, thousands of years? Stussy looked at him deeply, deeply. Do you want me to wait for you so long? Will frowned. Such a situation, of course, cannot happen. It doesn't matter if it takes longer, I can afford to wait. Boom boom boom. Advertisement. There was an urgent, rapid and violent knock on the door. The three people in the room stopped their movements. Boss, we are ready to go to Cake Island. Listening to Guy Lee's slightly irritable voice outside, Stussy's mouth and corners twitched slightly. Wait for Will and the others to come out of the captain's cabin. I saw a large ship appearing in front of the Thunder Dragon. The flag of the Big Mom Pirates hangs on it. Standing at the bow of the boat was Perisparrow, who had sent him an invitation not long ago. Master Will, follow Mother's order, and I will pick you up for the cake shop. Will said meaningfully. Welcome? Perisparrow's face and expression froze, and he said with a little embarrassment. As for emperors, you still have the specifications you should have. Greeting was incidental. The main thing is to guard against Will. The opponent is the 4 emperors, and every time they go to sea, someone will always be unlucky. Although this is the world, there is a mother sitting in charge. But with the mad dragon around, it might not be all right. Will said nothing more. Under the leadership of Perisparrow, the Thunder Dragon, Wa and the boat headed for Cake Island. The closer to Cake Island, the busier it is. Ships coming and going, small islands passing by, all kinds of people. 1. When the road came, they saw humans, fur tribes, murloc tribes, long-handed tribes, long-legged tribes, and small human tribes. And what is surprising is that people of these different races can live in peace. This amazed everyone except Will. No one expected that Fangli under the rule of Charlotte Linlin would be so harmonious. Perisparrow looked smug. This is my mother's dream, to build a country and family where people of all races in the world can live together equally. No, everything in this world. Robin wondered. Everything in the world? Perisparrow said with a smile. Yes, that's Mama Utopia, all nations. As he introduced the situation of Wan Guo in detail. The eyes of these women and the little girls are shining brightly. Dessert. Even the buildings are made of desserts. This is simply a food country. A slight sneer appeared on Will's face. Behind this seemingly prosperous back, there is hidden darkness like an abyss. Outsiders can still buy peace with money. The people here need to pay their lives. If one day Charlotte Linlin suffers from cravings, it will be another disaster. After landing on Cake Island, the little girls ran away like crazy. Hina looked at the chocolate fountain in front of her with bright eyes. Advertisement, here, Hina wants to eat chocolate. Ah. Oroja opened his mouth and bit off a statue's finger. The rest of the people were not idle either. Sweets are a woman's favorite. Several women are lingering in front of their favorite sweets. Even Bullet and Hawkeye are no exception. Perisparrow pointed to a row of luxurious villas ahead. My lord Will, the tea party will be held tomorrow, and today I will wrong you and your crew to stay there for one night. Will followed the direction and saw many familiar people at once. Curiously asked. Who is here? Perisparrow hurriedly Kaido, great journalist Morgans. Lou Field, who was in the limelight in the dark world recently. Transportation magnate Umit, Perisparrow reported many names. Many of which Will has never heard of. Crack, crack. Perisparrow clapped his palms, and a man stepped out from the waiting line. Master Will, from now on, Gallet will entertain you. If you need anything, just ask him. Garrett took a step forward and said respectfully, Master Will. Will quietly looked at Garrett in front of him. His silence made the hearts of Perisparrow and Rad jump wildly. No, you won't be seen. Are you coming? In their tension, Will spoke up. Well, lead the way. The two breathed a sigh of relief. Concealed exchange of eyes, Queen of God. Gallet hurriedly took Will and the others to the villa area. Will looked at Garrett, who was leading the way ahead, his mouth and corners curled up. Ling 3.1 Ling, what is your intention? Crack, click. A figure flashed in front of Will, followed by a flash of light. Garrett hurriedly said, "Mr. Morgans, please don't do this." Although Morgans is also a guest, it is not at the same level as Kwanlong. If you offend the other party, it will not end well for everyone. Sorry. Morgans puts away the camera with a lot of thought. A gentlemanly salute to Will. I've heard of you for a long time, Crazy Dragon Will. I was agitated just now, please don't mind it. Will looked at the albatross in front of him, with a flash of fire and heat in his eyes. Morgans, the spokesperson of the World Economic News Agency, his intelligence network is comparable to Marine and the world's ZF in this sea. Back then, Will also coveted Morgan's intelligence network. Same now. Chapter 186 Fly into the sky or sink into the sea. How are things going? In a spacious room, Charlotte Linlin's huge body was lying sideways on the big bed. Her face could not be seen clearly in the dim light. This made her look a little eerie. Parasparrow, who was serving Will not long ago, was standing nervously in front of her. Mom, it's already done. The mad dragon didn't find anything abnormal. As long as Garrett can touch the brains of the people around him, he can read and tamper with their memories. Mommy, hearing this news, Charlotte Linlin laughed wantonly. Why did she insist on inviting Will to come to Wanguo when she and Will almost fell out? It is because there is a person with a special ability among her subordinates. Memory fruit ability user, can read, take out, replace and tamper with the memory of the specified object. If this plan is successful, think about that scene. She was so excited that she couldn't move. Will, I really want to thank you. I have learned a lot from you. Parasparrow hesitated for a moment, but still asked, Mom, why don't you just change the memory of the mad dragon? As soon as the words came out, Charlotte Linlin suppressed her smile in an instant. His face was gloomy, and his eyes were full of gloom, staring at Parasparrow. Make him tremble all over. In a cold sweat, 31 was rescued and came. He knew that he had asked a question that should not have been asked. Charlotte Linlin looked at Parasparrow coldly. Who do you think Will is? That guy in Newgate lost to him 3 times in a row. Even New World has no place for him now. Marine was played around by him. Even I have to give in when facing him. Do you think that with Garrett's strength, there is a chance to shoot Will? I'm afraid he hasn't made a move yet, but just moving and thinking about it, Will be able to sense the danger. Even if he avoids this link, the moment he makes a move, Will can subdue him in an instant. Having said that, Charlotte Linlin stared at Parasparrow with murderous eyes. Parasparrow, don't do unnecessary things, if things come to light. You know the consequences. Parasparrow swallowed hard. He had really moved his mind on this before. Because of the series of embarrassments Will gave him before, he couldn't help but want to pull him down from the altar. Good to vent my heart. Charlotte Linlin thought for a while, and continued. Be prepared. Get Castard and Armand ready. Parasparrow was taken aback for a moment. Mom, do you want to? Alliance. You want to form an alliance with the Mad Dragon? Parasparrow was surprised. Then Castard and Armand? Advertisement. Then he opened his eyes wide. Marriage? Charlotte Linlin showed a cold smile. That's right, regardless of whether Garrett succeeds or not, now is not the time to fall out with Will. I have received the message. Marine and the world's ZF have always wanted to get rid of Will, and they will shoot Will sooner or later. When the time comes, it's time for us to make a move. Parasparrow's eyes lit up. Suddenly, I felt a chill in my heart again. He claims to be the strategist of the Big Mom Pirates, and he usually makes up the minds of the pirates. But I didn't want to. My mother played tricks and tricks. Not worse than yourself at all. Could it be that he really learned from that guy Shanglong? While Charlotte Linlin plots how to deal with Will. At this time, he was sitting with several people drinking tea together. Queen of the Pleasure District Stussy. The others are all figures who are about to become, or have already become, the kings of the underground world. Lou Field. Sea Freight King Umit. Warehousing boss Gibson. And of course the great journalist Morgans. Will sits first. Except for Morgans and Stussy. The other 3 looked at Will with more or less awe. After all, the gap in strength and status between them and Will is too great. No matter how well they got along in the underground world, in front of Will, the 4 emperors. It's just a small reptile with only a little weight. Will's gaze sized up the 3 of them. To be honest, the strength of the 3 is not very good. He could be crushed to death easily, however, compared to their strength. What Will values more is their methods. Being able to get mixed up to this level in New World is not something anyone can do. He first looked at the Sea King Umit. The other party controls New World's ocean transportation industry. Mr. Umit. Umit, who was named, hastily responded with a smile. Boss Will. Will smiled gently. Don't be nervous. We are all guests, and our identities are the same. Yes. Umit felt Will's kindness, and his heart eased a lot. My Wanokuni has been developing rapidly recently, but due to the scarcity of resources, it has been hindered. Mr. Umit holds the largest transportation company in New World. Are you interested in collaborating? When Umit heard this, surprise appeared on his face. Of course he would. Even if it is a loss-making business, it is worth it to have a relationship with Will, the dragon who is the leader of the 4 emperors. With the other party as a backer, he dared to expand this transportation industry to other sea areas. At that time, with the name of the Mad Dragon pressing down, who would dare to have any objections to those local snakes? Advertisement, but to do business, it is better to ask clearly. He said cautiously. What do you mean? I have two options here. When Umit heard the words, he immediately became serious and concentrated, for fear of missing every word that followed. One is normal cooperation. Mr. Umit just needs to transport the things we need to the designated place according to our requirements. Umit nodded, which is very understandable. It is the normal cooperation mode, and there are not so many twists and turns. But in this case, it is difficult to use Will's name to do things. What about the second one? Seeing that Umit seemed to be looking forward to the second plan, Will couldn't help but smile. Secondly, I will invest in Mr. Umit's transportation company. The banner of Rock's pirate can be used by the company. If it needs manpower and funds, I can also provide it. As for the others, it's nothing. Umit's eyes lit up, and he took a deep breath to ease his agitated mood. That's exactly what he wanted, but after calming down, I also noticed the disadvantages. Such a cooperation model. In the early days there was nothing. But as time goes by, people outside will gradually think that this company belongs to Kwanlong. Moreover, as the cooperation with Kwanlong 290 gradually deepens, sooner or later, the company will bear the other party's brand. In the long run, this company has really become a mad dragon. Seeing that Umit's face kept changing, Will said with a smile, Mr. Umit, if you have any concerns, you can speak up. Cooperation, we have to talk before we can continue, throw it away. Umit hesitated for a while. Boss Will, this transportation company has been established through the hard work of several generations of our family. I'd love to work with you, but Umit didn't know how to speak the latter words so as not to anger Will. After thinking for a while, Will knew Umit's concerns. Can't help but laugh. The structure of the two sides is not the same, and of course they will get different results when they look at the problem. Mr. Umit, I think I understand your concerns. How about this? The conditions of cooperation remain the same, I assure you. I will not interfere with the matter of the transportation company, nor will anyone be involved in the management. However, when I need it, the transportation company must fully assist. Umit was overjoyed, but also a little worried. What if the mad dragon repents in the future? This is the disadvantage of not having strength. Will said softly. Mr. Umit, hesitating will not be the reason. Hearing this, Umit felt ruthless. Okay, he also went all out. Ride on Will's wave. Or fly to the sky, or sink into the sea. Several other people watched from the side with their hearts and minds moving. In the blink of an eye, Sea King and Kwanlong have reached a cooperation? This kind of cooperation has already become a whole. Will looked again at Gibson and Field, the warehouse owners. Chapter 187 Blood, Drenching Gift. With Umit's lessons learned, Gibson also formed a partnership with Will. What he does is control the source of goods, many of which are prohibited. It can be said that his biggest enemy is Marine in the world ZF. Only he himself knows how difficult it is. Working with Will, for him, is simply a blessing in disguise. Seeing that both of them have a relationship with Kwanlong, Field became a little anxious. Kwanlong doesn't seem to be interested in his high interest and loan? Boss Will, look, how am I doing? No way, Field could only take the initiative to ask. Will smiled apologetically at him. I'm sorry, Mr. Field, I'm not interested in high interest and loan for the time being. Field was a little disappointed when he heard this. Stussy gave Will a surprised look. Based on what she knew about Will, it was impossible for the other party to give up this piece of fat and meat. Of course Will not give up this piece of fat and meat. He doesn't need to work with Field, though. The industry of high interest and loan is different from others. Will needs someone he can trust to hold the industry firmly in his hands. Make new rules, he can cooperate with Field, and then the dove will occupy the magpie's nest. But in that case, it will leave a bad impression on other partners. It will also shut out those who want to cooperate with him. C will look at himself. Morgans couldn't help laughing. Why, Boss Will has a project to cooperate with me. In just a short moment of effort, 2 of the 5 giants in the underground world have established a cooperative relationship with Will. One he still doesn't like. As for the queen of the pleasure district Stussy, it is said that she has a close relationship with the mad dragon. On the wrist of the 4 emperors, a Madara can be seen. If Mr. Morgans would, of course I would, but Will knows that some people have their own persistence. They are not swayed by objects, people and words. That's the case with Morgans, otherwise, Stussy would have negotiated with the other party long ago. However, not being able to cooperate is the same as being friends. Morgans sighed. Although I appreciate you, world economic news must remain absolutely neutral. There can be no power, no shadow of anyone. We must ensure the objectivity of every piece of news. Will jokingly said, including yourself? Morgans couldn't help laughing when he heard this. How can I say that I founded the news agency myself? Sometimes it's not too much to bring a little temper of my own. Will nodded. Of course. When it comes to some big news, Morgans always likes to express his opinion and guess. It may even be exaggerated, but you can't deny the truth of what he reported. This is also the reason why his World Economic News Agency can develop so quickly. I heard that Mr. Morgans recently recruited a capable person? When it came to the subject, Morgans brightened even more. Haha, I didn't expect Boss Will to be so well informed. That's right, he's called the Photographer King, nicknamed the Flame Photographer. He's a very capable person. Morgans praised his subordinates vigorously there, his face was full of complacency. Advertisement only, when he saw Will's meaningful smile. The words of praise were gradually blocked back. The smile also froze on his face. Boss Will, don't look at me like that. Strange, weird, Will was amused by his expression. Morgans, I like to make friends, I don't want my friends to be hurt. First heard that Marine and the World ZF are very satisfied with your reports recently and feel that you have worked too hard. So I sent people from the CP organization to work as employees in your newspaper office to relieve your pressure. Morgans blinked. For a moment, he didn't understand the meaning of Will's words. After counting interest, cold sweat came out suddenly. Damn, it's almost the same when you hear Quanglong's words in reverse. Obviously, Marine and the World ZF are dissatisfied with themselves. So we sent someone from the CP organization to come undercover. Get in touch with the competent men mentioned by Quanglong before. Made. Marine and the World ZF gang of kings, eights, and eggs. Sorry, Boss Will, I'll go out first. Morgans ran out in a hurry. When Will returned to the villa where he was resting, he couldn't help being stunned when he saw the scene in front of him. I saw that Galet had been tied up and placed in the middle of the hall. Hina, Oroka and Robin are surrounding him. Oroka's knight gun was pointed at the opponent's forehead. Say, what conspiracy? The little girl made a vicious and ruthless look. It's gone, it's really gone. Let me go. Garrett begged for mercy with a sad face. He really didn't expect that these little girls are all capable, and they are so difficult and entangled. What's wrong with you guys? Will? Seeing Will coming back, the three little girls ran over excitedly. Hina caught the bad guy. He is a big villain, ready to attack us. HMPH, he is so stupid, I have already seen it, stop. The three chattered nonsense, but Will didn't hear clearly. The little girls blinked at Will. Will took a deep breath and said to Hina, you say it. That guy wants to shoot Hina, but Hina has already seen that something is wrong with him. Obviously I saw it, Robin said angrily. Seeing Will looking at herself speechlessly, Hina stuck out her tongue and head. Then we planned to capture him, he is a person with memory fruit ability. The more Will listened, the more surprised he became. Isn't the memory fruit user pudding? But he reacted quickly. It should be this guy who finally GG, the memory fruit is reborn. Coincidentally, he was reborn in Wan Guo and was eaten by pudding. But, Will looked strangely at Galet, who was bundled into a caterpillar. Advertisement such a guy, how did Charlotte Linlin trust him to do such an important thing? Can't even deal with three little girls. Fortunately, when he just came back, there was still some conspiracy on the other side. What about the others? Hina said. Sister Guion and the others went shopping. Bullet went to compete with the Big Mom Pirates. Oh, Mahawk followed too. Will nodded, and squatted down in front of Garrett. Linlin asked you to come? Garrett nodded his head frantically. Facing Will, he was not so afraid. Just now, he was really afraid that the little girl would accidentally pull the trigger. Memory fruit ability? Master Will, you. Shut up, I ask, you answer, don't say unnecessary words. After some inquiries, Will figured it out too. Tisk tisk, it's really getting better and better at playing. Do you want to do things with me? Good. After Garrett finished answering, he was stunned for a moment. When he saw Will's eyes and eyes full of meaning, his heart tightened. Hastily said, Boss Will, you accept me, with my current situation, my mother will definitely not let me go. My ability is still very useful, it's just that his voice is getting lower and lower. Because Will's expression has never changed, even with a joke. The other party seemed to be watching a clown show. And I am that clown, Li Jiao, after a long silence. With a sigh. As expected of a mad dragon, Mom meets an opponent like you, and she doesn't know what will happen in the future. Next moment. Under the gaze of Will and the others, Galet gradually fell silent. Looking at the face that turned purple due to poisoning. Will sighs deeply. Some pity. Originally, he wanted to use the other party's fruit ability to transform Tianyue Shi. I don't think this is actually a diehard. Give him a dead tell. What's wrong with him? The three little girls were curious. Will explained. His original plan was to tamper with your memories. If you don't succeed, then pretend to take refuge in me. That's not. Hina and the others were shocked. I just feel that the world of adults is so scary. But why can Will see it? Will said to Hina, bring us the box we used to hold our presents in. Since Linlin gave me such a big gift, having said that, his face was cold. Looking at Garrett's head, his eyes were strange. I must return the gift, hopefully it surprises her. Chapter 188 This tea party, poisonous, boom, boom, boom. Today's Cake Island is very lively, with countless fireworks blooming in the sky. All the people are dressed in the most decent clothes. Under the guidance of the cadres of the Big Mom Pirates, the powerful entered the venue. Almost all the famous characters of New World are present. Their faces are either excited, moving, or tense. Being invited by 4 Emperors Charlotte Linlin to participate in this tea party, I feel that the pattern has been improved all of a sudden. With the entry of Morgans, Umit, Gibson and others. The atmosphere of the tea party became more and more exciting. However, the tea party still hasn't officially started. Because the owner here has not yet appeared. Charlotte Linlin, of course, is going to be last. But Will did not arrive at the venue for a long time, which made her, the host, feel uncomfortable. The atmosphere of the tea party also gradually slipped from high. People in the know dare not say more. People who didn't know it started to talk about it instead. What happened? I don't know, it seems that someone hasn't arrived. Who has such a big face to make everyone wait for him? Yeah, isn't he afraid of angering the four emperors? Charlotte Linlin's complexion became more and more ugly. Cheers came from the main road in the distance. Let this tea party, which was originally in a downturn, heat up again. Everyone stared in the direction of the gate, waiting for that person to appear. Parasparrow led 143 Will and the others to the venue. His smile was a little stiff. I went to invite Will in advance, but unexpectedly, the other party delayed again and again. He was so anxious, what else could he do besides praying for the other party to leave as soon as possible? It was hard to wait until the other party went out. But slowly. Don't think about it, Mom must be furious. There was just one thing that bothered him very much. He didn't see Garrett. Is something wrong? Amidst the anxiety, he finally brought Will to the gate of the venue. Woo, weapons, you can't bring them in. Will stopped walking, and everyone behind him stopped. Parasparrow, who led the way, also froze. Will glanced at the guard first. Then he looked at Parasparrow with a smile. How about I go? What a joke. Parasparrow wanted to tear the two guards to pieces. Squeeze and show an ugly smile. You are joking, this rule is only for other people. Of course you don't, and hastily added, oh, your companions don't either. Under the watchful eyes of the audience, Will led everyone into the venue. For a moment, everyone's eyes were on them. Advertisement. Many people showed stunned expressions. No wonder it keeps so many people waiting. It turned out to be the Mad Dragon Will, the leader of the four emperors. Only such a person can keep Charlotte Linlin waiting. Is that the four emperors' Mad Dragon Will? So young? The one next to him is Bullet, the descendant of the devil, right? Is that Momosagi Gion? That's Guy, Navigator Hina. Hiss. When they saw Helen's face, they felt their heartbeat stop suddenly and then violently beat, moved, and started again. So beautiful. They have never seen such a beautiful person. So much so that they ignored even Hawkeye. When Will and his group were seated, the bell finally rang after being late for more than an hour. After waiting for more than an hour, Charlotte Linlin can finally play. Welcome everyone from afar, she greeted everyone happily. It's just that anyone with a discerning eye can see it. The gloomy look in Charlotte Linlin's eyes. The atmosphere of the tea party, which was supposed to be very happy and lively, became a little weird. Obviously everyone laughed happily, but he smiled cautiously. Wait for her to return to the main seat and sit down. Someone came up with a photo frame in their arms. Seeing that photo frame, Charlotte Linlin showed a sincere smile. When Will saw the photo frame, a spark of light flashed in his eyes. Sister Carmelite. There are a lot of rumors about her and Charlotte Linlin. Some people say that Carmelite was eaten by Charlotte Linlin, so she has the ability of soul fruit. It is also said that the Carmelites occupied Charlotte Linlin's body, but Charlotte Linlin's soul still exists. Before, Will didn't care about this, because to him, it doesn't matter which one is Charlotte Linlin, but now. A playful look flashed in Will's eyes. Stussy, who was sitting next to him, leaned over and whispered. What, DBBA, bad idea are you playing again? You can see this, come on. Will was a little surprised. Stussy gave him a blank look. When you want to do something bad, your expression will be different. Will laughed. I think a surprise is not enough. Just like the game we played, double the surprise is the surprise. Bah. Of course Stussy understood what Will meant and spat at him. The atmosphere of the tea party is getting higher and higher. It's time for gift giving. Various forces took out their own gifts one after another. There are treasures, exotic beasts, rare specialties. Charlotte Linlin's smile is getting happier. It was as if the unhappiness that Will had caused before had all disappeared. All presented gifts. Alone, advertisement, they all looked in Will's direction. The same goes for Charlotte Linlin. From their point of view, in Will's capacity, the gift prepared is absolutely extraordinary. Will looks around. Seeing that they all looked at themselves expectantly. Can't help but smile lightly, they clapped their hands lightly. The handyman boy, Hawkeye, stepped forward carrying a box. Only then did they notice Hawkeye's identity. It's him. Hawkeye Mahawk. Oh my god, he actually became the subordinate of the Mad Dragon. Everyone was shocked. Hawkeye Mahawk, most people know it. Before One Piece was executed, one of the most famous things was, let the current Marine Admiral Akainu give up kendo. Yes, it turns out that Akainu also knows swordsmanship. It can be seen how strong his kendo talent is, but now, what did they see? This Lone Ranger actually followed the Mad Dragon? How much charm and power does the Mad Dragon have to make him make such a choice? For a moment, everyone looked at Will differently. Hawkeye placed the box in front of Charlotte Linlin. There was no introduction, nor was it opened. After putting it down, he turned around and went back to his seat. A dangerous gleam flashed in Charlotte Linlin's eyes. Will made her look bad one after another today, which made her very upset. Will. She glanced over at Will, and then she was in plain sight. Slowly opened the lid. In an instant, Charlotte Linlin's eyes widened. Boom. When everyone didn't see clearly what was inside. Desperately want to know what the four emperors Quanlong sent. Won't you open it for everyone to see? Gritting his teeth, he said, this is a treasure, I'd better keep it to myself and appreciate it. Clear. Red eyes stared at Will. How to open this box? Inside is the head of Gallet. Charlotte Linlin closed the lid in an instant. Many people began to tremble. Will made a playful voice. What? Linlin? Poisonous? The two bosses seem to be about to start fighting. No matter how stupid everyone is, they still know that something is wrong. Let everyone's hearts feel like being scratched by cat's claws. Let everyone increase their knowledge. Terrible death. Charlotte Linlin took a deep breath, suppressing the anger in her heart. This tea party. Chapter 189. There's a price to be paid for plotting against me. Seeing that the fire, medicine, and smell between Charlotte Linlin and Will were getting stronger and stronger. When everyone present was frightened, Charlotte Linlin's gloomy face was replaced by a smile. Mommy, Will, I really like your gift. Today is a rare good day. Just so, I have something to announce. She looked around and finally at Will. Will, speaking of it, the relationship between our two families is still good. While in Gabby, we teamed up against Whitebeard. We also teamed up at the Morgard Glacier. In that case, why don't we form an alliance? Her words instantly changed the faces of the people present. 4 emperors form an alliance. This is a big deal. There are many smart people present, but the sharpest one belongs to Morgans. In an instant, he thought about how the new world structure would change, and what kind of reaction Marine and the world ZF would have. Will looked into Charlotte Linlin's eyes. The other party also looked at him. For a while, the scene became quiet. Everyone held their breath, waiting for Will's response. At this moment, Will became suspicious. He didn't know from Garrett before that Charlotte Linlin was going to form an alliance with him. So it was her impromptu idea? Or is it an established strategy? What is the opponent's purpose? Countless guesses flashed through his mind. Under everyone's gaze, Will said slowly, okay, it's just an alliance, it's just a signal to the outside world. Just to tell everyone that the two of us have teamed up. If you want to deal with us, weigh it carefully, but for both parties, it is just a matter of one sentence. What should I do normally? What should I do? It's nothing more than that the people under him will be patient when they meet. Something big is going to happen, isn't it about their own interests? But others don't have it as easy as Will thinks. In their opinion, are the Rocks Pirate and Big Mom Pirates going to rule the new world together? Will it clean up other forces? A whole host of issues require them to consider. Mommy. Charlotte Linlin seemed satisfied with Will's answer. Winked at Parasparrow. After a while, 2 very attractively dressed women came slowly. In terms of appearance and color, it really can't compare with these women around Will. But among Charlotte Linlin's daughters, it's pretty good. Of the 2, one is the 3rd woman, Armand of the Snake Clan. One is the 6th daughter Karstad, Cracker's sister, younger sister. Let's talk about what the 2 have in common. That's being loyal enough to Charlotte Linlin. The moment Will saw the 2 of them, he understood what Charlotte Linlin was thinking. Advertisement marriage. Will, this is Armand and Castard. They all admire you. In order to make our alliance stronger and stronger, why not choose one of them and we will marry you? How? Not so good, Will complained in his heart. Although the strength of both of them is not bad. But it is also equivalent to 2-time bombs. It's fine if you have special abilities, and if you use them well, they can play a big role. Linlin, do you want to be my elder? Will's words made Gonlot Linlin, who was expecting, restrain his smile. The other party's words are undoubtedly rejecting. But what Will said next made her hesitate. I think that Bree is good, are you willing? Bree, the mirror fruit ability user, Charlotte Linlin's 8th daughter. The appearance is not flattering, like an old witch. Of course Will would not wrong himself. If the other party is willing to let him go, he can wrong his subordinates. Of course Charlotte Linlin was reluctant, since that time at the Morgard Glacier. She understood the magic of Devil Fruit's ability. Last time, relying on the assistance of Mirror Fruit and Shushu Fruit, they quietly entered the battlefield between Whitebeard Pirates and Marine. This is a strategic ability. I don't want to, then I can pick one from the pirates to join your big mom. How could Charlotte Linlin agree to this proposal? She would rather let Bree get married than let Will's people stay in Wanguo. Linlin, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Do you really have the sincerity to lie with me? How about this? Let's take a step back. I want Bree. In addition, I will take the rubbings of the road signs as a betrothal gift. How about it? Charlotte Linlin's eyes flashed brightly. Will actually took out the rubbings as a dowry gift. According to her information, among the 3 known road signs, one belongs to her, one is now in the hands of Golden Lion, and one is in Will's hands. And the piece in Will's hand, in her opinion, is the most difficult to obtain. It is precisely because of this, she's marrying Will. The purpose is the road sign in Will's hand. Now just give Bree to Will and you'll get it. She began to care about the gains and losses, finally smiled at Will. Okay. Anyway, there is still the book Fruit of Mundal, enough for it. Bu Lei, who was eating dessert beautifully, was a little dazed. She doesn't care much about what's on the court, asking for flowers. But he didn't think that the next moment, the object of marriage would become himself. I look like this, does anyone want it, really? Bree was brought before Will. Charlotte Linlin exhorted. Bray, from today onwards, you are Will's man. Understand, advertisement Bree wants to say no, she doesn't want to leave here, Kotaku. But Mom's orders come above all else. Yes, Mom. Will reaches out, hands. Robin immediately opened his small bag and took out a large folded paper from it. That's the content of Zoe's road sign, which was recorded by Robin on paper. Charlotte Linlin took it from Will and gave him a meaningful look. I didn't expect the other party to carry it with me. After checking, it is indeed true. The eyes that looked at Will were inexplicable. Only then did the people present react. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Meow. Kwanlong doesn't take road signs seriously, does he? To actually give it away just for a brie? Moreover, the alliance between the two four emperors has been decided. The tea party continues. Because of the alliance of the two four emperors, the atmosphere is even more exciting. However, everyone present had different thoughts. In such an atmosphere, boom, a person bumped into a table. Unfortunately, snapped. The slab with the picture of the Carmelites fell and shattered into countless pieces. Lou Field felt sweat on his forehead and his body trembled. Eyes and spirits stared in horror at the stone slabs broken into countless pieces at his feet. My mind is full of questions. How did you hit it? How did it fall? How did it break into pieces like this? Stussy glanced quietly at Will beside him. Her intuition told her that it must be Will's fault. A smile appeared on his face. The shock made people dizzy, and their heads swelled. Do you know who that is? Charlotte Linlin knocked the table off. Charlotte Linlin stared blankly at the broken stone slab. Will sees this. As expected. Calculating yourself as a knife that has to pay the price. And the Big Mom Pirates became terrified. Charlotte Linlin will go crazy if she doesn't wake up soon. Wow. At that time, the whole Cake Island will be destroyed. None. Amidst the call, Charlotte Linlin's conqueror's hockey. Ah. She looks more and more strange. A piercing scream resounded through the audience. It's like losing my mind. Chapter 190. The end of Cake Island. The entire tea party venue fell into extreme chaos. Whether it is the people who came to visit or the people of Cake Island, they all fled frantically. Charlotte Linlin, who has lost her mind, is a mad beast. Still unstoppable. Many people looked at Will, who was still calm and composed. The people of the Rocks Pirates stood by his side. Charlotte Linlin's strange voice mixed with Conqueror's did not affect them in the slightest. It was as if there was an invisible barrier blocking the strange sounds. Will, I hear Charlotte Linlin has a road sign. There was a gleam in Robin's eyes. Will nodded. Well, there is a piece, he. She took Will's hand and started shaking it. I want to go and see, will you? Now that she has come to Wanguo, she doesn't seem to miss it. Moreover, I sent out a copy just now, so I have to get back a copy of 187, so that it will not be a loss. Then go and see, since his little secretary is interested, will not refuse. Said to Bullet. You guys go together. After reading the road signs, go back to the boat and wait for me. Bree on the side was almost scared to pee. Mad Dragon is scary. The little girl under him wanted to see the road signs, so he let her go. This tone is like going to an amusement park. Do you want to tell everyone? However, when she met Will's gaze, she immediately dismissed the idea. Myself, already a Rocks pirate guy, Bullet's departure naturally attracted many people's attention. Especially the Big Mom Pirates. In this chaotic time, they were afraid of what Will would do. Katakuri and the others looked at their mother in confusion, and then at Will. It's different than ever. This time Mom was driven into madness because of the nun. They don't know how to bring her back. The stone slab with the nun on it was so broken that it couldn't be repaired. Will smiled at them gently. Need help? As an ally, I can also issue a calendar. Boom. With his words, Charlotte Linlin has left the tea party venue, entered the town, and started to wreak havoc. Now is not more than 20 years later. There are only a few of Charlotte Linlin's children who have the strength to stop them. If the others go up, they might be killed by Junluo T. Linlin. After hesitating for a while, Parasparrow gritted his teeth and said, Master Will, please do it. He believes the two sides are only just forming an alliance. Will should really want to help. Pity, he still underestimated Will. Clang. Advertisement looking at Charlotte Linlin, who turned into a demolition maniac and demon in the distance. Will pulled out Yan Mo and Tianyu Yu Zan from his waist, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Your dismantling speed is too slow, let me help you. Call out. The voice fell. Will disappeared in place. When it reappears, already over Charlotte Linlin's head. Swish, swish, swish. Yan Mo and Tianyu Yu Zan swung countless knives in an instant, and every time they slashed, it was accompanied by a slash of tens of meters. These slashes formed a net of hundreds of meters, enveloping Charlotte Linlin below. Seeing this scene, Parasparrow and the others widened their eyes. Is this guy, Kwanlong, really helping? I'm afraid you don't want to demolish the Cake Island, do you? Charlotte Linlin below lost her mind though, but her body's instincts and abilities still made her feel that the crisis was coming. Boom. The violent Conqueror's hockey broke out, sweeping the entire Cake Island. Moment. Countless people were stunned by Conquerors. The chopping net also stagnated for a moment and then continued to press down. Charlotte Linlin punches upwards. Boom. A slash hit her fist and exploded instantly. And the rest of the slashes landed around her. Boom boom boom. Countless buildings were shattered under this slashing net. A large cloud of smoke and dust was splashed. The whole Cake Island was like an earthquake, and the house of the factor was collapsing. In this cloud of smoke and dust, Will leans down and dives into it. Then, boom boom boom, there was a constant roar from inside, accompanied by the continuous shaking and shaking of the earth. Parasparrow and Katakuri and the others wanted to rush in and go several times. But whenever they make such a move, there will always be one or two powerful slashes rushing out of the smoke. Let them have to stop and block. Several people looked at each other in blank dismay. Nearly 2 hours. The whole Cake Island seems to be spent in the doomsday. In the prayers of countless people, the movement gradually stopped and the smoke and dust slowly dissipated with the breeze. Only, when they saw the scene of Cake Island, they all fell into silence. At this time, Cake Island was in a mess. Advertisement. No, messy is not the word to describe Cake Island anymore. Because 70% of the buildings in Cake Island have been destroyed. In the center of the battlefield, countless huge cracks spread out like spider webs. This Cake Island. It's over. Call. A gust of wind blew and rolled up a few residual leaves. Parasparrow and the others felt a chill. Autumn is here, can winter be far behind? They looked at the center of Cake Island, where Charlotte Linlin lay quietly. When Mom wakes up, their Tushin will also arrive. Will came slowly. There was a lot of dust on his body, his clothes were a little tattered, and he looked very embarrassed. Come to Parasparrow before them. Everyone, I am lucky to not disgrace my life. Linlin, in a frenzy, is so hard to deal with. If it wasn't for my ability, I really wouldn't be able to stop her. Parasparrow. Katakuri. Revenge. This is definitely revenge. If I had known earlier, killing them wouldn't have made Will's hand. It's good now. Cake Island is gone. Parasparrow forced a smile. Thank you Lord Will for your help. Cake Island still has a lot of troubles to deal with, so I won't leave you alone. Now, he just wants to send away the Mad Dragon, the god of plague. The opponent stayed in Wangguo for one more second. In the future, the Mad Dragon must never be allowed to enter the world. Really, the rest of the people also expressed their opinions angrily. Remember to send me an invitation for the tea party. Seeing Parasparrow's uncomfortable expressions as if they had eaten a fly, Will pondered. Cake Island has lost a lot because of Linlin this time, you should pay attention in the future. Just a little more dangerous. The grumpy Daifuku punched the remnant wall beside him. Will didn't tease them anymore. Then I'm leaving. When Linlin wakes up, remember to tell her for me. Why did Cake Island become like this? You don't have any points in your mind. He did it on purpose. Parasparrow sighed. This is the end, it's too late to say anything. Everyone was speechless for a while, watching the back of Will leaving. Mad Dragon. B******************** D is really insidious, don't let her go crazy again. Where does the Mad Dragon appear in 3.4? There must be no good things. Next time. Chapter 191 Linlin's Secret, Resurrection Ancient Weapon. The Thunder Dragon and the Flower Boat slowly left the 10,000 Kingdoms domain. Captain's interior. Stussy saw Will frowning and thought. He asked softly, what's wrong? Will looked into Stussy's eyes. When I was at Cake Island, I thought about killing Charlotte Linlin. Stussy froze, then lowered his eyebrows. An accident? Will said in a deep voice, Charlotte Linlin is weird. Just when I had the intention to kill her and was about to put it into action, a different aura appeared on her body than before. It's like a different person, more precisely, there is another soul in her body. At this moment, Will probably already guessed what it was. Charlotte Linlin and the Carmelites literally coexisted in that body. The situation encountered now, very close to the second statement. The Carmelites have taken Charlotte Linlin's body. Probably the situation should be like this. Back then, the Carmelite who possessed the soul fruit ability, after knowing Linlin's talent, began to covet Linlin's body. This is also the reason why she would rather take Linlin and the others away from Elbaf Warrior Village. You know, at that time, she was working with Marine. 31 leaving there means that it will be difficult to send fighters to Marine. Carmelites are individuals, dealers, sons, and they don't have enough interests, so how could they make such a choice? After entering Linlin's body, the Carmelites were probably influenced by Linlin, and there was a problem with their soul, so they fell silent for a while. The body is still controlled by Linlin. It wasn't until the Carmelites got used to it that they regained control of their bodies. However, it may be greatly influenced by Linlin, which is why you, Muro, have a sudden change of temperament. That's how Charlotte Linlin is now, if you dare to guess a little more. It can even be considered that the Carmelites absorbed Linlin's soul and memory. But Linlin cannot be completely erased. That's why the scene where Wanokuni Linlin lost his memory appeared in the original book. That's not amnesia. That's the real Linlin. It's just Linlin who has lost his memory, that's why he looks ignorant and doesn't know anything. Listen to Will's narration. Stussy was shocked. In this world, there is such a terrifying devil fruit ability. Then, she became suspicious again. That's not why you stopped, is it? Have you not? Her eyes gradually widened, looking at Will in disbelief. Will squeezed her chin. You really understand me better and better. Don't you think the real Linlin is pitiful? I am such a caring person, how can I let her suffer this kind of treatment? Stussy gave him a blank look. Just open your eyes and talk nonsense. But how do you solve this kind of problem? Will's eyes became distant, as if he saw the future through the long river of time. Of course not now. Wait. Advertisement? Yes, wait for a devil fruit to appear, when Charlotte Linlin woke up again. As far as the eye can see, it is a warm and comfortable room. Why does it smell like glutinous rice? Mom, you're awake. Parasparrow and their expressions were both surprise and horror. Charlotte Linlin shook her head. Immediately, I felt pain all over my body, up and down. Frowning. What's wrong with me? Parasparrow and the others broke down in a cold sweat. Oh, yes, a tea party. Charlotte Linlin came to her senses and got up. Well them? Several people looked at each other. Mom doesn't remember the photo of the nun? Mother, what's wrong? Charlotte Linlin frowned at Parasparrow and the others. Several people hesitated to speak. In the end, Parasparrow said, the mad dragon has gone. The tea party is over, Cake. He didn't go on. Charlotte Linlin's heart skipped a beat. Take a quick walk outside. When she stood at the door and saw the scene outside, her body froze. Who I am? Where am I? This is my Cake Island. Charlotte looked at the ruined Cake Island in front of her. Very confused, Parasparrow stepped forward and roughly told the story of the incident. The more Charlotte Linlin listened, the more ugly her face became. The anger in my heart is like a volcano about to erupt. The violent momentum erupted. Charlotte Linlin raised her head to the sky and roared angrily. Will, I'm not done with you. She crazily vented the anger in her heart. Behind him, the glutinous rice house built with the fruit power of Katakuri was instantly destroyed. After a long time, Charlotte Linlin, who stopped, was panting heavily. With a gloomy face, he said, bring Lou Field up. Soon, Field was brought to her. Trembling, he hastily knelt down. Please forgive me. I really didn't mean to, someone pushed me. Charlotte Linlin's eyes were deep, and she stretched out her palm to Field. Because there is a fear of Charlotte Linlin in my heart. The soul and lifespan were extracted without accident. Advertisement looking at Field, who has lost his breath. Charlotte Linlin's complexion still hasn't improved. His eyes fell on the sea in the distance. It was as if he saw Will on the Thunder Dragon through space. With a low voice. Will, I have written down this account. Way, the first half of the Great Route. A three-masted sailing ship cleaves the waves. No, it should be said that he was running away like crazy. Apart from panic, the people on board were left with nothing but panic. It was as if a terrifying beast was chasing them. However, this is the sea, there can be no beasts. Sea Kings does. But, now chasing after this ship is an existence more terrifying than Sea Kings. Marine Admiral Aokiji, the sea is freezing rapidly. He bit and held on to the three-masted sailing ship. Finally, in the desperate eyes of the people on board, the boat stopped, or rather, the ship is trapped by the frozen sea. Soon, hundreds of Marines stepped on the ice and surrounded the ship. 803. A woman with silver-gray hair comes to the side of the boat. Facing the Marine below, he was both terrified and angrily said, What do you think? What are you going to do? We are scholars, not criminals, let alone pirates. The Marine soldiers were unmoved. Stepping out of the way, Aokiji approached slowly. Looking at the woman above who called herself a scholar. This is the task assigned to him by Marshal Kong. Arrest these scholars who have violated the laws of the world government. In other words, he accepted the unfinished task of his giant friend Saul. Before this, Saul had arrested many such scholars. Kong's order is, arrest, imprison, and send to Ini's lobby. Aokiji said in a concentrated voice, you study the historical text privately, trying to revive the ancient weapon. D. Orovia became even more angry. Why? We did not commit a crime. Aokiji had doubts in his mind. Wave. Orovia struggled angrily. Use the resurrection of the ancient weapon as an excuse. These people really intend to wake up the ancient weapon? You are so pathetic, you come to sanction us without even thinking. You are afraid of the truth. Following his words, Marine soldiers immediately boarded the ship and subdued these scholars. For some reason, it feels heavy. This is slander. Marine soldiers escorted these scholars back to the warship. Aokiji looked at the hysterical Orovia, but still said, sorry, ma'am, you're under arrest. You are only afraid of a past you know nothing about. And it is strictly forbidden to have too much contact with or talk to them. Chapter 192. The Fishman Island is going to sink? In the dark underwater world, countless fish shuttle back and forth. From time to time, a huge Sea Kings will swim by, and the fish will be scattered and fled in shock. The Thunder Dragon passes a Sea Kings. Let the little girls on the boat point at it, showing no fear at all. That Sea Kings may feel that his dignity has been challenged. Immediately angry, it swooped towards the Thunder Dragon, opened its bloody mouth, and was about to bite and bite. Laugh. A beam of orange and yellow light penetrated the coating, and also penetrated the head of the Sea Kings. The huge body stopped, then slowly sank to the bottom of the sea. Will, who was sitting on the beach chair, slowly withdrew his hand. On the table next to him, there were still several gold coins. What was typed out just now was a gold coin. This is already the 5th electromagnetic cannon he has fired. Oroka trotted over. Looking at Will, his eyes are full of little stars. Boss Will, teach me quickly, how did you do it? She picked up a gold coin and tossed it decently when the dark gold coin fell. Call out. She imitated a sound in her mouth, and then flicked it with her fingers. The gold coin was thrown out, but it was a pity that it was not as powerful as Will. It only flew a few meters before falling. Boss Will, teach me quickly, Will said helplessly. I've said it all, this requires you to master the lightning force. Oroja was a little disappointed. When will it be? It's almost time to awaken your fruit ability. Will didn't tell her, for fear of shocking her. Oroka's fruit ability is artificial, so there is no definite name. She made one herself. Dragon fruit, well, the high-end atmosphere is upscale. However, her fruit ability is very different from Will and Kaido's. Its main attribute is fire, which can resist the wind. Can create clouds, similar to auspicious clouds. It can't be compared with Guy Li's cloud fruit. It can turn into rain, which is a bit like the Dragon King's rain in the myth. But when it comes to attack and attack power, there is really nothing. A point arc can also be created. It's really an arc, no bigger than a finger. In general, the ability is quite comprehensive, and the power of these abilities will be reflected and come out as Orochi's strength improves. Advertisement. So, at the beginning, Vegapunk did not hand in this man-made devil fruit, but chose to hide it, because of its special. The upper limit is extremely high and the lower limit is also very low. Will, there is a light ahead, the Fishman Island is coming. Hina at the helm sounded a reminder, at the same time. In front of the Thunder Dragon, a figure quickly approached here. When they came to Thunder Dragon, they realized that it was a Murloc. It was Tiger who returned to the Fishman Island ahead of time. He was full of surprises. Boss Will, you are here. With the Whitebeard Pirates exiting New World, the 4 emperors are left with the 3 emperors. Many people coveted the vacated position. This also led to more and more pirates rushing into New World. The Fishman Island is also getting worse. That's why Tiger asked Will to come to the Fishman Island again. Under the leadership of Tiger, the Thunder Dragon sailed towards the Fishman Island. The outline of the Fishman Island has appeared ahead. On this boat, only Will, Bullet, Oroja and Helen have never seen or been to the Fishman Island. Gion, Guy, Hina, Robin, they have met when they returned to New World last time. Hawkeye has already seen it. As for Tianyueshi and Biule, has been taken by Stussy. Both are in need of a makeover. And Bree's ability is of great help to Stussy. For now, Will has no use for Bree. Enter from the main entrance of the Fishman Island. From a distance, I saw Neptune, Princess Odahime and others waiting at the port. The situation here has also attracted the attention of many people. Especially those human pirates. Everyone knows the flag flying on the Thunder Dragon. All of a sudden, I was excited and moved. The Mad Dragon, the head of the 4 emperors, if they can become his subordinates, then they are considered to be in the top ranks. However, why did the Mad Dragon appear on the Fishman Island? Does it mean something big is going to happen here? After all, it wasn't so long ago. The Rocks Pirate and Big Mom Pirates just announced their alliance. Then the Mad Dragon destroyed the Cake Island in 7s and 80s. Now to the Fishman Island. Hiss, the excitement and agitation of many people disappeared instantly. The body trembled. There was even a look of horror on his face. This the Fishman Island, advertisement. It won't sink, will it? Welcome your excellency 4 emperors to visit the Fishman Island. Neptune came up to meet him, and beside him, Princess Odahime and the ministers of the Fishman Island followed. Speaking of which, before that, Neptune isn't very good with Will's senses. Because when Roger came to the Fishman Island, he and Roger became friends. Many of Roger and the Roger Pirates died in the hands of Will. After Tiger went to New World, after learning that Will is willing to protect the Fishman Island, and promises to help the weight of the Fishman Island. He's only changed about Will, it's just that there are still some grudges in my heart. But he was a king after all. The future of the entire Fishman Island is on our shoulders. It is also impossible for the Fishman Island to suffer for the friendship with Roger. So, he went to Shirley again and made a prophecy. Neptune for a long time, they all have stinky faces. As for the reason, only Shirley, Nip and Princess Othime know. Will, who has a keen sense, also noticed a trace of uneasiness under Neptune's smiling face. There is something strange in my heart, but they still greeted each other. Meet you for the first time, King Neptune. Mr. Will, hello. Compared to Neptune, Princess Othime will be much more enthusiastic. Just looking at Will's eyes is also weird. Will glanced at Tiger beside him. Mr. Will, and Mr. Will's companions, please follow us to Dragon Palace City as our guest. A group of people went to the Dragon Palace Chenghua mightily. It might sink soon. As he spoke, he glared at Neptune. Oh, nothing, Princess Odahime laughed. His eyes were full of satisfaction. However, Princess Odahime, well done, looks Will up and down, nodding from time to time. This the Fishman Island cannot stay any longer. Tiger is also a little puzzled. For a while, many forces became tense. A large number of Murlocs gathered. Will didn't catch it for a while. What? The next moment, many people rushed to the port. Those who had already been coated immediately left the Fishman Island, and those who had not coated also quickly coated. They are not like Murlocs and mermaids, they can survive underwater. Word spread quickly about Will's arrival on the Fishman Island. It's just that the age gap is a bit big, and the Fishman Street on the Fishman Island. Because, the 4 Emperor's Raptors are coming. Chapter 193, Natural Disasters Appear, Disasters. In Dragon Palace City, a banquet is being held. Neptune and Will took the main seats. Princess Odahime is a companion. Gion took Hina and the others to watch the Little Mermaid and sister. Bullet and Hawkeye also couldn't help looking at them curiously. I have to say, these female mermaids are really beautiful. Even Will, who was used to seeing the color, couldn't help but look at it a few more times. Curious in my heart, when these mermaids were 30 years old, how did the tails turn into legs? When the banquet is in full swing, Neptune finally couldn't help asking. Will, can you really let us Murlocs and Merfolk live in the sun? This is the wish of the Fishmen Island for countless years and countless people. They are working on it too. However, the reality is that their situation on the Fishmen Island has never been better. Humans hunted and killed mermaids and Murlocs. Even those who have the ability to protect themselves will be discriminated against when they go to the sea. The World ZF conference held every 4 years, when Neptune went to World Summit. They all feel out of place there. Those kings, the way those people looked at him, made him uncomfortable. Princess Odahime on the side also looked at Will expectantly. She hopes that the Fishmen Island can live in peace with human beings. I hope that the children of the Fishmen Island can also live under the blue sky and sunshine. I hope they can live and play like human children. However, don't know how to do it. Will took a sip of the wine in his glass. Slowly said, this is not difficult, think, if you don't get bullied, as long as you are strong enough. Neptune and Princess Odahime were stunned. Of course they know this, but why bother with it if they can do it? Will laughed. For you, of course it is difficult. For me, letting you live on the sea without any scruples is just a matter of words. As soon as these words came out, Shen Pu and Princess Yi opened their mouths. Looking at Will in shock. Good hockey, so overbearing. No one has ever dared to say such a thing. The situation of the Fishmen Island for countless years, Will actually said that it can be changed with just one sentence from him? Is it possible? Advertisement. The two expressed deep doubts about this. Will looked at the two with a smile. Don't believe me? How could you believe it? No wonder the two would not believe it. Living on the Fishmen Island, they even know about the outside world. But living here for a long time, but DBBA, lacks the knowledge of the real strong. It is also a lack of awareness of Will's energy. How strong is Will now? How powerful is it? Not to mention strength, everyone in the sea knows this. And his power. Rock's pirate is the strongest in New World and has the widest sphere of influence. The flying pirates and the Big Mom pirates are all his allies. In the underground world, the queen of the pleasure district was his. Morgans of World Economic News is his friend, shipping king Umid and warehousing boss Gibson are his partners. It can even be said to be his, and Lufield is dead, and his property has been taken over by Will. It can be said, in New World, his words are heaven. As long as he speaks, even Golden Lion and Charlotte Linlin have to give this face. The resulting impact will spread to the whole sea. At that time, everyone will know that they will attack the mermaids and Murlocs of the Fishmen Island. That's stepping on Will's face. Anyone can step on the face of the 4 emperors? Compared to Neptune, Princess Odahime, who is born with observation hockey, can feel the strong confidence in Will's words. Her ability is to feel other people's thoughts and emotions, and to convey her own consciousness to others. Not only that, but also to influence other people's minds and thoughts, and to resonate. It can even change the other party's values and thoughts, ideas, and consciousness. But, in front of her is Will, 4 emperors of the New World. No matter how courageous she is, she would not dare to use her abilities against Will. See the hesitant looks of the two of them, in their faces. Will pulled out his phone bug and made a call. Moses. Which one? Will chuckled. Morgans, you forgot about my friend so quickly. Ha ha ha, it's Will. Morgans on the opposite side said with a smile. I heard that you ran to the Fishmen Island. Why, want to sink the Fishmen Island? His words made Will's face darken. Advertisement. Neptune and Princess Odahime next to them also changed their expressions instantly. He looked at Will in horror, afraid that he would really do such a thing. Your news is well informed, but, who did you hear that I'm going to sink the Fishmen Island? He swore that if he knew who it was, it would definitely make that person look good. Morgans continued with a laugh. Who should listen to that? Now your new name has been announced, here it comes. A natural disaster, humanoid natural disaster, poof. Ha ha ha, let me laugh for a while. Morgans couldn't hold back when he thought of Will's deeds. Jin in your pirate group is the plague of fire, Quinn is the plague of plague, and you are the natural disaster. Tisk tisk, you Rock's pirates have become a disaster group. Looks like I'll have to give Kaido another title. Will has black lines all over his head. Stop, it's also a good thing Morgans didn't know there was a Jack the Drow in the future. Going on and on like this, it's really like what Morgans said. I have something to look for you. Morgans also restrained his smile. Tell me, as a friend, I will help if I can. Help me make a statement. Statement, easy, Morgans asked. Publish what? The Fishmen Island is under my protection from now on. On this sea, it is no longer allowed to catch mermaids and Murlocs. You must not shoot them without reason. Offenders are the enemies of the entire Rock's pirate. Morgans looked serious. Shen Sheng said, Will, do you know the consequences of doing this? You're going to offend a lot of people, including those nobles, world nobles. Will doesn't mind this. Morgans, do you think I'm afraid of them? Morgans paused, then laughed. Yes. Even the Whitebeard Pirates were defeated by you, and Marine couldn't do anything about you. Who would dare to provoke you for such a trivial matter? Okay, I got it. Declare that I will develop. At the same time, I will also let the people under my command pay attention, and if I find similar things, I will also notify you over there. Will smiled and said, thanks a lot then. After that, he made several phone calls in front of the two of them. Golden Lion, Charlotte Linlin, Umid, even Jean from West Blue confessed. After being reassured, Will put away the phone bug and looked at the two. Are you satisfied? Neptune and Princess Odahime were stunned and speechless. That's it, done? Chapter 194. You have a problem, the situation will rise again. The auction house in the Sabaody archipelago, it's very lively today. Many powerful people have come, and this rather spacious auction house is packed to the brim. With a piece of auction sold, the atmosphere of the auction is getting more and more enthusiastic. But there are still people who seem impatient. Why hasn't it arrived yet? Really, this speed is too slow. Yes, we are not interested in these, skip it. Finally, after a few items. A product covered by a black cloth, brought up, coming. It's finally here, many people's eyes glowed, wow. The black cloth was lifted, and what was inside was revealed, in front of them. Wow. There was an uproar in the auction house, and there were exclamations one after another. What a nice view. Is this a mermaid? I heard that after the age of 30, they can separate their legs. That's not. Hee. On the auction stage, the mermaid in the fish tank trembled and trembled from the gazes of these people. It just feels like they are going to eat themselves alive. Everyone, mermaids from the Fishman Island, top class. The starting price is 5 million Baileys. The starting price is a bit high. But it is still hard to stop the desire of these rich people to buy. This is something rare even for celestial dragons. Soon, the price soared to more than 40 million. The auctioneer's expression was already very excited. This price has far exceeded expectations. The mermaid girl only felt surrounded by endless fear. If she had known, she would have stayed in the Fishman Island obediently, not running out or coming. It's just useless to regret now, in this fiery, hot atmosphere. Several staff members rushed out from behind the auction table. One of them came to the auctioneer's side and whispered, "Come on." The next moment, the auctioneer's face turned pale. Then the cold sweat dripped continuously. The rest of the staff hurriedly lifted the fish tank down. Untie the chains and collars of the little mermaid. In her confusion, he invited her into a comfortable waterbed. And respectfully handed over the dessert. What's going on? What the hell are you doing? Those guests reacted and immediately clamored, "Come on." The auctioneer wiped off the cold sweat from his forehead and hit the auction hammer vigorously. Quiet. After everyone became quieter, the auctioneer apologized. Sorry, this auction house will no longer auction mermaids and murlocs from now on. Advertisement, please forgive me, what did you say? Hole, are you kidding us? Believe it or not, I demolished your auction house. His words immediately angered these people. At this time, the owner of the auction house came from the background. Everyone, listen to me. The Fishman Island is now under the protection of the 4 Emperors' Mad Dragon. And ordered not to sell any more, catch fishers and mermaids. Offenders will be punished by the Rocks Pirate. Wow. Everyone was in an uproar again. Their faces were either shocked, puzzled, or angry. Many people started to curse, but the owner of the auction house can't control so much. Walking up to Miss Mermaid, she smiled and said, "If you have any needs, just ask them." Little Mermaid blinked her eyes, looked at the dessert in her hand, and then at the host. Cautiously said, "Aren't you going to sell me? Don't dare not." The chief's head shook like a rattle. It's all just a misunderstanding. It's our auction house's fault. What about my compatriots? Everything has been arranged properly, absolutely no wrong. Seeing this, the little mermaid finally understood. The reason for all this is what the person in front of him said just now. The Fishman Island, sheltered by the 4 Emperors. There is a protective umbrella over the heads of their mermaids and murlocs. The person who protects them is the crazy dragon who is the head of the 4 Emperors. Little Mermaid's eyes gradually lit up. Dragon, Will. She murmured the name, and she yearned for the legendary man in her heart. Is there anything else you need? Little Mermaid and sister thought about it, and asked cautiously again. Well, I want to go to the amusement park. Arrange for you now. The principal beckoned, and someone immediately came up to make arrangements. It was after another good word that the little mermaid was sent away. Call. He let out a long breath. Their auction house has sold many mermaids and murlocs for a long time. Although the background of the auction house is also very hard. But if they offend Kwanlong for this, the consequences are not something they can afford. After all, their auction house is in Sabaody, but they can't run long. Similar scenes happen all over the sea. Many merfolk and murlocs were inexplicably released. After learning the reason, all thanks to Will, at the same time. A lot of murlocs and mermaids gathered on the Gurlon Cod Square in the Fishman Island. Advertisement in the center of the square. The tall tiger stood there, and beside him stood a blue whale shark man. Asking for flowers. He is Jinbei, he is only in his early 20s. Responding to Tiger's call, he became a member of the 6th team of Rocks Pirate. Tiger looked around at the murlocs present and the mermaids circled around. Loudly said, "Everyone, boss will shelter the Fishman Island, so that we will no longer be bullied. He has done us the Fishman Island a great favor. Now, Boss Will is planning to form a team consisting of murlocs and mermaids. I'm the captain of the team. Which one of you would like to be my team member, Boss Will's crew? Whoever is willing, stand in front of me." As soon as his words fell, many people stood up excitedly. I would too. And Tiger's reputation in Murloc Street is still great, and everyone can trust him. Moreover, becoming a crew member of the 4 Emperors' Mad Dragon is a good thing that many people can't envy. When Tiger was recruiting players, in Dragon Palace City. Will, on the other hand, stared at a little mermaid loli with big eyes. The little mermaid loli looks just as big as Robin. Dressed very strangely. Cover yourself in a robe and hold a crystal ball in your hand. You really have a problem. Shirley stared at Will's face and said firmly. Then tell me, what's my problem? Will is intrigued by Shirley's prophecy. Of course he knew he had a problem. If you are not from this world, that is the biggest problem. However, this little girl can't even predict this, come on? Shirley shook her head. I don't know, but you just have a problem. Why? You broke my prophecy. Speaking of this, Shirley said angrily with a small face. Before this, my predictions were 100% accurate. It's because of you that this record has been broken. Hi, Will was speechless for a moment. He said why Shirley came to him aggressively. It was for this. A little girl is a little girl. Porp. Will took one look at Shirley, then pulled out the phone bug. Walked to the corner of the side. Hina and the others excitedly surrounded Shirley and asked her to help her prophesy. Will glanced over there. What's the matter? The marshal asked me to go to West Blue with Sakazuki and the others. I don't know the exact situation, but it should be something important. Enel's voice came from across the phone. I vaguely heard the 3 words Buster call again. Chapter 195 West Blue Heartthrob Quinn West Blue Faron Island. After nearly half a year of development, it has become the most prosperous island in West Blue. There is the largest port in West Blue, the largest flow of people, and the largest trading center. There is also the largest luxury hotel, the largest weapons processing factory, and the largest black market. And the most famous and largest school in West Blue. And the most popular new professional mercenary. The Mercenary Union, a newly formed organization in West Blue, has received great enthusiasm. Unlike bounty hunters, the Mercenary Union is a brand new comprehensive organization. Anyone can post tasks there, and they all have a unified title employer. To put it bluntly, there are people who need help with something. Employers come to the trade union to describe their difficulties and needs clearly, and then the trade union releases them. If a mercenary has the ability to complete and accept the task, then the employer can wait for the difficulties to be resolved. 410. Because the task involves a wide range. For example, posting item transactions, helping with things, escorting, searching for people and objects, entrusting agents, asking for help, etc. It almost meets the needs of most people. It also provides a means of survival for many. Therefore, the Mercenary Union is like a huge spider web. Almost all the forces and individuals in the entire West Blue have been networked together to form a huge body of interests. And the person who controls this big net, it can be said that the lifeblood of the entire West Blue is in the hands. In the center of Faron Island, this is the headquarters of the Mercenary Union. At this time, many people gathered in the square in front of the Mercenary Union. They were all gathered around a stage, their faces full of excitement. A fat figure walked onto the stage. Immediately, the audience's voice became louder. Lord Quinn, I love you, Quinn, you're the best. There were endless cheers. Quinn stepped onto the stage and raised his hands, shouting, I'm going. Another passionate cheer sounded. The music starts. Quinn begins his performance. It would be too popular if it was thinner. That's why Fan Ku deliberately didn't lose weight. Although it looks round and round, but it's all muscles. Fan Ku who can sing and dance, exciting, advertisement. On the building of the Mercenary Union, Jean looked down at Quinn, who was twisting his fat body to the music. Feeling a little headache. He used to think that Quinn, as a strong player in New World, should have a very high B rating. But the time we spent together came down, he found. Quinn is a joker. Do nothing. He held concerts every now and then, and now he has become a famous singer of West Blue. It has countless fans and is very popular. Now, the whole West Blue only knows the famous singer Quinn. Few people still remember that he is the famous Plague Quinn. Why? Jean let out a long sigh. Cooperating with such a person will save a lot of intrigue. I just feel so tired. Say to those around you. Go. After a while, the man ran to the stage below and turned off the music. On the stage, Quinn, who was singing happily, paused, tilting his head in doubt. I saw someone unplug the stereo. Immediately angry. B*********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** man said helplessly, Boss Quinn, Boss Jin has something to ask for you. Ah, Jean. Quinn rubbed his head, the anger on his face subsided. He smacked his lips unsatisfactorily, waved to the audience below. Everyone, I still have something to do today, let's meet again another day. With the fans' welcome, Quinn entered the Mercenary Union building. When I saw Jean, he was sitting behind his desk with a sullen face. Jin, what's the matter, what's wrong with you? Say it, let me have fun. Quinn picked up the teapot on the table without any notice and drank a few big gulps. I sang so loudly just now that my mouth felt a little dry. Marine's Buster call is coming. Quinn, who was drinking tea, was taken aback, and the tea in his mouth sprayed all over Jean. Jean wiped the tea off his face expressionlessly. Led by Sakazuki Admiral, accompanied by 5 Vice Admirals, 10 large warships, a total of more than 10,000 elite Marines. Quinn trembled and shivered, turned around and walked outside. What are you doing? Jean frowned. Quinn turned his head and blinked. Run away. Jean held his forehead speechlessly. He knew that this guy was just a bully and a bully. Boss Will is calling. As soon as Will was mentioned, Quinn turned back immediately. Advertisement. His face was firm, and he looked deathly at home. Tell me, if Boss Will has any orders, I will make sure to do it well. Jean organized the wording before he opened his mouth and said, Boss Will said that the Marine's target this time should be Ohara. Quinn was stunned for a moment, and blinked. It's not us? Call. He let out a long sigh of relief, patted his chest, mouth. It's fine if it's not us. Jean saw black lines all over his head. Ohara has something to do with Boss Will, so they let us deal with it. Quinn asked strangely. Process? Then startled. Boss will let us deal with Sakazuki? And that Buster Call fleet? He gasped and pointed at Jean in disbelief. Tremblingly, he said, it's not that you secretly told Boss Will what I did in West Blue, he wants to find an excuse to kill me, right? Jin, you are so ruthless, I treat you as a brother in vain. Jean was throbbing with veins in his forehead. He wished he could slap Quinn to death with one palm. Shut up, it was not easy to ease the excitement. Jean said. Boss Will said, since Marine wants to launch Buster Call, let them do it. Quinn asked suspiciously. Didn't you say that Ohara has something to do with Boss Will? Jean laughed and said, so, boss, let us transfer all the scholars and books on Ohara. As for Marine, they thought, if they want to fry Ohara, let them do it. Quinn finally breathed a sigh of relief when he heard that. You don't have to be tough with Marine, where does it go? Jean said, of course it's New World. C-3.7 shipping King Umit's cargo ship is already on its way, we just need to send people over to help carry things. Then what are you waiting for? Quinn immediately stood up and came. This kind of thing is simply not difficult. Jean looked at Quinn seriously. This matter is up to you, don't make any mistakes. Aren't you going? Jean shook his head, grinning sinisterly. Boss Will said, Marine likes jumping so much, let them not be able to jump, come on. In the future, for the entire West Blue, the supply of those marine-based materials will be halved, and the price will triple. At the same time, let the entire Marine of West Blue move, get up. Hiss. The more Quinn listened, the more frightened she became. Because of their relationship, the law and order in West Blue can be said to be better than East Blue. West Blue's Marine is also the most comfortable. But if you do something like this, these Marines will definitely be played until they vomit blood. 8 Co Chapter 196 The Mad Dragon is coming, Kuzan Admiral. Above the Eni's lobby, several warships docked in the port. CP-9 Spandane is handing over to Aokiji. And the handover, of course, is those scholars who were arrested by Aokiji. Kuzan Admiral is amazing, he arrested so many scholars in one shot. Spandane smiled flatteringly. Back then, the giant Saul had to spend a lot of effort every time to hunt them down. Hearing Spandane mention his good friend Saul, Aokiji's expression changed. Looking at the scholars who were escorted off the boat. After hesitating for a while, he still asked, what are they going to do? Same as pirates, after being convicted, send them to Impel down? He's only just taken over the business. What will happen next for these scholars is not very clear. This. Aokiji's sudden question made Spandane hesitate to answer. However, thinking of being able to build a good relationship with an admiral will still be of great help to his career. I looked around and found that no one paid attention to this side. Leaning close to Aokiji's ear, he whispered, don't hide it from Admiral. You also know that the 31st World ZF prohibits the study of historical texts. So what they committed was a mortal sin, the unforgivable kind. Aokiji frowned. Unforgivable? Speaking of unforgivable, there are too many pirates who have committed the most heinous crimes. Hasn't the World ZF executed them and imprisoned them in the eternal hell in Impel Down? He just couldn't understand it. These scholars who haven't even killed anyone, haven't really revived ancient weapon either. So, it's an attempted crime, right? Why is it unforgivable? Spandane doesn't know what Aokiji is thinking. He continued, that's right. After being tried, judged, and sentenced, they will be executed. Aokiji frowned even more when he heard this. It is not difficult to hear from Spandane's words that these scholars have been sentenced to death in advance. See Aokiji frowning. Spandane also probably guessed what he was thinking. Whispered. Admiral, this is an order directly from the 5 elders above. We don't need to worry about whether they are really guilty. As long as things are done well, you can give an explanation to the above. You're right, advertisement Aokiji is not the first day as Marine. Of course it is clear that some things, especially the world, are not explained. They Marine has no right to refuse, just get it done. However, looking at the scholars one by one, for some reason, I always felt an uncomfortable feeling in my heart. It was as if she was like what the woman said before. Whispering. Don't you even have your own thoughts? Admiral, what are you talking about? Spandane didn't hear clearly for a while. At this time, the scholars had all been escorted off the warship. In this way, the handover work is completed. Spanda came before these scholars with a confession. Looking at these scholars with a condescending attitude. You bastards who have nothing to do, what are you doing? You have to touch the taboos and taboos of the world's ZF. Conspiring to revive the ancient weapon, attempting to subvert the world's ZF. Didn't the ZF of the world give you enough to eat? Spandane reprimanded the scholars loudly. He likes doing things like this because it gives him satisfaction. Especially when looking down on others with a superior attitude. Orovia glared at Spandane angrily. Even if you arrest us, this cause will not be suspended. Later, people will follow in our footsteps and embark on a journey of seeking true knowledge. Sooner or later the truth of history will be made public. At that time, the past that the world's ZF tried its best to hide will be despised. Spandane's face changed, and he shouted sharply, "Shut up. All of this is your self-righteous idea. It's just an excuse for you to try to revive the ancient weapon. HMPH, do you think there are people who will follow in your footsteps? Alright, today I will let you die." A sinister smile appeared on Spandane's face. "I just received an order from the 5 elders. After finishing your business, go to West Blue Ohara. Marine has already set off with the fleet led by Sakazuki Admiral. At that time, if I find out that those people are studying the text of history in private." Hey. The faces of Orovia and the others changed drastically, and some scholars had already begun to curse. Spanda Yin said with a dark smile, "Curse it, just scold it. This is the fate of going against the world's ZF. After the trial, the chief judge pronounces the sentence, it will be your death day. No one will save you. Report." Advertisement. Just as Spandane defeated the psychological defenses of these scholars step by step, enjoying the pleasure. When you are in a good mood. An agent hurried up to him. "What's the matter?" Spandane was a little annoyed at being interrupted. The gate of justice suddenly lost contact? Lost contact? Spandane frowned. Since he entered CP9, he has been stationed in Eni's lobby all year round. But never heard of such a thing. Aokiji not far away seemed to sense something, and suddenly turned to look in the direction of the gate of justice. There is a ship coming this way. The dazzling sunlight made it impossible for them to see the appearance of the ship for a while. Someone pulled out the binoculars. It's okay not to look at it. When he saw it, his face turned pale instantly, and cold sweat broke out in a flash. Seeing this, Aokiji took a telescope to look. When you see clearly the silver-white Thunder Dragon 850 shining in the sun. His complexion changed drastically. Mad Dragon. What? Spandane just came over and couldn't hear Aokiji's words clearly. Aokiji put down the binoculars and looked over there solemnly. Said in a deep voice, 4 Emperor's Mad Dragon, here we come. Spandane was startled for a moment. After reacting, his face became terrified and he said, Mad Dragon? Why did the Mad Dragon come here? Now in this sea, who doesn't know that the Mad Dragon is a natural disaster in human form? Wherever you go, accidents happen. Ruined, Eni's lobby isn't going to sink, is it? Now is not the time to worry about why the other party is here. Aokiji said seriously. Sound the alarm and tell everyone to get ready. He took out another phone bug and dialed, Marshal Kong. Kuzan, what happened? Kong heard the seriousness in Aokiji's tone and couldn't help feeling tense. Aokiji looked at the Thunder Dragon that was getting closer and said with a wry smile, the crazy dragon is here for justice. What? Kong was taken aback by Aokiji's words. Isn't he on the Fishman Island? Why did he go to Eni's lobby? Aokiji sighed. Marshal, now is not the time to worry about this issue, let's send someone over quickly. It's not that he has the ambition of others, but that he really can't face the Mad Dragon alone. Okay, you hold him back first, and I'll take him there right away. Chapter 197. Don't be afraid of opponents like gods, but teammates like pigs. Aokiji hung up the phone with a heavy heart. Let yourself drag the Mad Dragon, isn't this embarrassing? Now Eni's lobby has a lot of people, but there are not many who can play. And what about the other side? Just being Quanlong alone is enough for them to have a headache. What's more, Bullet, Gion and others are here, oh, yes, and a Hawkeye. It is said that the opponent is about to become a great swordsman. Admiral, what shall we do? Spandane's voice was trembling because of being overly nervous. The shadow of the tree, the guest of man, although he has never seen or experienced a Mad Dragon, he only relies on those achievements. He also knew that if the other party really came for Eni's lobby. Eni's lobby is not sinking today, I am sorry for the title of natural disaster. Aokiji has a headache, ask him what to do. According to the order, just delay. Of course he knew what Kong was planning. The Mad Dragon finally appeared in the first half, and the manpower is not too many, it is a good opportunity to win the opponent. For this reason, even if you pay some price, it is acceptable. It's just, if it really wants to be like this, how many of those present survive today? And, can they really keep the Mad Dragon? Thinking of the opponent's previous calculations, Aokiji expressed that he had no idea. In their worried eyes, the Thunder Dragon stopped not far from them. Aokiji steps forward, looking at Will at the opposite bow and Bullet, Gion and others behind him. Mad Dragon, what are you doing at Eni's lobby? He did not choose to go to war immediately. That would just make the fight end faster, so it wouldn't last until Kong and the others arrived. Mother, before Will could speak, Robin shouted loudly behind him. She found the figure of Orovia in the skirt of the people on the other side of the port. Different from the original. There are photos of her, Orovia, Lucy and Bullet at home. Of course I won't forget my mother's appearance. Looking at the figure opposite that day and night, Robin couldn't stop crying. I finally saw my mother again, Robin. Orovia trembled when she heard Robin calling. When she followed the prestige, she saw the Thunder Dragon. The little Luo Guan was looking at this side. Tears immediately soaked the eye sockets. Finally, meet Robin again. The next moment, she immediately woke up again, her face full of fear. Shouted in horror. Robin, get out of here! Advertisement. Go. It's dangerous here, Robin cried. Mom, I'm not leaving, I'm here to save you. Seeing this scene, Aokiji couldn't help frowning. Given the current situation, One doesn't need to think about it to know that the purpose of the Mad Dragon is these scholars. More precisely, this woman named Orovia. It's just that the redness in my heart is even more intense. Mad Dragon has something to do with scholars. Orovia is still trying to persuade Robin to leave, but she knows that Aokiji Admiral is amazing. Robin sobbed as he pulled Will closer. There is a strong sense of confidence and pride on his face. Mom, my captain is very powerful, he will definitely save you. Orovia froze, because she only noticed the appearance of the people around Robin at this time. And the flag flying on that ship. His eyes gradually widened, and he dared not say anything. Bullet. Then he is. Crazy Dragon rocks D. Will, wandering in the sea. Although he is dedicated to pursuing the whereabouts of the historical text, he will also pay attention to the movements in the sea. It is also known that Bullet became the second in command of the Rocks Pirate. It can also be vaguely guessed that Rocks D. Will is the Will that Lucy mentioned. She was taken aback by it at the time. However, she never expected that Robin also became a member of Rocks Pirate. Robin wiped away his tears and said happily, "That's right. Will can definitely save Mom and everyone." Looking at the lineup on the opposite side, Orovia swallowed. Of course she wouldn't doubt it. Will smiled at Aokiji. "Can you let my friend go?" "I don't want to do it if I can. Of course I don't want to do it either." Aokiji thought silently in his heart. But the positions of the two parties are destined to have no possibility of compromise before. At least until one side is defeated. Sorry, they are trying to revive the ancient weapon and subvert the rule of the ZF in the world, so it's hard to obey. Ha ha ha, Will couldn't hold back all of a sudden, pointing at Aokiji and laughing. Aokiji on the opposite side was speechless for a while. It was hard to stop laughing. Will looked at him amusedly. "It's not that I'm talking about you, after all, you become an admiral, and your brain is not working. I'm pretty sure you're calling me stupid." Will laughed and said, "You don't really think that with these rookie scholars, you can get your hands on ancient weapon, do you? If it could be done, they would have done it long ago, and they wouldn't wait until today. Orovia, even if you defend us, you don't need to say that we are rookies, right?" Advertisement look at Aokiji, who was silent. A smirk crept across Will's face. "Aokiji, if you are not afraid, I can tell you what is recorded in the historical text." "How about it? Do you want to listen?" Aokiji's heart moved. "What is the content of the historical text of Kwanglongdao?" "Admiral," Spandane shouted in horror, "these things are beyond their reach. If the five elders knew, Aokiji might be fine, but they would definitely be silenced." Aokiji suppressed his curiosity. He pondered, "How do you know those things?" Will narrowed his eyes slightly and stared at Aokiji's face for a moment. Then he chuckled lightly. "Why, do you want to procrastinate? How long will it take for Kong and the others to arrive?" Aokiji's heart skipped a beat, and he secretly cried out that it's not good. This crazy dragon must be too vigilant, playing these in front of me. Do you look down on me? Aokiji couldn't help showing a wry smile. How dare he look down on Will? Since this is the case, then there is only hard resistance. When he was thinking like this in his heart, "Mad Dragon, don't move." Everyone looked in the direction of the voice. Beside Orovia, Spandine held a gun to her forehead. He sternly said, "Mad Dragon, if you dare to move, I will kill him." Seeing this, Aokiji couldn't help raising his head and sighing. Don't be afraid of godlike, Li's Zhao, opponents, but be afraid of pig-like teammates. If such a threat is useful to Kwanlong, why should he bother? Will looked at Spandine. Where Conqueror's hockey passed, those people fell to the ground like dominoes. Boom. UB asterisk 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 D. Don't scare me, you'll really shoot. A domineering aura started from him and swept away directly. Frightened, Spandane flew backwards, spraying out a mouthful of blood in midair. Boom. However, the next moment, Aokiji's expression changed. Will takes a step forward. Open your mouth softly. Bang. Eyes flicked to the Marine and Eni's lobby personnel ahead. Not good, said softly. There are too many miscellaneous fish. Orovia, who was pointed at by her with a gun, also stared wide-eyed. Puff. A strong impact hit him like a heavy hammer. Falling with his words, Spando was so frightened that his hands trembled that he almost pulled the trigger. Chapter 198 I want to give birth to a little mermaid for you. The mountain-like conquerors hit Aokiji's mind, make him unable to make unnecessary movements at all. He could only watch helplessly as the people around him fell down one by one. This guy, the Mad Dragon, has become stronger and stronger. There was a huge wave in his heart. How long has it been since the last big battle, and Will gave him an even more terrifying feeling. After 10 interest, Will converge on Conqueror's hockey. As for the Eni's lobby, there were very few people still standing. Except for Aokiji, there are only a few marine generals who are barely standing. Conqueror's hockey is indeed a magic skill for cleaning miscellaneous fish. But, casting Conqueror's hockey is not without cost. Every time it is used, the energy of the user will be lost. Clang. A soft chant sounded, and Yan Mo slowly got out of the sheath. On the opposite side, Aokiji suddenly raised his hands, took 2 steps back, and stood beside the scholars. Cut off. Will was stunned for a moment, and Yan Mo, who was half out of her sheath, also paused. Looking across at Aokiji, who made a gesture of surrender. With a strange expression on his face, he said, "A truce?" If he remembers correctly, Aokiji in this period was greatly influenced by Garp. Still a pretty hot-blooded marine, after the Ohara Buster Call incident. The hot blood gradually cooled down. Now, 797 just releases Conqueror's Haki himself. Can he lose his resistance? Will doubts it. If this is the case, the other party will not become admiral. Aokiji nodded. That's right, armistice, people you can take away. Will narrowed his eyes slightly. Marine actually compromised with the pirates? Did I hear wrong? Aokiji fell silent after hearing that. Of course he wouldn't do it if he could. The justice in his heart would not allow him to compromise with a pirate. However, what happened in the past 2 days made him feel confused. Are these scholars really damned? And if there is a war? He is not afraid of death. If his death can keep the mad dragon here, he is willing to make sacrifices. But, he sees no hope. There are also these subordinates of myself, as well as the entire Enies lobby. How many are still alive today? Either you take people away, or... A chill spread from his feet, and the scholars stunned by the Conqueror's Haki were frosted. Maybe I'll execute these criminals first, and then go to war with you. When Aokiji said this, his expression was hesitant. It can be seen that his heart is struggling. Advertisement. After all, he is still not used to this kind of thing. The justice in his heart does not allow him to do this. If it was a Kainu, it is estimated that there would be no psychological burden. Even with the lives of all Marines and Enies lobby personnel here, I will do my best to keep Will. Will? Robin tugged at Will's arm. Clang, Yanmo slowly retracted into the sheath. Aokiji on the opposite side breathed a sigh of relief, and the coldness slowly dissipated. Will chuckled. You are interesting, to be honest, he kind of admires Aokiji like this. Aokiji made such a choice, which violated the justice and persistence in his heart, and compromised with a pirate. But it also saved many lives, if the opponent insists on going to war with himself. He will not be merciful. It is estimated that not many of these people can survive today. Despair. He snapped his fingers lightly. The scholars on the ground were drawn by the invisible force field and landed on the deck of the Thunder Dragon. Robin immediately trotted over to check on Orovia. Will looked at Aokiji now. Forget it this time. Next time, don't try to threaten me. That kind of price is not something you can afford. Sensing the faint killing intent in Will's tone, Pheasant's heart sank. After taking a deep look at Aokiji, Will waved. The Thunder Dragon slowly turned around and moved away from Enies lobby. Call. Aokiji let out a long breath, not only him, but also the other generals. Their backs were soaked with sweat. Facing Will, they just seemed to be hovering on the verge of death. Crazy Dragon Will, it's really scary. Let no one have the slightest thought of rebellion. Aokiji took out the phone bug from his pocket and dialed Kong's number again. Marshal Kong. Aokiji, how is your side? Kong asked anxiously. Aokiji took a look around. It was full of fainted people, DBBE. Can't help but smiled wryly. Sorry, Marshal, Mad Dragon has left Enies lobby. He briefly talked about what happened. Kong was silent for a moment and also let out a long sigh. I don't blame you, it's because the Mad Dragon is too strong. Come back. Aboard the Thunder Dragon. Orovia and Robin, who had been awakened, met, hugged and cried, and exchanged heart and soul. Other scholars were also awakened and expressed their gratitude to Will. Will just waved his hand. These scholars are not cold. However, there is one thing that Will cannot deny. That is the learning of these scholars, advertisement. It can be said that they are a mobile treasure house of knowledge. He has already figured out how to arrange these people. In addition to those scholars of Ohara, they were all thrown into the school as teachers. Do you want to study historical texts? Let's teach him the results first. Tisk tisk, in this way, it is estimated that the whole sea is not as luxurious as Will. Let so many scholars be teachers, maybe in the near future. Will the Rocks Pirate be the faction with the highest culture level? Robin led Orovia to Will. Thank you, Will. Will rubbed her little head. Between us, you're welcome. He looked at Orovia and opened his mouth, but found that he didn't know what to call it. Speaking of it, the other party is just bigger than himself. But it is Lucy's friend. Lucy is Robin's mother-in-law. Logically speaking, the other party should be regarded as his elder. Orovia said gratefully. Will, thank you this time. If you were grateful, there is no need to say more. Will said. Be more concerned about Robin in the future. Thinking of Orovia's choice in the original book, Will sighed inwardly. This is a great, big woman, but not a qualified mother. It's just the opposite of Lu Ju. The Thunder Dragon did not stay long in the first half. After coating the Sabaody archipelago, head back to the Fishman Island. Wow, Mad Dragon, I love you, Master Will, I want to give birth to a little mermaid for you. As soon as they entered the port, there were warm cheers. Looking around, there are densely packed murlocs and mermaids. Everyone was chanting Will's name. What's wrong with them? Neptune and the others greeted them. Will, welcome back. At this moment, Neptune, looking at Will, no longer had the expression of meeting him for the first time. Princess Odahime was even more satisfied when she saw Will's eyes and expression. What's wrong with them? Neptune explained. Many of them were arrested, but because of your statement, they were released. Now, when they hear the news of your return, they all come here, thinking, wanting to meet you. And say thank you. Now, you are the patron saint of everyone on the Fishman Island. Speaking of this, Neptune was a little envious. He tried his best to manage the Fishman Island, but there was no such treatment. Only then did Will and the others understand. However, looking at the fiery eyes and expressions of those murlocs and mermaids, Will also felt a little overwhelmed. I stayed in the Fishman Island for a few days, and every day I was stared at by some mermaid girls and sisters with hot eyes and gods. Also have a little mermaid with Will. Will quickly drove the Thunder Dragon away from the Fishman Island and returned to New World. There is also a small tale. Chapter 199 Marines and dogs are not allowed. Suddenly, a rumor spread throughout West Blue. Marine is about to launch a buster call against West Blue. Let West Blue, which had been peaceful for several months, become turbulent again. Especially when the Marine fleet led by Sakazuki enters into West Blue. This rumor has also changed. It is no longer a rumor. The eyes and expressions of all the people looking at Marine became different. Because they don't know where Marine is going to launch a buster call to West Blue. What if it's their own island? And before Sakazuki they arrived. West Blue Marine Admiral Rodney almost gets played, broken. Prices in all regions tripled in one go. Let him not be mentally prepared at all. The cost of the entire West Blue Marine exceeded the budget, but there is nothing you can do about it. If the explanation is not clear, the headquarters probably thought he was corrupt, embezzling public affairs and money. Rodney knew someone was targeting Marine. In West Blue, only the kings of the underground world, the Capone family, have this energy. Just when he was going to negotiate with the other party. Requests for help are coming from many islands. Claims the presence of extremely vicious pirates. He had no choice but to put aside this matter temporarily and lead troops to support. Then, after a few days, he never closed his eyes. After that, as the rumors spread, the Marine are becoming less and less popular among the public. Those native Marine soldiers also began to have opinions. In this strange atmosphere, Sakazuki arrives in Ohara with the Buster Call fleet. Only, at this time, Ohara was already devoid of human habitation. The Tree of Omniscience is also empty inside. What scholars, what historical text tells, all gone. ****. Akainu cursed angrily. What do those intelligence officers do and what do they eat? Why is there no news about such a big thing? Amidst his diatribes, Rodney also led the men to Ohara. Sakazuki Admiral, why did you make a buster call to Ohara? His tone was very bad, and he didn't show any respect at all because of his status as a dog. He, the Admiral of West Blue, was not informed of the actions of the headquarters. But he has to bear the consequences. Are you teaching me how to do things? Akainu was also on fire at this time, staring at Rodney coldly. Rodney choked. Then he sneered and said, how dare I point fingers at you? However, now the whole West Blue has spread the news that Marine launched the buster call. The public's attitude towards Marine has taken a sharp turn for the worse. They no longer trust Marine. Do you know what that means? Akainu snorted coldly. This is the West Blue you manage? If you can't even suppress this matter, go. I don't think you, the Admiral, will do it anymore. At this time, the two of them are fire and medicine kegs, which will explode at one point. Not pointing at the other person's face and swearing, it's considered self-restraint. Advertisement in the end, Rodney walked away full of anger. He still has to go to the Capone family and Gen to negotiate, but he has no time to argue with Akainu here. Admiral, what should we do? Ting Mouse stepped forward and asked. Akainu waved his hand impatiently. Go to the nearby base to resupply, and wait for the next instruction. Of course, this matter cannot be easily settled. Marine and World ZF intelligence personnel will start a big manhunt to find the whereabouts of the Ohara scholar. Only, when they came to the nearby Marine base to resupply. But it was rejected. The soldiers of these bases looked at them very unfriendly. Akainu's anger that had just subsided rose again. Are you trying to disobey the military order? There was already magma dripping from his body. As long as these soldiers dared to say, no, he will never show mercy. This is the biggest difference between him and Aokiji. Faced with Akainu's oppression, the base chief only felt chills in his heart. The viciousness of this admiral was beyond his imagination. Gritting his teeth, the voice was almost squeezed out of his throat. Open the warehouse. But sir, open, the base chief yelled. The warehouse door was still open. It's just that when Akainu and the others saw the supplies inside, they couldn't help frowning. Why so few? There are still some supplies inside, but for his fleet, it is just a drop in the bucket. The base chief sneered. Why? If you want to know why, go to the town and see for yourself. Akainu looked at the supplies in the warehouse again, and did not ask anyone to move them, and led them out of the Marine base, to the town. Here comes the Marine. With a loud shout, many people left one after another, and the town, which was still very lively, suddenly became deserted. The ones left are all those who were bold, but looking at Akainu and the others, they were not very friendly. There is a sign in front of almost all shops and taverns. Marines and dogs are not allowed. Boom! Akainu couldn't hold back his anger any longer, and a violent momentum erupted. Admiral, Flying Squirrel and others tried to dissuade them. They are Marines, no matter how these people are, as long as they haven't committed a crime, they can't do anything. Akainu took a deep breath and glanced around. A face was so gloomy that it seemed to drip water. Go to another island. The fleet went out to sea again, heading for the next island. But the situation didn't get much better. All the people and vendors on the island refused to sell things to them. Without any choice, the generals can only lead the soldiers to hunt by themselves. However, this is not a long-term solution after all. How can it be so easy to solve the food of more than 10,000 Marine elites? Asking for flowers. advertisement, and when sailing on the sea, food alone is not enough. At the same time, Rodney took people to Farron Island and met Jean. He looked complicated. Jean, a smug look appeared on Jean's face. Of course he should be proud, this former opponent is no longer in his eyes. See you again, Rodney, this is not the first time the two have met. Before Jean became the speaker of West Blue's underground world, Rodney once launched a siege and suppression campaign against the Capone family, but regrettably failed. Now, Jean is no longer the former Jean. The current him, with just one sentence, makes Rodney, the Admiral of West Blue, unable to move even an inch. Sit down. Rodney didn't sit down, and said with a serious face, Jean, what do you want, do you know that this will stir up conflicts between the entire West Blue Marine and the public? Jean slowly lit a cigar and took a deep breath. 0. Then he looked at Rodney with a sneer on his face. Rodney, don't give yourself too much face. If it was before, the people of West Blue might rely on you, Marine. But now, as long as I don't speak up, who would dare to make trouble? And if I speak, who would dare to disobey? Rodney's complexion changed. He could feel that Jean was really different. This guy has become a real hero. Cover the sky with one hand. The word popped into his mind. After thinking about it, he said in a deep voice, what do you want to withdraw those instructions? Jean stared into Rodney's eyes for a few seconds. Then he chuckled and clapped his hands. Someone came in with a box and a box. After putting it on the table, he went out again. Jean stood up and opened one of the boxes. Rodney narrowed his eyes slightly when he saw what was inside. Jean, what do you mean? What's inside is nothing but Bailey. A box of Baileys. Jean patted the box. Rodney, this is 500 million Baileys. A cold light flashed in Rodney's eyes. You want to buy me? Jean laughed and said, it's ugly to talk about buying. It's just a little gift. A gift? Rodney sneered. This gift is not light. Jean shook his head lightly. To me, it's no different from waste paper. After seeing the wider world, people's vision will be different. Then he opened the second box. Rodney looked, his pupils shrinking. Looking at the surprised expression on the other party's face, Jean smiled and said, Mamao fruit, ancient species, catphobic form. This is the secret treasure of the sea that countless people want and want. Rodney's eyes glowed hotly. The throat rolls, moves, and loses unconsciously. Chapter 200 A different artificial devil fruit. Rodney tried not to look at the devil fruit and 500 million Baileys on the table. He was afraid that if he took another look, he would be unable to resist the temptation. The voice was slightly hoarse. Jin, you should give up your heart. I won't join forces with you, Jean exclaimed, as expected of Rodney. If you just agree, I will still look down on you. He clapped his hands again. The door opened again. A man wearing a hood is ushered in. Jean said, Rodney, I have done a lot of research on you. What do you want to say? Rodney felt a little uncomfortable. 3 years ago, when you were out on a mission, your wife and child died tragically at home. Am I right? Rodney's complexion changed, and then a sharp light appeared in his eyes. That was the pain in his heart. Jen pointed at the man whose face was covered by a hood. Perhaps you should open it. At this time of July 20th, Rodney was not clear about what Jean wanted to express. The body trembled and trembled slightly, reached to remove the hood. When he saw the man's face clearly, he couldn't help but froze. Rand? Panic and fear flashed in the eyes of the man named Rand. Rodney, save me, they're going to kill me. Rodney frowned and turned to look at Jean. Rand, an officer sent down from Naval Headquarters, can be said to have come to Guild. Jean sneered. Rodney, I really don't know how to say hello. The person who killed his wife and children is around, but you don't realize it. Impossible. Rodney said coldly. Yes, Rodney, he's slandering me. Rand also hurriedly agreed. Jean sneered. I'm afraid you don't know. What kind of person is this subordinate of yours? As he spoke, he turned around and picked up a notepad from the table, throwing it to Rodney. Rodney caught it and opened it suspiciously. When he saw the contents inside, his expression was astonished. Then scrolled down quickly. Rand on the side was drenched in cold sweat. Because the notebook that Rodney is flipping through now is the diary he locked in the safe. He was jealous of Rodney's talent, jealous of Rodney's beautiful wife, and of course he was full of lust and desire for that woman. Rand. Rodney raised his eyes again, which were blood red now. He was like a beast about to run amok. Why? Why did you do that? Plop. Seeing Rodney's murderous eyes, Rand suddenly became paralyzed and softened. Advertisement, Rodney, excuse me, I didn't mean to. I really didn't want to kill them. Boom. Rodney kicked him to the ground, and then began to vent the tyranny in his heart. What he wanted was not an explanation, just a vent. After an unknown amount of time, Rodney panted heavily. And Rand was already out of breath. After he calmed down, he took a deep look at Rand's body and ignored it. Thank you. Rodney looked complicated. Jean shook his head and said, it's not me you want to thank. Rodney frowned. Not you? Jean smiled and said, yes, the person you should thank is Boss Will. He? Rodney's heart skipped a beat. It has long been rumored that Jean has a cooperation with New World's 4 emperors Quanlong, and Cheng Qin is in West Blue. That's right, Boss Will ordered me to investigate. Order? Rodney finally caught the meaning of Jean's words. Shocked. Are you a mad dragon? In this case, the mad dragon is too scary, right? Without making a sound, he controlled the entire West Blue in his hands. He looked at Bailey and devil fruit on the table. Then he asked you to do these. Jean nodded, picked up the devil fruit, and handed it to Rodney. How about it? Are you willing to accept this gift now? Looking at the devil fruit in front of him, Rodney was full of thoughts. Finally, with a sigh, pick up this devil fruit and bite it down. Jean frowned. In this way, there are really only 10 voices in the entire West Blue. Here is Boss Will's back garden, inside Punk Hazard's experimental base. Will, who just came back, rushed over here, because now Vegapunk is making faux devil fruit. He is full of curiosity about the formation of man-made devil fruit. At this time Vegapunk is debugging sad raw materials. His assistant, formerly Guy Caesar, Wanokuna's own middle finger sad raw material is not ripe yet. The raw materials used now are procured from outside. Currently only enough to make 2. The manufacturing process is very complicated. All he saw was Vegapunk putting the sad ingredients into one of the entrances of the large machine. Advertisement. Then the rows of numbers on the machine began to jump and move. Researchers are getting busy. Under the command of Vegapunk, continuously adjust the values. Will, a layman, can't understand it at all. After more than 2 hours, the buzzing sound of the machine and the jumping and moving numbers froze instantly. Then Will saw these researchers heave a long sigh of relief. Will asked, so, did it work? That's right, Boss Will. Guy leaned over as if asking for credit. Under the supervision and guidance of this genius, this man-made devil fruit was successfully produced. Will's face darkened, and he wasn't blind. Still can't see. Whose credit is it? Looking at him with squinting eyes, he said lightly, you want to go to mine again? Guy's expression froze, and he took 2 steps back embarrassingly. He doesn't want to mine. 11 Vegapunk pushes a button. At the end of the machine, a hatch opened slowly. Originally, a fruit was placed inside, but this time has changed. There are some strange lines appearing on it, but it is quite different from normal zone devil fruit. He picked up the devil fruit for a closer look, and handed it to Will. Look, this is artificial devil fruit. If there is no accident, its ability should be that of a tiger. Will took it, looked at it, and asked, does this devil fruit have any side effects? Like turning into a half-human, half-animal form? Either, artificial devil fruit failed to make, or it succeeded, but some kind of upgrade may have happened. Will felt relieved, and looked at Guy again with vacant eyes. It can also be seen from this that the gap between the two is 3.9. In the final analysis, it is to present everything through digitization. No, it should be said that because Vegapunk has reservations about the world ZF, Guy can only make a rough idea. Vegapunk pointed at the large machine. After thinking about it, Will asked again, is it possible to make artificial devil fruit of ancient species? That's not exactly man-made devil fruit. It was almost the same as the world in his previous life. Will understood. However, making artificial devil fruit is not 100% successful. Vegapunk said with a smile. No, it's no different from normal devil fruit. It can change freely between human form and animal form. These values, you can see it as a map of the tiger's bloodline factors. This is a tiger made up of numbers. Overall, it's still a failure. Theoretically, if you can provide the biological genes and genes of ancient species, it can indeed be manufactured. As long as one of the numbers is wrong, it means it is no longer a tiger. Vegapunk thought for a moment. The ability of man-made devil fruit depends on the bloodline factor of the extracted animal. This guy, the man-made devil fruit technology of Vegapunk must have not been fully understood in the original book. Chapter 202 Uncle, why do you smell? When Will returns to the general's mansion in the capital of flowers. In the courtyard, a table was set up. A crystal ball is placed on the table. Behind the table is Shirley the tail from the Fishman Island. At this time, she was shrinking in the cloak, stretched out 2 small hands and placed them on the crystal ball. And by her side, those little girls were still standing. The thick-headed Yamato sits at the table. Biting and pointing his fingers, he looked at the crystal ball, and there was a strange light in his flickering eyes. What are you doing? Prophecy, prophecy. Will looked at Yamato. Give you a prophecy? Yamato nodded. I want to see if I will surpass my father in the future? Will suddenly became interested, and asked, how about it, will Yamato become a big dutiful son in the future? While they were talking, a gleam of light flickered on the crystal ball. Shirley looked up, and at Yamato. I saw you holding a mace and smiling happily, and a big man with horns on his head was crying at your feet. Will. So, Kaido was beaten and cried by Yamato? Can't it? Yamato didn't care so much, clapping his little hands happily. I'm really better than Dad. Will rubbed her little head and sighed. Yes, you are really a big dutiful son. A few seconds of silence for Kaido in my heart. He went back to the hall, where the Yasui were already waiting. Robin also came in and waited for Will to take his seat. Open the notepad and start to report on the situation of Wanokuni during this period. Sad raw materials have entered the growth stage, and it is estimated that it will take more than a year to mature. The mining of the Seastone mine is currently stable. Can meet the weapons manufacturing. The reconstruction of the mechanical quartz processing plant has already started, and it is predicted that it will take half a year to complete. The renovation work on Vermilo's side has not yet started, and people from the Scientific Research Department need to investigate and come up with a plan before proceeding. The Scientific Research Department has made progress in the research on Sky Island's human wings, but more data needs to be collected before the next experiment can be carried out. It is estimated that it will take about half a year. The shipping company is already buying a batch of ships for traveling around the world, and we need to send personnel to install sea stone and blast shells as soon as possible. Advertisement, currently, UMIT has begun to send people to detect the route of Com Belt, and there will be results soon. Lufield's property has been accepted, and Beeg is currently handling it, but it needs a large amount of funds, and Wanokuni can't find it for the time being. Come. The site of the original Whitebeard Pirates has been taken over. Rock's school has been built and needs you to attend the opening ceremony. Speaking of this, Robin pursed his lips. The scholars have all been arranged in the school. And according to your request, every week, they love to do literacy work in the pirate group. She could already imagine the rage of those scholars. King of Dressrosa, King Liku, seeks your protection, hoping to hang the flag of the Rock's pirate. At the same time, there are some forces that also seek our protection. Will knew that it must be something about the Fishmen Island, which allowed them to see the deterrent force of the Rock's pirate. Next, it's the situation of each team. The first team, after annexing Whitebeard's territory, the number has expanded to 12,100. The second team has 1,000 people, and the reserve team has 3,000 people. After the third team annexed Field's forces, the number increased to 5,200. Squad 4 currently has 1,000 people. The fifth team has recently joined a lot of giant fighters, and now the scale has reached 42 people. Squad 6 currently has 500 Murlocs and 200 mermaids. 300 Fur Clan members of the 7th Division. 13,200 Mechanical Corps, counting others, Rock's pirate fighters, about 36,000 people. Tapping the table lightly, the thoughts in his mind turned quickly. After a long time, he slowly opened his mouth and said, 3,000 people will be transferred from the first team to serve as the escort of the transportation company. Notify UMIT, let him send 10 large cargo ships over, some in the 4th Division, the 5th Division, the 6th Division, the Mechanical Corps, and set sail the day after tomorrow. He looked at Shimotsuki Yasui. Report Wanokuna's shortage of supplies and manpower. 17. Robin, when the time comes, you can notify Gibson and let him collect it. After arranging things, it was almost evening. The little girls in the yard have already run back to Fujiyama. Just as I was about to go to Tianyu's courtyard, I suddenly remembered. The other party is on Stussie's side. Raihafong is on Lujia's side. He turned around and went to Lu Ju's side. As soon as he entered the door, he saw the scene that made him swallow and drink. Lu Ju is supplementing nutrition for Ace, and Hiyori also sucked the other one in a certain way. Advertisement seeing Will coming in, a look of panic appeared on Lujia's face. Think, avoid. But Ace bites and doesn't let go. Rihei is enjoying happily. Make it hard for her to move. Cough, Will cough slightly. Hey, uncle, you are back. At Tianyu Eishi's request, Heiui called his uncle back. She let go of Lu Ju's baby. Running over bumpily, 597 hugged and held Will. Are you being good during this time? Rihei smiled sweetly. Good boy. Then he tilted his head and asked doubtfully, Uncle, where's Mom? Will picked her up and sat down next to Lu Ju. Your mother still has something to do, and she won't be back in a short time. Is that so? Raiha's face was a little disappointed. Well, uncle, why do you smell? Hiyori suddenly wrinkled his nose. The little face was a little disgusted. Will sniffs, and it does. It should have been contaminated in the laboratory. I'll help uncle get hot water. Hiyori volunteered to trot out. Lu Ju is neither walking nor sitting. When Tianyue was around, she could barely deal with Will. Now she is alone and really doesn't know what to do. Why, what should be experienced, what should not be experienced, has already happened. What is there to be nervous about? Will reaches out and hugs Ace over. The little guy grows up pretty fast. Lu Ju felt a little heartbroken and trembling. Sometimes she was really afraid of what Will would do to Ace. Not for a while. Some waiters and maids came in carrying hot water. There are only women in the backyard of the general's mansion. Men are not allowed in. Chapter 202 and Lu Ju, let's play with water. By the side of the big wooden barrel, Hiyori stands on a stool, watching Will perform magic tricks inside. Under his force field, the water in the bucket constantly changed its form. She clapped her little hands and cheered, Uncle is amazing. She turned her head and shouted at Lu Ju, and Lu Ju, come quickly, Uncle's magic tricks are amazing. After hearing the words for a long time, Lu's body froze. Carefully looked over, seeing Will looking at himself with a meaningful smile on his face. Lu Ju gritted his teeth secretly, and finally put Ace in the cradle. Go over there. Seeing Lu Ju approaching, Rihei smiled and said, Aunt Lu Ju, let's play with the water. What do you think Uncle has changed? How strange. Are they two little people? Rihei tilted his head and thought for a while, and suddenly said pleasantly, by the way, last time Mom played horse riding with Aunt Lu Ju and Uncle, it looked like this. Will praised. Hayo is smart. He looked at Lu Ju. Do you want to have a horse racing game? Lu Ju bites tightly. Can she say no? 1 piece, 2 pieces. He lifted his foot and collapsed. Rihei blinked, Aunt Lu Ju, will it be uncomfortable to play in the water like this? Will laughed and said, perhaps your Auntie Lu Ju likes to play with water like this? Lu Ju forced a smile and said, yes, Aunt Lu Ju likes to play with water like this. Will pats her lightly for fear of her. Lucy took a deep breath. Stretch out your hand into the hot water, and stir it back and forth a few times. Then sit down slowly. She raised her head and let out a long breath. Rihei tilted his head and asked curiously, Aunt Luju, why do you and your mother get stretched every time? It felt like being bound by an iron hoop. Will laughed, because Uncle's ice cream is a bit big. Aunt Luju, is it really, really big? Luju reluctantly nodded. It's a bit big. Then the water splashed. Hee, Uncle, you and Aunt Shaju spilled water. Will thought for a while, then nodded. Indeed, it's not good to play in the water like this, and the water will be gone after a while. Let's stand up so the water won't spill. Luju trembled for a moment. Stand up. Will took both reins, started a training horse trip. Uncle, do magic tricks for me. Hiyori looked at the two anxiously. Advertisement, they only care about themselves, and they don't even change magic tricks for themselves. Will looked down at the fierce horse from above. Hearing Hiyori's words, he almost couldn't hold back. Hayo, wait a minute, Rihei said pitifully, how long will it take? Hurry up, just wait a little longer, 10 minutes later. Uncle, are you all right? Quick, it'll be ready soon. Luju felt like a flat boat in the ocean, and Will is the turbulent waves. Wave after wave caused her small boat to be overturned several times. I don't know when my mind started to go hazy, she felt like she was about to lose her ability to think. Who are you? Where are you? What do you think? Do, what? Sometimes awake, sometimes confused, do your best not to sink into it. But she felt as if her body was fighting against her will. I started to panic in my heart, I don't know how long it has been. When she woke up again, I found that the surrounding environment has changed. Are you awake? You fainted just now. When Will's voice came, Luju was struck by lightning. Own. Did you faint because of that? Immediately, a feeling of embarrassment and shame hit my heart and head. New World, which had been quiet for a while, became panicked again. Because, Rock's pirate dispatches a large number of men and fleets. Just when they were worried about what Will would do, what would happen? Not long after, they lost track of Will and the others again. On the fringes of the New World near the Calm Belt. Will shows up here with the Rock's pirate fleet. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, he turned into a silver-white giant dragon and soared into the sky. And the fleet is waiting here quietly, until half a day later. They got a call from Will. Only then followed the direction of the lifecart and set sail again. When the fleet arrived at their destination, what was displayed in front of them was a slowly moving giant turtle. This is the giant turtle that appeared in Gabi's Sea area. After that incident, it left West Blue and headed in the direction of New World. After several months, I finally arrived here. Advertisement. It seems a bit slow, but it is not. If you really want to hurry, the speed of this giant tortoise is not slow. It's just that it stops and goes, and when it rests, it takes a long time. The reason Will knew it was going to be here. Naturally, he knew it from the murals. It is recorded on it that the giant tortoise fell into a deep sleep a long time ago. When it wakes up again, it will go to a place, Valley of Gods. That's right, it's the Valley of the Gods from Da and Zan. Will doesn't know what's so special about the Valley of the Gods, and it's hard to know. Because the Valley of the Gods is gone. More precisely, it disappeared. The Valley of the Gods battle back then did not sink the Valley of the Gods. But the strange thing is that it disappeared in the sea area inexplicably afterwards. Now, the eyes of this giant tortoise are also very confused. It's like saying, where is the Valley of the Gods? Where did the Valley of the Gods go? Regarding the approach of the fleet, the giant tortoise did not make any abnormal moves, and was still moving slowly. Ah, Hina is back. When Hina stood on the square in the center of the island again, the little girl knelt on her knees, put her hands on the ground, and looked at the collapsed palace with tears in her eyes. Here, next, is endless wealth. Hina's treasure, how are you all? Woo. Hina misses you so much. Will saw black lines all over her head, and thought that the little girl had become normal again, but it turned out that she had never met anyone who could make her heart flutter. Is there really a lot of treasure in it? Gion looked curiously at the collapsed pit in front of him. Although she also saw the giant tortoise last time. But I didn't go to the island, so I didn't see those treasures. More than 40 giant warriors cheered and began to clean up the collapsed stones. Hina Chick nodded like pecking rice, it's true. And make preparations for moving the treasure. Build a camp, cook a fire, and help giant warriors clean up the rubble. Finally dug in front of the stone gate of the treasure house. Will said to Rocky, you take the 5th team to clean up these waste rocks. Loki rubbed his hands together, laughed and said, just look at ours. Will smiled too. When Loki moved away a huge stone slab, under the sunlight, a bright golden light came into everyone's eyes. After all, it is not an easy task to think and transport all these treasures away. And the rest of the staff also started to get busy. Then, there is the shocking Wani character. The sound of throat and water came and went. 1. Until noon the next day, with the unremitting efforts of everyone. 1. A large pile of gold coins slid down, making a pleasant sound. Clatter. Soldiers of Elbaf, dig for treasure. Chapter 203 Students, let's learn geometry today. Students, let's learn geometry today. What is geometry? Geometry is a science that studies the structural properties of space. It is one of the most basic research contents in mathematics, and it has the same important status as analysis, algebra, etc., and is extremely closely related. Before I explain it to you, there is one thing you need to understand. Student number mathematics, physics and chemistry. I am not afraid to travel all over the world. Only if you master these, can you build Wanokuni better and contribute to the prosperity of Wanokuni. The students who didn't pay attention to the teacher's words. After hearing the last sentence, they all cheered up. The teacher on the podium nodded in satisfaction. Over the years, they have figured out the students' thinking. As long as Wanokuni is mentioned, they will be full of motivation. Then, he started today's lecture, in the back of the classroom. 1. One big, one small, 2. Dao figures sitting together. Look at the content on the blackboard above, and explain with the teacher. There are question marks all over his head. A row of crows flew by. Yelling. Fool, fool. Kaido looked at Yamato beside him, and said with a bitter face, Son, do you understand? 177 Yamato, who was almost 10 years old, had a look of bitterness and hatred on his small face. Biting and biting the end of the pencil. Looking at his father full of entanglement. Dad, are you and Mom both scumbags? Otherwise, I wouldn't be so bad at studying. Kaido's forehead was throbbing with veins. HMPH, it's definitely not my fault, your mother is the scumbag. Yamato was full of disbelief. Then you know this question? Kaido's face froze. Yamato sighed. I really envy Sister Robin, she is a doctor now. Kaido rolled his eyes, turning his head away from Yamato. Turning his head, he saw the fat Quinn leaning against the wall and sleeping soundly. He rolled his eyes again. Mud can't support a wall. Maid, it's only our first team who will come to make up lessons. 5 years, it's us every time, is it targeting us? We are pirates, what's the use of learning these things? Kaido muttered, venting his complaints. Students sitting in the back row, please don't make noise and listen to the class with peace of mind. The teacher on the podium was also very angry. Advertisement. He has never brought such a poor student. Other teachers, DBBD, finished their tasks early and went to study the text of history. Just him. People in this team have their brains made of muscles, right? Even a cow will eat grass if you press it. It was not easy to make it to school. Kaido kicked the sleeping Quinn. Is dinner ready? Quinn rubbed his eyes. Kaido looked at him with a dark face and widened eyes. Eat, you know how to eat, can you grow snacks? The other teams are ready to set sail, and we are the only ones holding back here. Come on, let's find Will, son, you go too. Yamato was a little confused, thought about it, and tentatively suggested. Why don't we go to Sister Robin to have a little trouble? She thought Will might ignore them. Boss Will has been retreating for a long time, and I don't know if he is free. Kaido lifted Yamato's collar. It doesn't matter, let's go and have a look. The trio made their way to Punk Hazard Island, stopping off the coast facing the direction of the Wanokuni entrance. A figure sat quietly in the distance, watching the turbulent ocean current in the distance. The three of them stopped, and Kaido asked Helen, who was standing there, isn't it over yet? Helen shook her head lightly. I don't know, this is already the second time for Master. Kaido looked at Will's back, full of sighs in his heart. 5 years ago, after bringing back the treasure house on the back of the giant turtle, Will started his first retreat. That time lasted for 2 years. It is said to be a retreat, but in fact it is to temporarily put aside complicated things, and I am a place where there is no one. Just like now, quietly in a daze. Anyway, Kaido doesn't practice kendo, and to him, Will is in a daze. However, the time Will came out of retreat 2 years ago. They saw a sword chi piercing the sky, and the shocking sword intent made the entire Wanokuni people tremble in their souls. This time, I don't know how much progress Will will make. Hey, the gap is getting bigger and bigger. He originally thought that after his fruit ability awakened, he still had a chance to catch up with Will. I don't want others to be the best, he can only follow behind to eat ashes. Quinn suggested. Boss Kaido, why don't we go back first, will take a long time. Kaido glared at him angrily. I think you want to go to Chinglo again? Hey, Dad, Boss Will has something to do. Yamato pushed Kaido, causing Kaido to shut up quickly. I saw Will standing up slowly over there. Advertisement. The right hand rests on the hilt of Yan Mo's knife. The aura on his body was still peaceful, but Kaido and the others could feel a sense of sword intent. I saw Will take a step forward with his right foot. The body crouched slightly. Clang. A soft moan came into their ears. They looked closely and found that Will had slowly retracted Yan Mo into the sheath. There are question marks in several people's minds. Call. A gust of wind blew by. The next moment, on the distant sea, a tornado took shape instantly. It was so sudden, it appeared all at once. As soon as it appeared, it was a huge tornado nearly 100 meters in size. It's not like what you usually see, from small to big. Hoo-hoo. The coast, which had been considered calm just now, was suddenly howling with gusty winds, flying sand and rocks. In the tornado on the sea, thunder and lightning flashed. Thunderbolts shot out from it in all directions. That's not all. The powerful suction sucks the seawater up, and the tornado turns into a waterspout in one fell swoop. If only that was the case. Kaido isn't scared yet. What really made him tremble was the sword intent contained in that tornado. Will shook his head lightly, not yet a success. Scatter. Gently spit out a word. This is simply a tornado formed by slashing. He clearly saw several giant sea beasts being involved in it, and they were strangled in an instant, turning into blood pressure. Accompanied by his words, the waterspout that looked like a natural disaster collapsed in an instant. Is this still a success? It contains Will's great swordsman's sword intent? Will looked at the sky-high waterspout, clatter. Will sighed softly. Something is missing, looking forward to asking, successful? The seawater that lost its suction fell back into the sea again. Kaido and the others walked up quickly. Whether it was 2 years ago or this time, although I have already stepped into the ranks of the great swordsman, and the power of swordsmanship is enough, I always feel that something is missing. Several people also frowned. Several people couldn't help but be speechless. Shaking his head disappointed. Chapter 204 playing a one-person drifting game again? In 5 years, Wanokuni has completely changed its appearance. While retaining the characteristic architecture of Wanokuni, it is also in line with the trend of the times. There are fashion stores everywhere, all kinds of gourmet shops, special products of Sky Island and other sea areas. At the beginning, Will promised that Rihei could eat the ice cream, and he also sold it. In short, basically what is available in the outside world is available here. There are endless streams of people on the street. You can see different races, humans, murlocs, fur races, giants, small humans, soldiers from the mechanical corps, Sky Island people with wings. Not the same as Charlotte Linland's IWC. These people are truly free in Wanokuni, and there is no price to pay. Everyone has a happy smile on their faces. Anyone who comes here for the first time will be shocked by these scenes. And as the capital of Wanokuni, the capital of flowers. It is also the most prosperous and lively place in Wanokuni. Today, it will be more lively than ever. Many people gathered on both sides of the street, as if they were waiting for something in the country. Coming. Suddenly someone exclaimed, and everyone looked towards the end of the street in unison. Ah, it's Gion-sama, it's so beautiful, if only I could be like Gion-sama. HMPH, superficial, Master Gion is not only beautiful, but her strength is very fishy. Yes, it is said that Master Gion is the #1 female swordsman in the sea. And Lady Guy, M's Guy's sniper skills are the best in Wanokuni. They can hit targets thousands of meters away. When will I be able to become a member of the 4th team? Gion and Guy lead an all-female and all-S*X team. Among the people on both sides, many girls and women looked at them with adoration and admiration in their eyes. They are the representatives of Wanokuni women and S*X. Then came Jin and Leopard Guro from the 2nd team, and Mox and Beeg from the 3rd team. Rocky, Dory and Brogy from Team 5, Tiger and Jinbei of Team 6. Yoroge of the 8th Division. The 10th team's knights, Ronin, Sergeant, Vodka, and Shangtenshio. The voice of the people is getting louder and louder. There were quite a few female, sexually excited, moving screams and screams. Either I love you or I want to have a monkey or something. After them, others came one after another. It is Umit, the shipping king, Gibson, the warehousing boss, and Cyrus, the gladiator king. Under the cheers and envious eyes and gods of the people, these influential figures walked into the general's mansion. Wish I could be a part of it one day. Yeah, if I can become the next captain of Boss Will, I will die without regret. The meeting hall of the general's mansion was already filled with tables and chairs. As everyone sat down, it gradually became lively. Advertisement. Everyone is talking about their experiences during this time. Make, exclamation and laughter from time to time. In this happy atmosphere, only Kaido, who was sitting next to the chief deputy, and a few cadres of the 1st team behind him were drinking wine sullenly. Oh, except Quinn. He was holding a flagon and chatting with the captains who had just returned. The fat on his body kept shaking and moving because of the laughter. Kaido really wants to cut off this friendship, and flower of the 1st team. At this time, Will brought Robin and the others out from behind. Only then did everyone stop communicating. Boss Will. Will, Captain Will. They looked at their own captain. 5 years later, it seemed to be different again. Will smiled and nodded to everyone. It seems that everyone is having a good time recently. His words made everyone couldn't help showing happy smiles, and they all talked about their experiences outside. Will listened carefully, nodding from time to time. Occasionally glance at Kaido with, "I'm very unhappy," written on his face. When they were about to speak, everyone gradually quieted down. They all looked at Will, waiting for his words. In the past few years, Rock's pirate has developed rapidly, and everyone has been traveling on the sea. This time, I called everyone back for a meeting, which can be regarded as a summary. And arrange the next task. Will looked at everyone. Let's report the situation of each team first. In an instant, everyone looked at Kaido. According to the usual practice, the 1st team came first. Seeing everyone looking at him, Kaido pouted. What's the use of the 1st team, can't they just stay at home? The 1st team currently has 15,000 people. There are 10 people on the big kanban, 45 people who actually fight, 10,000 people who are numbered, and the rest are trainees or logistics personnel. A bounty of more than 300 million is a big sign. A reward of more than 100 million and less than 300 million is a real reward, and a reward of less than 100 million is a number. After Kaido finished speaking, Jin immediately connected. The 2nd team has a total of 3,000 people and 2,000 people in reserve. All are equipped with samurai swords and have mastered combined fencing. Combined fencing is the swordsmanship created by Will based on Loki and his giant clan's combined efforts to use Elbaf's spear. Can be performed by 2 to 5 people. The more fit, the higher the power. If the compatibility of the 5 people is very high, the power they display is equivalent to the slashing power of a swordsman. Beak habitually glanced at the silent Mox, even though everyone knew that he was a fool. But he acted like he didn't know anything and still kept his appearance in front of everyone. He sighed lightly, comforting himself in his heart. At least Mercury doesn't give his dad headaches like Quinn, who ends up having to drive Quinn, the West Blue heartthrob, back to the New World. There are now 10,100 people in the 3rd Division team, 5 people in the Big Kanban, 15 people in real fights, 7,000 people in numbers, 1,500 apprentice crew members, and the rest are logistics. Advertisement. Asking for flowers. The 4th team currently has 3,500 people, and there are 3 people in the Big Kanban. It really hits people. 5th Division 50 people. Giant, Squad 6 with 2,000 people, Murloc. 1,000 people in the 7th Division, Fur Race. 5,000 people in the 8th Division, Sky Island Person. At this time, Yarobe was already in his 20s, and with the unification of Sky Island, he gradually showed his edge. He has become the captain who leads the people of Sky Island. Compared with other captains, his strength is still a lot worse. However, the 8th Division is in a special situation. Under the treatment of Vegapunk, their wings have grown a lot, and they can support their flight. The 10th team has 20,000 people. The 10th Squadron is the mechanical corps because of their uniqueness. They don't have their own boats. Usually they are scattered into various teams and set sail with those teams. Wait for these captains to report. Zero Robin took over the topic and said, the captain of the 9th team is currently in the first half, and I can't contact anyone for the time being. Will was surprised. He went to play the drifting game alone again? Robin nodded expressionlessly. I heard that a great swordsman appeared in the first half, so he went to see it. It's been half a year. Tisk. Will gasped. Hawkeye is the captain of the 9th team, and he is the only one, not a single member. Forget it, leave him alone, he will come back when he gets tired of playing. Will clapped his hands, and immediately someone took out a map and hung it on the wall behind Will. This is a world map. On the map, some places are marked in red. For example, the entire West Blue Sea area is red. The New World Peace. From Dressrosa onwards, except for the area of Wangguo, all the way to Shuishenxing Island are red. If it is divided into 10 parts, red occupies almost more than 60%. The New World entrance to Dressrosa occupies 20%. And Wangguo occupied a little more than 10%. The last point is the area after Shuishen Qingdao. Will points to the map, looking at everyone with a smile. See these red areas? Everyone nodded, and their eyes gradually lit up. Many people have shortness of breath, and their heart beats violently. They also see what those red areas represent. Those are the spheres of influence of the Rocks Pirate. Seeing their expressions, Will nodded. That's right, this is our territory. Gulu. Boss Will, I didn't think there was anything before. After you marked it on the map, I realized that we have almost occupied New World. Yeah, and West Blue, haha, I don't think any pirate group can be like a Rocks Pirate. Boss Will, when will we bring down the nations? Chapter 205 Encircle the countryside and encircle the city. Wait for everyone to vent and vent the excitement in their hearts. Only then did Will say, I want to dye all the New World red, but now is not the time. With Rocks Pirate's current strength, it can completely take down the Big Mom pirate group. Just like that. It's too conspicuous. Marine and the ZF of the world will not sit back and watch their family dominate. He started to draw on the map, starting from West Blue, all the way up, passing through New World, passing Calm Belt, and finally falling on North Blue. What we have to do is to dye this place red first. Connect these 3 sea areas into one, hiss. Listening to Will's words, everyone couldn't help but take a breath. If so, it is not counted as the land of red soil. Then nearly half of the sea in the world is the site of Rocks Pirate. After all, Will has experienced the influence of Red Will and Will in his previous life. Of course, it is clear that 3 mean that the city is surrounded by the countryside. In Pirate World, the 4 seas are equivalent to rural areas. And what represents the city is the center of the world, Mariajoy on the red earth and land. It is also Will's greatest enemy, the ZF of the world. Sooner or later there will be a battle between the 2 sides. Will needs to control the 4 seas in his hands before going to war. Use this to develop and strengthen your own power and accumulate enough foundation. Moreover, the significance of layout North Blue is great. It's like what I just said, they mastered the art of sailing the Calm Belt. As long as the North Blue is taken down, the 3 seas can be connected into one. The strategic meaning is great. Secondly, he is greedy for Germa 66. Although he already has Vegapunk, Guy spreads these top scientific researchers. It cannot be denied. Vinsmoke Judge's ability is really strong. The various technologies he researched, as well as the giant snail, are of great value to Will. The third is North Blue's weapons manufacturing. The arms trade in North Blue can be said to be the largest among the 4 sea areas. Doflamingo's Don Quixote family got their start from this. If you hold these in your hands, Rocks Pirate can enter the second period of rapid development. Of course, these are not the point. The point is, Op Fruit will appear in North Blue. For Op Fruit, Will is determined, advertisement. This will be of great help to his future plans, so he needs to plan ahead. Keep North Blue in your hands. As soon as the Op Fruit appears, he will snatch it as soon as possible. However, it is not an easy matter to take down North Blue. Because there are many strong marines from West Blue. Akainu and the 2 marine admirals will not be mentioned. Crane Vice Admiral is the one who bothers Will the most. One hair can move the whole body, as long as the other party notices something wrong. Maybe it will attract the attention of Marine in the world's ZF. Will looks at Umid and Gibson. Start today, increase your trade with North Blue. Let the entire North Blue gradually adapt to our existence. It's best to make them dependent on us. The 2 nodded. In this way, they are the pioneers to capture North Blue. This made them excited and moved. After all, this is taking down the entire North Blue. In the past, it was unthinkable. The Mercenary Union should also be established at the same time. Having said that, he looked at Quinn. Quinn immediately sat up straight, with a solemn expression, but his heart was already flying. I'm the best at opening a mercenary union, haha, I can play happily again, this time I must become the most famous singer of North Blue. Fanku is the best. By the way, there's that old friend Judge. You will be very pleasantly surprised when you see yourself, right? Will shook his head, brushing past Quinn. Quinn became anxious immediately. Boss Will, I can help you with your worries. I have experience, let me go. Let's wait until when your first team passes. Everyone burst into laughter. Oh, no, Boss Will, I'm fine. Quinn hurriedly explained. I'm a pass, with excellent grades. He danced and said that he had passed the test. Pointing at Kaido, he said, it's Kaido boss, they're holding me back. Kaido, who was already depressed enough, suddenly turned black. Looking at him murderously, he gritted his teeth and said, Quinn, do you want to betray Team I? Quinn shivered, shivering, and stopped talking embarrassingly. Sitting back to his seat, his face was full of unhappiness, and he muttered in his mouth. I can't even learn math well, and the mud can't support the wall. Fortunately, his voice is low and inaudible. Otherwise, it is estimated that there will be a fat beating afterwards. Advertisement will scan the faces of each captain. In the end, he shook his head. I'll figure out how to choose a candidate. Few outsiders know the relationship between the Mercenary Union and the Rocks Pirate, they only know that the 2 parties have cooperated. Therefore, the members of the squad cannot be dispatched. They're already on Marine's roster. If it doesn't work, why don't you take a trip with Helen yourself? Next, assign tasks to each team. When everyone heard the words, they restrained their smiles and cheered up. Starting tomorrow, Team 3 and Team 6 will assist Umid and Gibson. The first team is stationed at Wanokuni. Kaido leads the New World overall. Bullet led the 1st, 4th, 5th, and 7th divisions to threaten the G5 branch and attract Marines' attention. Let them move the Marine forces closer to the New World. The 8th and 10th divisions are scattered among the various divisions to assist them in completing their missions. In addition, from the 1st team and the 3rd team, the toons that have not shown their faces in Marine come out. I want 2,000 people. It was already half an hour after Will finished giving out the instructions one by one. Will clapped his hands again. Someone came in from outside carrying boxes one by one. There are 5 boxes in total. Someone laughed and said, Boss Will, the stuff inside isn't jewelry, is it? Are you going to give out bonuses today? Haha, look at you like that, Boss Will won't be so stingy. Could it be a big sharp knife? One for each person? Could it be devil fruit? As soon as these words came out, everyone fell silent. They looked first at the boxes, then at Will. They all held their breath, their eyes filled with anticipation. These cadres and elites, 3 years ago, some of them successfully obtained privately ordered men-made 3.7 devil fruits. However, that batch of sad raw materials was also consumed. Calculating the time, it's time for the second batch to come out now. Despair. Will snapped his fingers, and the lids of the boxes flew open. What was displayed in front of them were fruits with strange textures. What is not devil fruit? It should be said that it is man-made devil fruit. There is also a label on each faux devil fruit explaining what that ability is. Will laughed. This is the second batch of man-made devil fruit. It should have been given to you a long time ago, but because I have been retreating, it has been delayed until now. 10 coins for each team, figure out how to distribute them. In the future, man-made devil fruit will need to be exchanged for credit. Why do people care about the future and take their own share first? In the blink of an eye, all the man-made devil fruits in the box were divided up. Chapter 206. The butterfly flapped its wings, and the wheels turned. At the end of the meeting, the captains dispersed one after another. Guile, Guion and the others entered the backyard and gave Will a wink before leaving. Let Will's heart skip a beat. In the entire meeting room, only Will, Robin and Helen, who have been inseparable all the time, are left. Robin was 12 years old at this time. In the world of pirates, a 12-year-old girl has grown like a flower. In the original book, after the tragic destruction of Ohara, the wandering and fleeing life makes Robin look more like an intellectual girl. Wearing a professional OL outfit, she looks like a strong woman in the workplace. After 5 years, she has become extremely proficient in the profession of secretary and book. You don't need to hold a notepad to record as before. She walked up to the map. Lightly tap on the sea area of the Devil's Sanjiao in the first half of the Wei Da route. Now let me tell you about the situation in the first half. During this period of retreat, Will really didn't ask about Wanokuna's affairs. Most of it was handled by Robin. It can be said that besides Stussy, she is the person who helped Will the most. Let's talk about the Whitebeard Pirates first. 5 years ago, after the 31 Whitebeard Pirates withdrew from New World, they have been wandering in the first half, especially after Marco's death. they began to sweep up the first half of the pirates. Incorporate those pirate groups. During your second retreat, they entered and attacked the Devil's Sanjiao Sea area. Defeated and incorporated Gecko Moria, and use it as the base camp. As long as there are famous pirates, they will be dispatched, defeated, and then incorporated. Oh, 5 years ago, shortly after your retreat, Gecko Moria and Kaido collided near Dressrosa. After being defeated by Kaido, quit New World. Hiding in the sea area of the Devil's Three Corners, invited by Marine, became a Shichibukai. He was also the first Shichibukai to be defeated. Will was a little taken aback. I thought that having changed so much, Moria would have a different situation. Unexpectedly, it still fell into Kaido's hand, and the Whitebeard Pirates are doing what? Even if you want to restore your vitality and replenish personnel, there is no need to do this, right? Will asked. Doesn't that mean that over the past few years, the number of pirates entering New World has decreased a lot? Robin nodded. That's right, 5 years later, the size of the Whitebeard Pirates is comparable to that of the past. Their main force has 15 teams, with a total of 5,000 people. There are 20 pirate groups under the banner, with a total of 14,000 people. However, although the scale has increased, without the experience of the New World, the Shira field, their overall strength is still much worse. This is a reasonable thing. New World in the first half cannot be compared at all. Advertisement pirates who have never been to New World, it is hard to imagine how terrifying New World is. However, with Whitebeard and the captains there, the pirates can still know how strong the top powerhouses are. But, Will looks at the first half of the map. Around the Devil's Three and Cape Sea area, there are also 7 capitals of water: Enies Lobby, Marineford, Sabaody Archipelago. Frowning deeply. Marine doesn't care about them? After all, it's not far from Enies Lobby and Naval Headquarters, Sabaody Archipelago. Especially for Enies Lobby and Naval Headquarters. There is a thief living next to me, can I sleep peacefully? No, Whitebeard is no ordinary thief. This is a powerful bomb, and it is uncertain when it will kill them. Among the intelligence reports from Stussy, there is one about Marine Deputy Marshal Sengoku. After the Whitebeard Pirates occupied the Devil's Three Corners Sea area, he went there secretly. Secretly? Will chewed on the meaning of that sentence. If so, it would be interesting. Didn't Baigu cooperate with Marine? Or was there some kind of agreement? Robin said with a serious face. Yes, according to our inference, they should have reached some kind of agreement. There is only one thing that can make both of them compromise. The corners of Will's mouth curled up slightly. Apart from me, and the Rock's pirate, what else can there be? Now among the Marines, apart from Garp, Sengoku and others, there are only 3 admirals who dare to enter the new era. Hunt down some pirates who have escaped to New World. But that's all. People who met Rock's pirate all turned a blind eye and closed their eyes, and neither side paid any attention to the other. Look at the area of Devil 3 and Cape Sea area. Will chuckled and said, it seems that the experience 5 years ago has made these members of the Whitebeard Pirates grow a lot. I have learned to use strategies. Listening to Will's words, I don't know whether it is a compliment or a sarcasm. Robin pursed his lips, wanting to laugh a little. The Whitebeard Pirates worked hard to accumulate strength in the first half. Little did they know, Rock's pirate was already planning other sea areas. The levels of the two parties are not in the same dimension at all. If it weren't for the Whitebeard Pirates and Whitebeard and Rayleigh, they probably wouldn't even be enough to be Will's enemy. And one more thing. 5 years ago, Shanks, an apprentice crew member of the original Roger Pirates, founded Red Hair Pirates. The deputy captain is also a member of the original Roger Pirates, Buddy the Clown. Will was surprised. These two guys got together? He also saw the two when he was in Logue Town. However, because Roger had already appeared at that time and it was about to be executed, he did not do anything. Advertisement later it was all over. In several confrontations with the Whitebeard Pirates, they have not been seen. Presumably stayed at East Blue, but now, maybe because of their own reasons, the two of them hugged together to keep warm. As if remembering something, Robin suddenly covered his mouth and chuckled. Will asked curiously, what's wrong? Robin explained with a laugh. It's just that Red Hair Pirates is kind of funny. Obviously the captain is a red-haired Shanks, but the pirate flag is a skull with a red nose. Puff. Good guy, these two are really a happy couple. Such a serious matter turned out to be a joke, there's no one anymore. What's the situation now? Will asked. They traveled around the 4 seas and recruited a lot of people. Yasop, Ben Beckman, Lackey Road, De Gior, Bendick Snake. Listen to these familiar names. Will couldn't help shaking his head and laughing. 787, in 5 years, he has almost assembled the original team. However, I don't know if they have the guts to enter New World. As long as they dare set foot in the New World, it is estimated that Red Hair Pirates will become a thing of the past. After that, Robin also said a lot of changes in the current situation. Enel has broken out of the title of Thor and has become an alternate for Admiral. Crocodile of Shichibukai begins his heroic journey in Alabasta. Whitebeard is said to have something on his mind. Long was rewarded by the world's EF for founding the Song Name Army. It is said that he is now running around, liberating those oppressed people, and looking for like-minded people. As for the rest, they are all irrelevant things. Back to the backyard. Just after stepping into the yard, there was a sound of breaking wind. A loud cry followed. It's like shouting out like this, you can increase your strength. Will puts his palms up against his side. A foot hit the palm of his hand. Looking up, it was Ace, who was only 5 years old. According to the original book, 5-year-old Ace should have met Sabo, who was also 5 years old and ran away from home. The two began to save money for going to sea as a pirate. But it is no longer the original. Ace was born a year early, and it is impossible to appear in East Blue. The fate of the three brothers changed because of Will. I don't know where Rubber Fruit was robbed by the red hair. Will Ace meet Mara Mara Fruit? Little Ace saw Will in a daze. The little face flushed a little. Chapter 207. The active and dynamic Gion, deep, intimate, and flowing. Pressing and exerting a slight force on the foot in Will's palm, with the help of strength, the body flies into the air. The other foot sweeps to Will's head. The boy is quite stubborn. Knowing that this is doing useless work, Ace continued to attack so persistently. He raised his palm slightly again, and used the swept foot. With a light flick, Ace suddenly lost control of his body, and was lifted upside down by Will in his hand. Let me go. Ace twisted vigorously, but it was useless. He lifted him up a bit and looked into his own eyes. With this little ability, how can you still imitate other people's sneak attacks? HMPH, next time I will definitely succeed. Ace turned his head angrily, saw Yanmo and Tianyu Yuzhan on Will's waist, and was about to reach out to mop them. Getting thrown again by Will. The little guy threw an arc in the air and directly hit the fish pond in the distance. Boy, you still have a lot to learn. Under Ace's angry expression, Will entered the main courtyard. Uncle Rihei, who was more than 8 years old, ran over like a gust of wind and pounced on him before he reached his eyes. Will reaches out to catch it. I'm not afraid of being thrown. Hee. I know Uncle will never let me fall. You're back. Tianyu Shi walked slowly. At this time, she was wearing a kimono, looking at Will with affection in her eyes. Like a wife who sees her husband back home. The seastone collar around her neck has been removed. She could already use the time fruit ability, but she didn't use the ability to escape here. Can only explain. Stussy's transformation is still very successful. Rihei said as if asking for credit. Uncle, I learned another dance from my mother. I'll dance it for you later, okay? Will smiled and scratched her nose. Good, once inside, the meal is ready. Lu Ju came over with a hot towel and gently wiped Will clean. She and Will don't talk much. No matter what to do with Will, it is almost silent. It's like a silent protest. Just look at her demeanor at this moment. This woman has already surrendered to Will. It doesn't even need to be remodeled like it was in Tianyu. After tidying up, everyone takes their seats. Will sits at the head of the table. When it was day and moon, Lu Ju and Rihei sat on one side. Advertisement Helen, Gion, and Guy sit on one side. As for Hina and the others, including Ace, they all live in Fujiyama in the back. While eating, Will talked. Several women were a little silent. Only Hiyori and Will talked from time to time, after dinner. Rihei was about to stay, but was pulled away by Tianyu Shi. Helen and Guy are gone too. Before leaving, he winked at Will. Gion lowered his head, twitched his mouth and lips lightly. Well, I have some questions about Kendo, so I want to ask you for advice. With Guy's hint, Will still doesn't know Gion's thoughts. Speaking of it, after a few years of getting along, each other's hearts and intentions are already understood. It should be Will who took the initiative to speak frankly. But because of the retreat, it has been delayed until now. Closed today. On the contrary, Gion first spoke up. Exploring the way of the sword is just an excuse. With Gion's character, it is a bit embarrassing for her to say that. Will said, it's just a small thing. Come, today I will discuss with you deeply, and discuss the way of swordsmanship. Let you see how powerful the swordsmanship of the great swordsman is. There was a sneer in Will's words both inside and out. She is not stupid. Where do you not understand the meaning of the other party's words? Will untied Yanmo and Tianyu and put them on the table. Then pulled Gion over, whispered in her ear, see? My Yanmo is not out of its sheath yet. Wait a minute to get out of the scabbard, there will be blood. Spit. Gion spat. Will pressed Gion's hand on top of Enma. As soon as Gion touched Yanmo, it was like an electric shock, and he wanted to withdraw his hand. Of course Will won't let her take it back, he said softly. Don't be nervous, Yanmo is very good, as long as you comfort it, it won't hurt anyone. Gion lowered his head in embarrassment. Come on, let's see if my Yanmo is strong. After several years of tempering, its quality has improved a lot. Will guides Gion to undo the shackles of Enma. Immediately, Yanmo was so angry that he wanted to kill someone. Come on, gently wipe the blade of Yanmo. This Yanmo is too powerful, it's aggressive, it's human. Gion forced, endured, resisted the impulse to withdraw his hand. Under Will's guidance, he began to wipe the blade back and forth. Gradually, over time, Advertisement Gion, who was wiping the blade of Yanmo for the first time, relaxed a lot from his tense nerves. The movements of hands and hands became lighter and softer. However, the speed gradually increased. It is also more pure and mature. Will admired. That's right, it seems that your swordsmanship talent is still very strong. As long as you are under my guidance, one day, you will break through the great swordsman and reach the realm above the great swordsman. Gion turned his head, not daring to look at Will again. But his hands didn't stop, still wiping rhythmically, Yanmo. It feels almost there, Will said softly. Come on, I heard that your golden pira sheath is made by a famous artist. It is very exquisite. Let me see how the quality of your scabbard is. Guillaume froze for a moment, but since I chose to stay and discuss the truth of swordsmanship with Will. Back off at this time, I'm sorry for the courage I finally summoned up. And I am far behind others, cannot be refunded. Guillaume, you can do it, she secretly cheered herself up. She nodded slightly, yeah, Will was overjoyed. Slowly uncover the golden piro, wrapped in cloth. It had just been half uncovered, and the shining, exquisite scabbard almost blinded Will's eyes. Gulu. Will's throat rolled, moved, and trembled. Guillaume, your scabbard is not low quality. Hey, you still have 2 rubies in this scabbard. Let me take a look. Okay. Guillaume was almost ashamed to be an ostrich. Don't talk nonsense. Will lightly stroked the ruby on the top half of the scabbard. Guillaume almost jumped up. Will comforted. Relax, don't be nervous, think, want to enter the great swordsman, this is essential. He caressed the 2 rubies of the scabbard, After a while, Will wants to see the second half of the scabbard. He continued to uncover. Gulu, when the entire golden pirate's sheath appeared in front of Will. Will already only thinks that this scabbard is like a perfect art and product. So refined and delicate that people don't know where to start. But Will is a man who has experienced a lot of battles. His hand stroked the delicate scabbard from top to bottom. Nothing was missed. Will leaned closer to her ear and whispered, let me see what you look like in your scabbard. Chapter 208 Guillaume, relax, it will be fine soon. No, don't you want it? Guillaume was a little hesitant, a little scared. After all, it was something she had never had before. Will said softly, it's okay, this kind of thing has to be experienced. You'll get used to it after a while. He knew that he couldn't give Guillaume time to hesitate, after all, he still had to hold the initiative. He hugged the scabbard and brought it over. Ah! Guillaume exclaimed. Especially when I feel that Yan Mo is pressing tightly against me. I'm afraid that the blade of Yan Mo will scratch himself in the next moment. Will hugged and held the scabbard with one hand. With one hand, reached the sheath mouth of the scabbard. Well, at this time, Guillaume really became an ostrich. Guillaume, your scabbard is a bit small, only barely enter one finger. Don't say it, Guillaume bites, and lips firmly. Try not to let yourself, not out, voice, the scabbard, that I have kept and raised for more than 20 years is finally going to see people. With Will in the scabbard, the time of touching and searching is lengthened. 563 in this scabbard, gradually there is water. Flow out. Will whispered again, Guillaume, this scabbard has been researched almost. Next, let's explore and discuss together, the realm above the great swordsman. The realm of my Yan Mo has reached above the great swordsman. Now let you personally experience it. Being above the great swordsman, what kind of experience is it like? Will doesn't stop comforting and caressing Guillaume. He knew that this time there must be blood. It may be a little uncomfortable to experience that state for the first time, so bear with it. Guillaume nodded slightly. Will doesn't hesitate anymore. Advertisement lift this scabbard. The tip of Yan Mo stabbed slowly and entered the scabbard. Hiss. Guillaume gasped. Will comforted and comforted again. Don't be afraid, it will be fine soon. As the blade of Yan Mo slowly fell into the gold pira scabbard. The realm above the great swordsman is still a bit too reluctant for Guillaume. Guillaume is injured. Traces of blood left behind. The blade was soaked with Yan Mo. Let this knife that can suppress the earth, and hell be more ferocious. Finally, Yan Mo was completely included in the scabbard. Well, Guillaume let out a long sigh. Will also heaved a long sigh of relief. Wait, relax. Only then did Will realize how beautiful the scene in front of him was. The 2 rubies on the golden pira sheath are so conspicuous. He picked up one of them. Taste, come. Then, 2 people began to study the realm of above the great swordsman. I don't know how long it has been, Guillaume exclaimed. Trembling heart, spirit shock, swing, beauty, eyes wide open. With Will's help, she finally realized what it's like to be above the great swordsman. North Blue is the most famous, besides Germa 66, there is one more place. That is Frevens, nicknamed White Town. The citizens of this country are very rich, and the ground and trees in the country are like the land of ice and snow in the fairy tale world. Flawless. This is a country and home as beautiful as a fairyland on earth. The root cause of the dreamy scenery of White Town is a kind of lead mine called Polide. Perban brought great wealth to Frevens, but it also brought this country and family into a countdown to extinction. If there are no accidents, 2 years later, this place will be reduced to ruins, DBBD. The port is crowded with people, and many cargo ships are loading and unloading goods here. Most of them are prelude and prelude products, just when they're busy. Advertisement on the sea in the distance, a fleet is sailing. The fleet is very large, with 20 large merchant ships loaded with a lot of goods. Looking at the waterline of this ship, there should be some heavy cargo. Whose caravan is this? Many people looked at it curiously, but found that they had never seen the flag hanging above it. This made them even more curious. With such a large fleet, no one on North Blue should be familiar with it. Under their gaze, the fleet slowly approached the shore. A large number of hands come down from above. It is roughly estimated that there are more than 2,000 people. Moreover, everyone exudes a sturdy aura, and they are not easy to mess with at first glance. Many people discussed it one after another. Powerful people have already sent people to report. With such a group of people coming from Frevens, it is unknown what the other party will do and what they will do, so we must be prepared. The more than 2,000 people began to get busy. The goods on 20 large merchant ships were unloaded. In this busy scene, a man and a woman stepped off one of the merchant ships. 2. The person's dress is very expensive, like an aristocrat. However, his body and upper body did not have the attitude of nobles looking down on all living beings, but he seemed very easygoing. Will looked at the white town in front of him, with a look of amazement on his face. This is Frevens? The man and the woman are exactly Will and Helen. Under Helen's ability, they have already changed their appearance. Even the 2,000 people he brought did not know their true identities. Master, this place is so beautiful and beautiful. Women always yearn for beautiful things, even Helen is no exception. Will nodded. It's really like a fairy tale world. Then he sighed and shook his head. Unfortunately, the more beautiful and beautiful the appearance, the more evils are often hidden. On the way here, Helen learned about Freven's situation from Will. Who can imagine that behind all this prosperity is the dirty deal between the nobles and the ZF of the world? Hearing this, he couldn't help laughing and said, they should be glad that there is a savior to save them. Will's mouth and corners turned up slightly. Yes, I am their savior. Goods are loaded quickly, then slowly head towards the central banks in Frevens. Many people who like to watch the excitement followed behind. They all wanted to see what Will and the others were going to do. Soon, they were surprised to find that these people were actually going in the direction of the kingdom. What are they going to do? Chapter 209 Conquer and Subdue North Blue, starting from being a king. In the eyes of everyone, the convoy slowly entered the kingdom. Was not blocked, watching the convoy disappearing around the corner. The people of Frevens only felt that something big was about to happen. Are you Mr. Douglas? When the convoy stopped on the square in front of the palace. The king came with a man in a skirt. There was a smile on his face. Although he looked at Will and the others, most of his attention was on the row of goods. Will nodded. It's me, Your Majesty the King, nice to meet you. Haha, happy, I'm happy too. The king greeted Will, looking past Will at the cargo behind. There was fire and heat in his eyes. Bring it? Will laughed. After all, we had an agreement, didn't we? He snapped his fingers. Immediately, the boxes were opened one by one. Wow! Those who followed the king all exclaimed. He stared at the east and west of the box with fiery eyes. It contained boxes of treasures and gold ornaments, as well as Bailey's lotus. The king couldn't help swallowing the water. The voice trembled slightly. Is this true? You can check it out for yourself. Will veers his body, out of the way. The king didn't hesitate, and threw himself in front of those boxes. Pick up an object and look it up carefully. Yes, it is indeed a treasure, and it is also an antique with a long history. Will said. There are 10 billion Baileys here, not too much. It's really not that much, and for a country or family, it's still within reach. As for these treasures, antiques, and accessories, they are all priceless things, and the value they possess, I don't need to say, you know it too. No, the king nodded. Only greed remained in his eyes. As the king of Frevens, although he has great wealth. But in terms of treasure collection, it is not even 1/10 of what is in front of us. Your Majesty, if there is no problem, we should make a travel appointment. Will gave a timely reminder. Bring the king back to his senses. Reluctantly, he looked away from these treasures. When he looked at Will, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. He is considering whether to kill people to silence them, and take these things as his own without paying a price. Just the next moment, when he met Will's eyes. I shivered all over. Advertisement, it feels like my soul is being frozen. Goosebumps all over my body. He quickly dismissed that thought. Although he is the king of a country, some people are still untouchable. Like this Douglas from West Blue. The other party is here on behalf of the West Blue Mercenary Union. Now in this sea, who doesn't know how powerful the West Blue Mercenary Union is? That is a huge organization that unites all the forces of West Blue. Frevens in front of the Mercenary Union, still not enough to see. Thinking of this, he quickly waved. Among the people who followed him, someone walked out holding a brocade box. The king opened it. Inside is a seal and a contract. His face was full of regret and heartache. Gritting his teeth, he still handed 2 things to Will. Mr. Douglas, from today onwards, you are the king of the Frevens. Will takes 2 things. The seal represents the symbol of King Frevens. And this contract is actually a statement, indicates that the king passed the throne of Frevens to Douglas. In the words of Will's previous life, it is the imperial edict. But One Piece world is not so particular. Even kingdoms and islands are tradable. As long as you pay enough. With these 2 things, Will is justifiably King Frevens. Even if you go to the World ZF conference, there is no problem. Put these 2 things back into the brocade box and hand them over to Helen, who was at the side. Only then did he look at the former king. Then, the deal is complete. The original king was relieved. He smiled at Will. King Douglas, from now on, everything here is yours. I'm leaving Frevens today. Will was a little surprised. So fast? Won't you stay and say goodbye to the people? No, My fleet is already waiting at the port, so I won't stay. How could the original king dare to stay here longer? As the king, he knew the situation of Freven's best. The public is more and more seriously harmed by lead. In a few years, Bandit Fancy will turn into a purgatory on Earth. Now since someone is willing to take over this mess. Of course he would. Anyway, the wealth accumulated over the years, plus the gains from this transaction. Enough for him to go to Mariojoy. Thinking of Mariojoy, he felt a surge of excitement. Advertisement, Mr. Douglas, I wish you a happy reign. Asking for flowers. Will nodded. In that case, I wish you all the best. As soon as the king beckoned, the people he brought stepped forward to take over the convoy. This convoy, which had just entered the kingdom, left the battalion again. Helen watched the convoy gradually going away. He said softly, Master, let them go like this. Will looked at the king's back with long eyes and long eyes. If he is a good king, of course I will honestly complete this deal. However, the ones he took away were all blood drawn from the people of Frevens. As the king of Frevens, I will not allow such a thing to happen. Helen's eyes lit up. Then when shall we do it? Will taps her forehead. I told you, North Blue is too involved. 0.0, Akainu, Kazaru, Suru Vice Admiral and others all came from North Blue. Although they are on the great route, they will not stop paying attention to their hometown. It is already a big event that King Frevens has changed hands. Therefore, he can't have an accident at North Blue. After thinking for a while, he ordered, tell your rogue to let go of what he was doing, and take the 8th team for a run. Nu, call those ministers and take over the army and team. If there is trouble, deal with it directly, follow Will's instructions one after another. The palace fell into chaos, and it quickly calmed down. Soon, news spread that King Frevens had changed hands. All of a sudden, the entire Frevens fell into a huge commotion and chaos. This is no small matter. The people at the bottom panicked. They didn't know what kind of person the new king was. In case of a cruel king, aren't they going to suffer? And those nobles, as well as some forces, began to act. They went to the kingdom one after another, wanting, and begging to see the new His Majesty the King. But it was rejected. This made Frevens, who was already panicking, even more confused. In the unease of the people, news came from the palace. Frevens temporarily entered a state of martial law and sealed off the entire territory, and no one was allowed to enter Frevens for the first time. And ordered to stop mining amber lead. People are not allowed to gather to make trouble. All matters, wait for the kingdom's new order to come down. Before the people digested these decrees, the king issued a new order. Omen, the doctor of the whole territory of Frevens, enter the kingdom again.